You just said that married women are the best. The next moment, you went from an eternal single and were reborn into a scumbag. He was a domestic abuser, yet he married a household name pop star, and she even gave him an obedient daughter. But ever since they got married, he got unexpectedly fired by his company. It's all your fault, you jinx. That made me lose my job. You couldn't help muttering. The previous version of me was a real bastard. Right now, the mother and daughter who just got beaten by their husband/father were trembling on the sofa, and Shen Youchu, holding her child, when she saw you staring at her, instinctively hugged Wanwan even closer. Tears filled her eyes. She hadn't thought about taking Wanwan and leaving, but she was an orphan herself, and all the money in the house was in your hands, you demon. Seeing the fear in their faces, you let out a deep sigh. Since I'm here, I might as well make the best of it. Finally, you slowly stood up, turned on the light, and a warm orange glow lit up the whole room. Seeing the mess in front of you, you scratched your head in speechlessness. Then you opened the window to let in some air, and silently started cleaning up the empty bottles. Shen Youchu was still curled up on the sofa holding Wanwan, not moving, but a flicker of surprise crossed her eyes. You didn't rashly disturb the mother and daughter. Instead, you grabbed a towel from the kitchen and started wiping down the table. By the time the room was spotless, you were already drenched in sweat, so you got some clean clothes from the bedroom and walked into the bathroom. Shen Youchu stared at the closed bathroom door, and her tense body finally relaxed. She looked at the room you cleaned up, her eyes filled with disbelief. How did this demon suddenly change his ways? Mommy, I'm hungry. Wanwan, be good. Mommy will cook for Wanwan soon. Shen Youchu stroked Wanwan's hair and whispered softly. She could only wait until you went to sleep before she could cook for herself and the child. Just then, the bathroom door opened, and you stepped out. The mother and daughter sitting on the shabby little sofa both shrank back at the same time. You shook your head, ignored them, pushed open the front door, and left. Shen Youchu froze, a look of despair in her eyes. Did he go out to buy alcohol again? He hasn't had enough tonight? Me and Wanwan will have to go hungry another night. Shen Youchu bit her lip, tears streaming uncontrollably. Mommy, don't cry. Wanwan really isn't hungry anymore. Wanwan thought it was because she said she was hungry that her mommy was crying. She quickly reached out her little hand, clumsily wiping Shen Youchu's face. Shen Youchu bit her lip, and the tears fell even harder. After a long while, she spoke in a trembling voice. Wanwan, be good. Mommy will put you to sleep. Once you're asleep, you won't be hungry. Tomorrow morning, Mommy will get up early and make you something delicious. Okay. Mommy, don't cry. Shen Youchu softly hummed a lullaby, soothing Wanwan to sleep. Watching Wanwan slowly close her eyes, Shen Youchu thought about the 2 years since marriage, and 1,000 bitter feelings welled up inside. She finally made up her mind. Tomorrow she would leave this hell, even if she died out there. It was better than being tortured to death by this demon. Suddenly, the lock on the front door clicked. Shen Youchu, still lost in thought, couldn't help trembling again. Instinctively, she covered Wanwan's ears and listened quietly for what was happening outside. You pushed open the door and subconsciously looked toward the sofa. You were a little surprised. They'd gone back to the bedroom, but it seemed like they hadn't eaten yet. You stared blankly at the food in your hands. After thinking for a moment, you set the food on the table and walked toward the bedroom. Shen Youchu was still tense. She heard your footsteps, slowly approaching the bedroom, and prayed you wouldn't come in. But the next moment, I bought you guys some food. If you're hungry, come out and eat. I'll sleep in the side room tonight. Hearing this, Shen Youchu's eyes snapped open. Then she heard your footsteps fading away. The room fell silent again, with only Shen Youchu's nervous breaths echoing in the bedroom. Wanwan had opened her eyes at some point. She had clearly heard your voice, and was now staring curiously at the closed door. That smelly daddy today actually didn't come to the bedroom to sleep, and he even said he bought us food. Thinking about food, she got hungry again. She swallowed her saliva, and looked up at her mommy expectantly. Shen Youchu lowered her head, saw the hope in her daughter's eyes, and gathered her courage. She tiptoed quietly to the bedroom door, opened it. The aroma of food from the table hit her nose. Shen Youchu's eyes instantly welled up. He actually bought food for her and her daughter. Faced with your sudden kindness, Shen Youchu didn't feel happy, but a deep fear from within. Why is he acting like this? What else does he want from me? Wanwan, barefoot, ran over on her little legs, peeking through the crack in the door. Then her eyes lit up, and saliva unconsciously dripped down. But she didn't act on her own. Instead, she looked up, her big eyes fixed on her mommy. Shen Youchu took a deep breath, then forced a smile, picked up Wanwan. Wanwan, be good. Let's be quiet. Eat. Wanwan hurriedly nodded her little head. In the side room, you of course heard the noise outside. You let out a deep sigh. After sighing, you started thinking. Just now, after buying the food, you realized that in this household, there was only about 1,800 yuan left in savings. I need to make some money. A moment later, you suddenly sat up straight. Why didn't I think of this earlier? This is a parallel world after all. Your heart raced with excitement. You picked up your phone and started scrolling through it. After a while, a smile spread across your face. This world really was just like you remembered. The cultural heritage and entertainment industry were completely different from your old world. Some cheesy songs that made you frown were topping the charts. You gripped your phone tightly, your mind racing. One after another, classic songs slowly surfaced in your memory. Thinking and thinking, you couldn't hold on any longer. Dragging your exhausted body, you slowly drifted off to sleep. The next morning, at exactly 6 a.m., you gently opened the door and walked out of the bedroom. The table and kitchen had been cleaned spotless. Shen Youchu must have cleaned up after eating last night. You stood there for a moment, then quietly went into the bathroom to wash up. You knew Shen Youchu usually didn't get up to cook until 8 a.m. because the old you Would sleep until after 10 every day, only after you got up and had your drinks. Would the mother and daughter get to eat your leftovers? You let out another involuntary sigh, then quickly finished washing up. In the bedroom, Shen Youchu was actually already awake, but she didn't dare come out. The sound of washing up outside faded away. The door creaked open and then closed. Shen Youchu pursed her lips, her eyes fixed on the bedroom door, curious about what you were going out to do again. After waiting for a long time, there was still no sound outside. Shen Youchu glanced at Wanwan, who was still fast asleep beside her, thought for a moment, then mustered the courage to quietly get out of bed, opened the bedroom door, and walked out. The smell of alcohol in the room had become very faint. Fresh air was blowing in through the window, smelling wonderful. This situation gave Shen Youchu a sense of unreality. It had been a very, very long time since she had smelled such a fresh scent. Shen Youchu walked over to the window and looked out at the world outside. Unconsciously, she was somewhat stunned. It was only at this moment that she suddenly remembered that she was only 24 years old. I don't know how long passed. When the sound of the door came again, Shen Youchu was jolted awake. Then, subconsciously, her whole body tensed up, and she turned around mechanically. You were also awkwardly frozen in place, not expecting Shen Youchu to be awake already. After washing up, you realized there was no food at home, so you had just bought some meat, vegetables, and rice. Both of you were stunned. Only then did you fully see what the wife in front of you looked like. Quite beautiful, much prettier than the internet celebrities and stars from your original world. She was too thin, and her face was excessively pale, probably due to malnutrition. Seeing this, you felt a mix of pain, hatred, and embarrassment. Such a beast. To treat such a beautiful wife so cruelly. Really damnable. Well, good morning. I'll go cook first. You were the first to break the awkwardness, picking up the groceries and quickly walking into the kitchen. Shen Youchu could hardly believe her ears and eyes. He actually greeted me? And when did he learn to cook? Shen Youchu silently watched the busy figure. In the kitchen, a tremendous sense of grievance welled up in her heart. She bit her lip hard, and her eyes gradually became moist. What does this mean? Pity me? A sudden conscience? Mom, Wanwan is awake. Can't find Mom. So she ran out barefoot. As soon as she came out, her little nose caught the smell of the food. She turned her head and stared at the kitchen with wide eyes. In the kitchen, you naturally saw the little one too, so you grinned and smiled at her. Unexpectedly, Wanwan shrank back in fear behind Shen Youchu. You helplessly touched your nose. Soon, the meal was ready. You looked at the two still standing stiffly in the distance and said, "Go wash up. Come and eat." Wanwan was already swallowing her saliva, but she still didn't move. Shen Youchu was also somewhat terrified, looking at the scene before her. You had been somewhat expectant, but seeing the two of them so on guard, your expectations sank like a stone to the bottom of the sea. You were silent for a moment, then sighed, and said, "You two eat first." With that, you walked into the side bedroom. Shen Youchu didn't move. She watched the side bedroom door close, then looked down at the hope in her daughter's eyes, and sighed inwardly as well. Wanwan, let's go eat. On the table was the millet porridge you had made, golden and very tempting, along with 2 small side dishes, and a small bowl of steamed egg custard. The moment she saw the egg custard, Wanwan's eyes lit up. Mom, did Daddy make this for Wanwan? Shen Youchu was momentarily at a loss for words. She looked at her daughter's expectant eyes, and finally nodded. Wanwan's eyes grew even brighter. She couldn't wait to scoop up a spoonful of egg custard and put it in her mouth. This is the first meal Daddy ever made for me. So yummy. Shen Youchu just ate in silence. Her heart was conflicted, and also confused. Her gaze involuntarily shifted to the side bedroom, to that tightly closed door. You sat at the desk in the side bedroom, actually already starving, but you knew that the mother and daughter outside weren't ready to eat at the same table with you yet. You shook your head, pushing those thoughts out of your mind. Then you took out your phone and opened the platform for this world. You deactivated the old account, which still had a few thousand followers. You registered a new account. Out of habit, you opened the trending list on the platform, and then the next moment, your brows furrowed. What kind of garbage is this singing? Since when did last-minute cramming and this kind of cheesy pop song dominate the trending list? You had a plan in mind. From the desk, you found some dusty manuscript paper, left behind by Shen Youchu from before. You spread the manuscript paper flat on the desk, and the pen in your hand quickly wrote out a staff notation on the paper. In your original world, you were a songwriter. Now it's just a matter of transport across time and space. Such a small thing could hardly stump you. In just a short moment, a complete score appeared before you. You couldn't wait to pull out a guitar from the wardrobe nearby, then sat upright at the desk with the guitar in your arms. You took a moment to get into the mood, and then closed your eyes. Your fingers lightly strummed, and the sound of the guitar strings drifted out of the room. Shen Youchu, who had been eating in silence, suddenly froze. He can play the guitar too? How is that possible? That guitar is mine. Shen Youchu knew very well that he couldn't play the guitar, at least not before. So what was going on now? Along with the guitar, your singing voice slowly came through. Because I dreamt of you leaving. She froze even more, her eyes filled with disbelief. Even Wanwan, who had been happily eating, was captivated by the singing, stopping her spoon midair and staring at the tightly closed door of the side bedroom. Her big eyes blinked and blinked. Wanwan tilted her head and looked over there. Wanwan knew this was the first time he had cooked for her. Daddy's voice is so gentle. Even though Shen Youchu had never heard this song before, she could still feel how amazing this song was. Such a beautiful melody. It was hard for her to imagine it coming from your mouth. Until the next line, the singing started. Shen Youchu was somewhat overwhelmed. She was confused once again, afraid of the road ahead, and afraid of this change in the person in front of her. She feared it was just a fleeting dream. The singing stopped at that moment too. Wanwan also noticed her mother's crying. Panicked, she climbed onto Shen Youchu's lap, reached out her little hand, and tried to wipe away her mother's tears. Mommy, don't cry. Wanwan will blow it away for you. Wanwan thought that her mother was in pain again. While helping Shen Youchu wipe her tears, she lifted her little face, pulled open Shen Youchu's collar, and blew on her skin. Beneath the collar, Shen Youchu's back was covered with scars. You naturally had no idea what was happening between the mother and daughter outside because of your song. Right now, you were opening your account and clicked on record video. In the video, you didn't show your face. Only the part below your nose was visible. You held the guitar and cleared your throat. This time you were noticeably more formal and played and sang the song through completely once more until the song ended. You saved the recording. Then you trimmed the idle time at the beginning and end. Finally, you extracted the audio and attached the lyrics and music notation. Submitted the copyright online. Once everything was done, you titled the post, "You Are My Life," an original song for everyone. Hope you all like it. Give it lots of likes and support. The video uploaded successfully. You let out a soft sigh of relief, thinking to yourself, finally done. Now just wait for the audience response. This song is a guaranteed hit in this era. You put the guitar back in the wardrobe, then rubbed your growling empty stomach, wondering if those two had eaten. So hungry, what a pain. Rubbing your stomach. You couldn't wait any longer. You gently pushed open the door, peeking through the crack. Like a thief, you looked outside, just in time to see Shen Youchu holding Wanwan and leaving the table. Her eyes were red, as if she'd just been crying. She obviously saw you too. After freezing for a moment, she hurried back to the master bedroom with the child. You breathed a sigh of relief, pushed the door open and walked to the table. Finally, food. Seeing the dishes clearly left for you on the table, you felt a little happy. Then you picked up the millet porridge and downed it in big gulps. You cleared every last bite from the table. After cleaning up the dishes, with nothing to do, you wandered around the room, checked out the layout of the place. It was a 2-bedroom, 1-living-room apartment, only 50 square meters, bought together when they got married. Everything in the house was from back then. It all looked a bit worn out now. You shook your head, went back to the couch and plopped down. Hard to imagine how Shen Youchu and the kid lived in this environment, almost never going out for 2 years. It felt like being in prison. You also knew you couldn't change things overnight, so you just curled up on the small couch, fiddling with your phone, searching how to run a household, how to make a child happy, how to be a good dad. The answers online were all over the place, making you scratch your head. Just then, the master bedroom door opened again. Following the sound, you looked over and saw a little head peeking out. Wanwan tilted her head, staring at you with those almond-shaped eyes just like her mom's, looking at you with curiosity. Those bright eyes were full of innocence and clarity, melting your heart. But Wanwan's little face was too thin, just like her mom. If she were a bit rounder, she'd be even cuter. True. Before, the two of them only got leftovers every day, and the little one couldn't eat the dishes mixed with alcohol. The man didn't give them any money either, so they ate sporadically, sometimes full, sometimes hungry. Seeing Wanwan, a smile instinctively tried to form on your face. But before you could even curve your lips, you saw Wanwan get scared and quickly shut the door, darting back inside. From inside the room came Shen Youchu's voice soothing the child. Your smile froze on your face. You rubbed your nose, feeling innocent. Time passed quietly. By noon, you put down your phone and stood up. Time to make lunch. Just then, the bedroom door opened. Shen Youchu, expressionless, carried a pile of laundry and walked out of the bedroom. She acted as if she didn't see you standing by the couch, heading straight for the bathroom. You clearly noticed her body stiffen when she came out. Is she going to do laundry? You suddenly remembered. The clothes you changed out of yesterday were still in the washing machine, not taken out. With that thought, you quickly headed to the bathroom too. Shen Youchu was nervous inside. She didn't expect you to still be home. Usually at this time, you'd already be out drinking with your loser friends. She heard your footsteps approaching her and got even more nervous. Her body trembled slightly. My clothes are still in the machine. Can I take them out to dry first? Shen Youchu, who was bending down to open the washer, was startled. She even stumbled a step, shrinking further into the bathroom. Careful, you couldn't help adding. Shen Youchu finally realized you were asking for her permission. Her eyes dodged, afraid to look at you. Okay, you go first. Thank you. She clenched her fists tightly, her hands trembling too, and her eyes couldn't hide her anger and distress. You clearly saw Shen Youchu's neck, the purple-red blood marks below it. You gathered the clothes from the washer, not looking at her anymore. Just said, I'll make lunch in a bit. Remember to call Wanwan out to eat. Wanwan is asleep. You can wake her up later. Shen Youchu shrank back again, looking extremely flustered. You knew staying here would only stress her out. Helplessly, you rubbed your nose, picked up the clothes from the washer, and quickly went to the balcony to hang them. Then you walked into the kitchen. In the bathroom, Shen Youchu, still holding the laundry, stood frozen. Not until she heard the sounds of cooking from the kitchen did she snap out of it. Trembling, she put the clothes into the washer, but her gaze unconsciously drifted toward the kitchen. She wondered, what's gotten into him? Shen Youchu subconsciously touched her own nose, then suddenly froze again. When did she pick up that habit? Shen Youchu stood there in front of the washer, listening to the drum spin, her heart full of turmoil. When the wash was done, she took the clothes out and went to the balcony to hang them. And that man had been busy cooking up a storm in the kitchen. Wanwan didn't wait for Shen Youchu to call her. She woke up on her own. Her little hands kept rubbing her sleepy, big eyes. The next moment, when she saw you busy in the kitchen, her beautiful eyes lit up noticeably. Then she curiously leaned against the kitchen doorframe, watching your back. Shen Youchu finished hanging the clothes, turned around, and saw this scene. Little Wanwan looked so hopeful, and you were bustling in the kitchen. Shen Youchu's emotions nearly broke down. She spun around quickly, leaned her back against the wall, covered her face with both hands, and slowly slid down into a crouch. Tears silently fell. This was a scene she'd only ever seen in her dreams, long ago. This time, you still didn't eat at the table with them. After setting the dishes on the table, you hurried out the door, hearing the door close. Shen Youchu roughly wiped her tears away, stood up, picked up Wanwan, and came to the table. No one knows how complicated her feelings are right now. Even she doesn't know what she's thinking. The food was as delicious as breakfast. The little one was already happily eating her egg custard. But the peaceful lunch for the two of them was soon interrupted by the door opening. They instinctively looked up and saw you carrying a big bag, pushing the door and walking in. Wanwan pressed closer to Shen Youchu, the little spoon digging into the egg custard still in her mouth. Her big eyes followed your every move. You lowered your gaze, afraid to look at the frightened mother and daughter. You just walked to the couch and put down the bag. Then you said, I bought you some ointment. Remember to use it. And I got a toy for the kid. I don't know if she'll like it. I saw other little girls all have one, so she should too. Shen Youchu didn't respond to you. After you finished speaking, you paused for a moment. Then you continued, I know you won't believe me, but there are some things I still need to say. From now on, I won't drink anymore. And I won't hit you or Wanwan anymore. You two don't have to be so scared at home. The kid is still young. This kind of atmosphere at home isn't good for him. You let it all out in one breath. You felt a lot lighter, like a weight had been lifted. You didn't wait for Shen Youchu to respond. You silently walked back to the side bedroom. Shen Youchu watched her figure disappear, seeing the door close tightly. She was even more at a loss for words. In just one day, faced with this man's sudden change, she still couldn't let down her guard. You were feeling even worse in the bedroom. Your eyes were red. Clearly you had cried earlier too. If you'd had a choice, you'd rather have never transmigrated here, never known any of this, especially when you saw those bruises on Shen Youchu's body. Your heart was so heavy it felt like it would break. You really couldn't understand how anyone could harbor such malice toward their own family. They had saved some food for you after dinner, but when you walked out of the room, you saw the things you bought for them on the coffee table, the bag still unopened. You pursed your lips and sighed, then sat down and ate in silence. But just then, the master bedroom door actually opened again. Wanwan poked her little head out, staring at you curiously. You quickly forced a smile at her. This time, she didn't run away in fear. You breathed a small sigh of relief. The heaviness in your heart was healed a little by this soft little one. So you put down your chopsticks, mustering all the tenderness you had, and softly called out to Wanwan. Your voice made her flinch slightly, but she didn't retreat back inside. Instead, she turned to look inside the bedroom. And then, as if encouraged, she looked at you again. A childish, soft voice came from her mouth. Daddy. Hearing this voice, you trembled all over. Your eyes instantly welled up. This was the most beautiful sound you'd heard since transmigrating. But Wanwan tilted her little head, looking at you strangely as you laughed and cried at the same time. You nodded firmly. Then you stood up, took the doll out of the bag, and gently shook it at her. A flicker of interest showed in Wanwan's big eyes. She looked at the doll, then looked back at the bedroom. After a long while, she finally shuffled reluctantly toward you. Your heart was pounding like crazy, afraid of scaring off this little one who had finally come close. She reached your side, lifted her little face, and sniffled hard. The next second, she broke into a happy smile. Daddy doesn't stink anymore. If stinky, is the doll still pretty? Her little hands fidgeted, wanting to take it, but afraid. She just stared at you with her big dark eyes. You immediately understood what she meant. So you slowly crouched down, looking her in the eye, and gently placed the toy in her hand. Wanwan finally took the toy. Her little fingers touched the doll's dress, and her eyes immediately curved into crescent moons. Seeing how happy she was, your heart was filled with mixed emotions, especially when you saw her thin little face up close. And the clothes she was wearing, washed so pale, clearly way too small. Your heart ached like needles pricking it. She was only 3 years old. You clenched your teeth, quickly wiped away your tears, forced a smile, and quietly watched her play. At that moment, nothing else mattered in your eyes. Meanwhile, in the master bedroom, Shen Youchu, hearing her daughter's silvery laughter outside, was already in tears. Before long, Wanwan got sleepy from playing. She hugged the doll tightly, glanced at you still smiling foolishly, turned and ran back to the bed room. And what you didn't know was, in just one night, your song, You Are My Only, had absolutely blown up. At 10 p.m. that night, your video had actually stormed into the trending list at number 5. At the same time, in the office of Li Xia, the operations director at Dosho headquarters, there was a knock on the door. A tech guy rushed in with a tablet, sweating all over. Director Yang, there's a special situation. A video took only 2 hours to reach number 5 on the trending list. What's the panic? Another big influencer mess up? No, not a big influencer. It's a new account registered today, and the video didn't get any promoted traffic. It's just a song. Hearing this, Li Xia's expression changed instantly. She immediately clicked on the trending list, and the surprise in her eyes deepened. It's already up to number 4. Let me see what song this is. After the song ended, Li Xia fell completely silent. It was the first time she'd heard such a beautiful song. She immediately opened your profile and saw your name, Bufan. Immediately after, she ordered Lu Yun, push this video right now. Make sure it hits number 1 on the trending list tomorrow. Lu Yun nodded firmly, knowing he'd made the right bet. After he left, Li Xia listened to your song again. Her fingers tapped lightly on the desk. Then after a moment, she picked up her phone and sent you a private message. But you had no idea about any of this. You woke up at 5 a.m., washed up, and went out for morning exercise. This body was even worse than you'd imagined. You were out of breath after running just a little bit. Run, stop, run again. An hour later, you finally finished 5 kilometers. You got home at 7:30. As soon as you pushed open the door, you ran right into Shen Youchu, who had just finished washing up. A few strands of hair on her forehead clung to water droplets. She was startled when she saw you. You froze for a second, then asked awkwardly, "Is the little one still asleep?" "You go watch her. Wanwan and I'll take a shower first, then I'll make breakfast. Is there anything you'd like to eat?" "No, nothing. Just make whatever. I'll go watch the kid." With that, she fled into the bedroom. You looked at the tightly shut door and could only shrug helplessly. After showering, you were starving, and the original body's alcohol craving started acting up. You could only chug hot water frantically while cooking to ease it. Just then, Wanwan got up. She was holding the doll you gave her, and stood at the kitchen doorframe watching you. You turned around, and saw the little one, immediately breaking into a big smile. You asked, "What do you want for breakfast, Wanwan?" "Daddy'll make it for you." Wanwan tilted her little head, and thought for a long time. "Egg custard. Wanwan loves egg custard." "Okay, egg custard it is." You answered fondly, and reached out to ruffle her little head. But you were afraid of scaring her, so you quietly pulled your hand back. "No rush. Take it slow." Wanwan was starting to accept you. That gave you hope. Your mood lifted, and even the cravings and hunger seemed to disappear. You set breakfast on the table, and as usual, went back to your small bedroom, letting the mother and daughter eat first. But this time, there was noticeably more laughter from outside. You lay in bed, picked up your phone that was on silent. You wanted to see how the video turned out, but the moment you unlocked the screen, you were completely shocked. "Holy crap, how many notifications is that?" You swallowed hard. The next second you tapped on your profile page, and the over 1 million followers displayed almost blinded you. With a racing heart, you opened the video. Over 2 million likes, nearly 1 million comments. The smile on your face was unstoppable. This was a viral hit overnight, and the comments section was full of praise. Everyone was begging you to release a new song. Next came the moment to check your earnings. You opened the back end. The number in your wallet made your grin spread wide. A full 320,000. Without any ads, you earned 320,000 in a single day just from traffic. And that was after tax. You finally breathed a sigh of relief. With money, life wouldn't be so tight anymore. You had to remember, before this, your entire savings was just over 1,000 yuan. You even had to be careful buying groceries. You quickly transferred the earnings to your bank card. You waited until the two outside finished eating, then pushed open the door and went out. You cleared the food from the table. After washing the dishes, you grabbed your phone and rushed out the door. This old residential area you live in was bought cheaply back then. You once dreamed of moving to a better place. But unfortunately, that bastard Yuan not only squandered all the savings, he even sold Shen Youchu's phone to buy alcohol. You walked out of the neighborhood. You headed straight for the mall you remembered. As soon as you entered, you saw a store for a major domestic phone brand. A young female shop assistant saw you. Her eyes lit up, and she came over. "Hey handsome, need a phone?" You nodded. You scanned the display cases. "Let me see this one." "Great taste, handsome. This is the latest model. It even supports satellite calls. Do you sell SIM cards here?" "Of course, handsome. For yourself?" You shook your head. "No, it's for my wife." The shop assistant was momentarily stunned. There was a hint of disappointment in her eyes. She was probably thinking, good men really are all taken. But she didn't hesitate in her words. "Your wife is really lucky, handsome. But to get a SIM card, the person needs to come in person with their ID." "All right, didn't realize you needed real name registration for a SIM card too. Then just help me pack up the phone, please." After paying, you hurriedly left. There were still many things to buy. You couldn't waste any more time. Meanwhile, right after you left home, Shen Youchu cleaned the house from top to bottom. She sat on the sofa, looking out the window. The smell of alcohol was long gone from the house. The fresh air made her feel unusually comfortable. Watching Wanwan playing happily, Shen Youchu's lips curled up involuntarily. This kind of life was really nice. But the next second, the sound of the door lock turning suddenly snapped her out of her thoughts. Wanwan also scrambled up quickly. Clutching her doll, she burrowed into Shen Youchu's arms. But instead, noisy sounds came from outside, mixed with a voice you were familiar with. "Easy, easy. Don't scratch it. Lift it upright and move it inside." She quickly picked up Wanwan, intending to go back to the bedroom. But her gaze couldn't help curiously peeking toward the door. The next second, you and a strange man's figure appeared in her view. You were carrying a cream-colored cloud-shaped sofa. As you stepped inside, you saw Shen Youchu's eyes light up noticeably, a joyful expression on her face. "Hey, could you pour a few cups of hot water for the workers to take a break later?" Shen Youchu, who hadn't interacted with outsiders for a long time, was a bit at a loss. "Okay, I'll go right away." The smile on your face became even more endearing. Even though you were drenched in sweat, you were full of energy. Then you and the workers carried the new sofa into the house and moved out the old one. Then the TV and fridge and some plants. As piece by piece of new furniture came in, the house instantly transformed. It was like brand new. Those old discarded pieces of furniture you eventually sold for 800 yuan total. Shen Youchu winced inwardly. Even though those furniture pieces were old, they were still usable. 800 yuan was too cheap. But what she was more curious about now was where you got so much money. According to her calculations, the family should be barely making ends meet right now. After seeing off the workers, you carried a big bag back into the living room. You looked at your handiwork with satisfaction. Now this feels like home. You wiped off your sweat. You placed the bag on the new coffee table and plopped down onto the soft sofa. In the kitchen, the mother and daughter were still standing there dumbfounded. Wanwan was hugging her mother's leg, like a curious little baby, looking left and right. Seeing the little one like this, your eyes narrowed into slits. You suddenly felt a great sense of accomplishment. So, you pulled out a big pink toy from the bag. You placed it on the coffee table, but your eyes were fixed on Wanwan. Sure enough, Wanwan's attention was instantly drawn to it. You reached out and waved at Wanwan, looking at her with adoration. Wanwan, come here quickly. Look what daddy bought you. But Wanwan didn't run over right away. Instead, she lifted her little face and looked at her mom, until Shen Youchu's lips moved, without saying a word. Then she walked over hesitantly. You immediately tore open the toy's packaging. It was a princess house. The princess house is a mess. Wanwan, do you want to decorate the little princess's home, together with daddy? Wanwan's eyes instantly sparkled. She leaned forward a little more, all the way until she was right by your leg. You smiled gently. You picked up the little princess from the house, and sighed in a cheerful tone. The little princess hasn't been dressed yet. Daddy doesn't know how to dress the little princess, so I'll leave it to Wanwan. As you spoke, you handed the little princess to her. Wanwan blinked her big eyes. She tentatively raised her little hand, until she touched the little princess in your hand. You kept smiling all along. You placed the little princess into her hand, and even covered her small hand with your big one. The moment you held her warm little hand, the corners of your mouth lifted. You then picked up a pink dress. Dressing the little princess is up to Wanwan. Wanwan, will you teach daddy? Feeling the warmth of your palm, she looked at the little princess, then at your pathetic expression, and suddenly laughed. Daddy is so silly. Wanwan will teach daddy. The little one laughed so hard her little white teeth showed. She leaned against your leg. Clumsily, she put the dress on the little princess. You laughed along. You humbly accepted the little one's teaching, learning how to dress the little princess. At this moment, this small room suddenly became incredibly bright. Shen Youchu was leaning against the doorframe, quietly watching this beautiful scene. Her eyes slowly grew moist. But you and your daughter didn't play for long. Before you looked up and saw Shen Youchu in a daze. The light blue shirt she was wearing, faded from washing, suddenly looked extremely jarring. Your eyes narrowed sharply. A thought flashed through your mind. This was actually a matching family outfit. It was when Wanwan turned 2. Shen Youchu secretly bought it behind your back. But because of that dress, she got beaten. Her phone was sold too. Remembering that scene, you suddenly fell silent. The next second, you stumbled to your feet, covered your mouth, and rushed into the bathroom to vomit violently. Only now did you realize what it felt like to relive such behavior from a first-person perspective. When you still had a conscience, the disgusting rage it stirred. This sudden turn of events frightened the mother and daughter outside. Shen Youchu shuddered in fear, rushed quickly to the sofa, and scooped Wanwan into her arms. Wanwan, in turn, burrowed deeper into her mother's embrace, terrified that her father, who had just finished vomiting, might, as before, suddenly rush out and hit them. After a while, you stumbled out of the bathroom, looking disheveled, your eyes bloodshot. Seeing the frightened Shen Youchu and Wanwan, you felt even worse. Your stomach wouldn't stop churning, but you forced yourself to endure the discomfort, and weakly said, I'm sorry for scaring you. I'm just not feeling well. The thought that you were occupying this demon's body made you feel like thousands of ants were crawling all over you. Seeing their still wary eyes, you let out a heavy sigh. Silently, you walked into the kitchen. Wanwan probably hasn't had enough fun yet. Why don't you take her out to play for a while? I'll make lunch. Shen Youchu carefully studied your profile. So familiar, yet so strange. Finally, she nodded. Holding Wanwan, she sat back down on the sofa. Wanwan cautiously poked her little head out, and when she saw you were still that gentle father, a smile finally returned to her little face. By the time lunch was ready, the aroma of the food wafted through the living room. But Shen Youchu noticed that after you set the dishes on the table, you silently went back to the guest bedroom. Her lips moved, but she couldn't utter a single word. During the meal, Wanwan held her little spoon in her mouth, and suddenly furrowed her little brows, asking her mom, why isn't daddy eating with us anymore? Shen Youchu was chewing a small piece of stir-fried pork, his favorite dish, because you couldn't eat spicy food. He hadn't had it in a long time. Hearing his daughter's question, he couldn't help glancing toward the guest bedroom, then turned back. Suddenly, he smiled. A smile like spring flowers blooming. That's because mommy and daddy aren't ready yet. The little one didn't understand. Her little brows furrowed even tighter. Meanwhile, you were spacing out in the bedroom, constantly reassuring yourself that it wasn't your fault. But that didn't change the fact that he was you. Helpless. You could only take out your phone and scroll through videos to distract yourself. Your video was still high on the trending list. The comments were all urging you to release a new song. Just then, you heard the sound of dishes being washed from outside. You put down your phone and went out. On the dining table, food was still left for you. Shen Youchu was washing dishes in the kitchen. Wanwan was playing with her new toy on the sofa. Seeing you come out, Wanwan wasn't as scared as before. You smiled, walked over, and patted her little head. Then you looked toward the kitchen. Shen Youchu had just come out of the kitchen and saw you staring at her. She instantly tensed up, her hands helplessly twisting the hem of her clothes. Seeing her so submissive, you couldn't help frowning. You sighed inwardly. It was precisely because of her gentle, reserved nature that the original you had bullied her so blatantly. Thinking of this, your frown immediately relaxed. So, you took the newly bought phone from the coffee table and placed it on the table. Looking at Shen Youchu, you said gently, I bought you a phone. See if you like it. And there's something I want to discuss with you. Can you come sit over here? Shen Youchu had been looking down, but at your words, she suddenly lifted her head to look at you. What she first saw were your clean, clear eyes. Then, she noticed the brand new phone box on the table. Shen Youchu hesitated for a moment. Then after a few seconds, softly hummed in agreement. She slowly walked over and sat down on the sofa. Is there something you want to talk about? Her voice was very soft. You had to strain your ears to hear, but you didn't answer. Instead, you picked up the phone box and opened it yourself. Taking out the sky blue new phone, you did a quick setup, then handed it directly to Shen Youchu. This phone is for you. You'll need to get a SIM card yourself. I've already saved my number. If I'm not home, You can call me if anything comes up. As you spoke, you also pulled a wad of cash from your pocket and placed it in front of her. This is cash I just withdrew. Take the kid out for a walk this afternoon. It's not good to stay cooped up at home all the time. Buy whatever you want, especially clothes. Look, both of your clothes are too small. And get a bank card. Carrying cash isn't safe. You kept rambling, pouring out all the thoughts in your mind in one breath. But Shen Youchu just lifted her head, staring intently at you, listening to your endless muttering. Her eyes slowly reddened. Seeing that she still hadn't taken the phone, you could only rub your nose helplessly. Don't you like this phone? I thought the color was nice. And it's the latest model, so I bought it. If you don't like it, you can go buy one you do. But Shen Youchu gave you another deep look. I really like it. Thank you. Her voice was still very soft, carrying a sob and a slight tremble. Just then, your eyes suddenly met. You awkwardly looked away, but felt relieved inside. Glad you like it. No need to thank me. I'll go eat now. With that, you immediately stood up, walked quickly to the dining table, and started eating heartily. Actually, Shen Youchu was still puzzled about where you got all that money. But she didn't ask. She just picked up the new phone on the table and examined it closely. Wanwan leaned in too, curiously staring at the new thing in her mom's hand. Shen Youchu took the opportunity to pat the little one's head. The two of them, one big, one small, sat there studying the phone together. After eating, you were drenched in sweat. You wanted to take a shower. But the mother and daughter had been hanging around the living room all day, which made you too embarrassed. In the end, you could only sulkily return to the guest bedroom. It wasn't until 5 p.m. that the heat outside finally subsided a little. Shen Youchu, sitting on the sofa, hesitated for a moment, then still picked up the money from the table. After that, she led Wanwan out the door. Wanwan hadn't been out in a very, very long time. She loved going outside to play. But before, her mom never took her out, and her dad wouldn't allow them to go out either. So this time, she was unusually excited. The little one held a doll in one hand, and her mom's hand in the other, skipping along the whole way. Her big, round eyes were darting around everywhere. To her, everything outside was full of novelty. But Shen Youchu was a bit tense. Her pace unconsciously quickened, looking at the passers-by coming and going. She felt inexplicably inferior, especially because of the ill-fitting clothes on her and Wanwan. She always felt that people's gazes would inadvertently linger on them for an extra second. The mall wasn't far. You vaguely remembered crossing 2 streets to get here. It had changed a lot from the mall in your memory. Just 2 years. The decor seemed even more refined here. As soon as you entered, you saw a phone store. There was a counter for getting SIM cards inside. Shen Youchu hesitated for a moment, then led the child and walked in. There were quite a lot of people in the store. The staff looked busy. Shen Youchu, who hadn't talked to anyone in a long time, stood there a bit lost. Fortunately, a female employee noticed her, walked up to her proactively. First, she patted Wanwan's head, then said with a smile, "Such a good kid. Miss, are you looking to buy a phone?" Hearing someone compliment Wanwan, Shen Youchu's face lit up with a smile. "I want to get a SIM card. Can I do that now?" The female employee still had a smile on her face. While talking, she guided Shen Youchu to the counter. "Sure, this way please. We have several plans for you to choose from. But may I ask what brand of phone you have? If it's one of our store's brand phones, there's a discount on the SIM card." Hearing discount, Shen Youchu's eyes lit up. She quickly took out the phone from her pocket and handed it to the female employee. "Excuse me, does this work? I think it's your brand. And I just bought it this morning." The female employee was startled for a moment. She took another careful look at Shen Youchu. There had only been a few of the latest model phones sold today, and here she was getting a SIM card. She naturally thought of you from this morning. So this mother and daughter are the wife and child of that handsome guy from this morning? But why were they both so thin? And their clothes obviously didn't fit well. That handsome guy didn't seem like someone who would treat his wife and child badly. The female employee couldn't quite figure it out, but she didn't ask further. She still had a smile on her face. Exclaimed, "Oh, so that's it. The handsome guy who came to buy a phone this morning is your husband? You're so lucky. This is the latest model phone from our store. With this phone, you can get this plan. Top up 100, get 100 free. Free 600 minutes of talk time." She still served enthusiastically, but this time, the service target had changed from you to Shen Youchu. Shen Youchu, flustered by the talk, paid the money in a daze, successfully got the SIM card, until she walked out of the phone store. Her mind still echoed with the female employee's warm voice. But he actually said he was a good man. Shen Youchu really wanted to tell her, if such a good man is so great, why don't you take him home? After getting the SIM card, Shen Youchu also got a bank card and deposited all the money she had. After deducting the SIM card fee, there was still 4,900 left. This time he had given her a full 5,000. Holding the phone and bank card, she walked out of the bank. Shen Youchu looked at the tall buildings around her and suddenly felt like she was alive again. Now she could leave with the child, rely on this money to find a job and support herself and the child. She could even go chase her dreams again. The sudden freedom made Shen Youchu stand there stunned for a long time, until a childish voice sounded in her ear. "Mommy, can Wanwan have an ice cream?" She snapped back to reality instantly. Little Wanwan beside her was still holding her hand, her round eyes staring straight at the ice cream shop not far away. Drool was about to drip from the corner of her mouth. Shen Youchu smiled. Her smile was so bright and radiant. "You can, but just one. Otherwise your tummy will hurt. Wanwan loves mommy the most." Finally, the mother and daughter went out. You took a nice shower, completely unaware that Shen Youchu outside might never come back. After showering, you started preparing tonight's dinner. The usual 2 meat and 2 veggie dishes as the main course. You planned to make some soup noodles tonight, but because you didn't know when they'd be back, you didn't make them yet. You placed the dishes on the table, cut the noodles, and left them on the cutting board. Then you returned to the living room, collapsed onto the sofa, picked up your phone, and started scrolling through parenting tips. What to do if a child won't eat? Just give him a spanking. That won't do. Swipe away, swipe away. Wanwan is so good. How could she not eat? Besides, such an adorable little one. You couldn't bear to lay a finger on her until you started feeling drowsy from scrolling. You yawned. Checked the time in the top right corner. It was already 7 p.m. Why haven't these two come back yet? You suddenly sat up straight. Something bad hasn't happened to them, has it? You felt a bit nervous. Quickly stood up, put on your shoes, and prepared to go out to look for them. But just as you opened the door, you happened to run into them coming back from outside. A fragrant breeze blew in from the doorway, and you were completely stunned. At that moment, Shen Youchu was humming some unknown tune. Her steps light. The upturned corners of her mouth showed that she was in a very good mood. In her hands were several shopping bags. Wanwan was holding onto the hem of her shirt with one hand, and in her other hand she held the same doll you had given her. What stunned you the most was they had both changed into new clothes that fit well. When their two lively, cute almond-shaped eyes saw you, they also seemed stunned for a second. The next moment, Wanwan sweetly leaned in, calling out Daddy. Having gone out to play today and put on new clothes, Wanwan was obviously overjoyed. That Daddy almost made your soul take flight. You answered in a voice trembling with emotion, then crouched down, ruffled Wanwan's hair, and scooped up the adorable little one. Heading into the house first. Daddy will make noodles for you tonight, okay? The kind with 2 eggs. Okay. Wanwan loves eggs. Wanwan loves Daddy the most. Shen Youchu outside the door was left in disarray. The little one had just said she loved Mommy the most, and now she'd switched sides. Wanwan didn't have to wait long. The noodles with eggs were ready quickly. You brought the noodles in front of her, booped her little nose, then habitually turned to head for the bedroom. Just as you turned around, you didn't expect the little one to grab hold of your shirt. Daddy, will you eat with Wanwan? Her soft voice sounded again. You turned back to meet Wanwan's expectant gaze. You hesitated, glanced sneakily at Shen Youchu sitting next to you. Shen Youchu didn't say anything. She didn't look at you either. It was as if she hadn't heard Wanwan at all. She just mindlessly slurped the noodles in front of her. You were speechless. This situation was really awkward. If you're going to kill me, just do it. Give me a straight answer. What's with the silent treatment? You could only tentatively probe. All right, I'll stay and eat with Wanwan. Daddy, sit next to Wanwan. It was Wanwan who answered you, happily patting the chair on the other side. You touched your nose, your expression unnatural, and brought another bowl of noodles from the kitchen. Sitting down next to Wanwan, Mom sat on the left, Dad sat on the right, and little Wanwan in the middle, surrounded by her parents for the first time. Never stopped smiling. Even eating, she was putting in extra effort. She finished the entire bowl of noodles cleanly. In the end, Shen Youchu was afraid the little one would overeat and wouldn't let her eat anymore. Only then did the little one stop. But after the meal, Wanwan wanted Mom and Dad to play with her together. The wish for the princess house. But it fell through. In the end, only you were left to play with Wanwan. And after Shen Youchu finished dinner, she went back to the master bedroom alone. You could understand that. Being able to let you sit at the table and eat together. Shen Youchu must have gone through a huge mental struggle. You put yourself in Shen Youchu's shoes. You thought about it. If it were you, after suffering the kind of treatment from before, wanting yourself to get along with your enemy, you definitely couldn't do it. No, if it were you, then the original you would probably not even have a body left by now. The kind chopped up and fed to dogs. You played with Wanwan until 9 p.m. Wanwan was so sleepy she was nodding off, but she still didn't want to go to bed. During this time, you also noticed a very serious problem. That was that Wanwan was already 3 years old, but the little one still couldn't take off her own shoes. You know, a normal 3-year-old is old enough for kindergarten. You knew this too. It was caused by the unhealthy family environment before. You couldn't rush it, but you still felt incredibly distressed. It was at that moment that Shen Youchu walked out of the bedroom. She didn't speak. She just silently watched you and Wanwan on the sofa. The meaning in her eyes was clear. You understood instantly and picked Wanwan up from the sofa. After giving her a kiss on her little cheek, you said with a smile in your eyes, Wanwan, it's time for bed. Daddy will play with you again tomorrow. Okay. Wanwan's eyes, which were almost closed, opened slightly. She looked at your face, then turned her head and looked at Shen Youchu. Then she suddenly buried her little head in Daddy's neck. Wanwan wants to sleep with Daddy tonight. The sudden words caught you off guard. They also made Shen Youchu's face darken slightly. The worst is when the air suddenly goes quiet. You looked at Shen Youchu with an innocent expression. This is the little one's own idea. Really, I didn't put her up to it. Shen Youchu clenched her fist secretly. This ungrateful little wretch. I've taken care of her for so long for nothing. In just 2 days, she's been corrupted by the enemy's sugar-coated bullets. In the end, the little one got her way. Shen Youchu gave her a simple wash. The little one was delighted and crawled into Daddy's bed. Wanwan was like a koala, clinging to your neck and refusing to let go. You let her hold you like that. This was your first time putting a child to bed. You remembered online parenting tips, so you gently told Wanwan a bedtime story. Soon Wanwan was incredibly content and fell into a deep sleep. The next morning, Wanwan was still asleep. You still got up early. You gently pushed open the bedroom door and went to the living room. You prepared to go out for a morning run. The next moment, you couldn't believe your eyes. You rubbed your eyes. The ointment on the coffee table in the living room was gone. Your eyes gradually lit up. A knowing smile spread across your face. You left the house in a cheerful mood today. Morning run, shower, and cooking. It took you a total of over 2 hours. After finishing breakfast, there was another task today. Wake up your daughter. Wanwan was woken by your gentle voice. She rubbed her sleepy eyes. The moment she saw you, a cute, innocent smile gradually bloomed on her face. The little one stretched out her 2 soft little arms. In a gesture asking for a hug from Daddy, you immediately reached out and gently picked her up. You put on the new clothes you bought yesterday for her. Then you carried her out to wash up. You had learned from videos how to take care of a child. But theory is just theory. Now that you were putting it into practice, you realized how hard it was. The little one's body was too delicate. You didn't dare to use force. So the whole process was clumsy, especially when tying the little one's hair. You felt inadequate. You fussed for a long time. And in the end it was all lopsided. Daddy is a big dummy. Wanwan saw her crooked hair in the mirror, pouted and teased you. You pinched her little nose, making Wanwan giggle. She also reached out her little hand to pinch your nose. Shen Youchu came out of the bedroom and saw this heartwarming scene between father and daughter. She didn't say anything, just silently walked into the kitchen and brought out the breakfast. Perhaps she didn't even notice, but the corners of her mouth had already curled up unconsciously. The family of 3 had a simple breakfast. You didn't hand Wanwan back to Shen Youchu. Instead, you continued to take Wanwan to the sofa and played with the princess house. But this time, while playing with Wanwan, you casually instilled into her little mind some very simple numbers. Numbers from 1 to 10. After discovering Wanwan's problem, you secretly made a plan. During playtime, a plan to cultivate the little one's self-learning, starting with simple numbers. Some basic life knowledge. You would slowly teach Wanwan. Obviously, this wouldn't succeed overnight. But luckily, Wanwan was very smart. Before, no one had taught her these things. Now, under your casual guidance, she quickly remembered some of the knowledge. Also, you noticed that since Shen Youchu came back yesterday, she seemed to have suddenly changed. She clearly had more radiance than before. This was a good sign. It made you feel much better. Shen Youchu was downloading apps like the platform, while observing the interaction between father and daughter. At that moment, she also noticed that you were subtly teaching Wanwan. She watched without showing it, a hint of sweetness rising in her heart. She had long wanted to teach the child, but the previous family environment, their life was already so hard. How could she have the ability to, like a normal mother, teach Wanwan? Shen Youchu withdrew her gaze and looked at her phone screen. As expected of the latest phone, the download speed of apps was very fast. In just a few seconds, several apps had finished downloading. The moment Shen Youchu logged into her WeChat, unread messages popped up. It was from Chu Chu, the assistant who had been with her for 2 years. Her WeChat had only a few people, besides you, and people from her previous company. Chu Chu's messages had been sent continuously from her wedding up to a couple days ago. She had been sending them nonstop, mostly asking about her situation, but she had never been able to reply. Looking at this string of messages, Shen Youchu felt a bit warm inside. She immediately replied, "Sorry, Chu Chu. I haven't been able to reply to you before. I'm doing well now. Don't worry." Less than 2 seconds after the message was sent, the other side replied instantly, "Sister Shen, you're finally alive. I thought after you got married, you wouldn't want to talk to me anymore. Sister Shen, you don't know. Since you disappeared, rumors have been flying around the company, especially that annoying Lu Li. She's been insufferably arrogant these 2 years. She badmouths you to everyone, saying you deserve it. It's so infuriating." Seeing Chu Chu's message, Shen Youchu pursed her lips slightly. Lu Li is right. I really do deserve it. Back when I was at the company, I was always one step ahead of Lu Li. After quitting the circle, it was only natural that Lu Li would end up like this. How's Chu Chu doing lately? Is life treating her well? Shen Youchu didn't answer Chu Chu's question. Instead, she asked about his recent situation. It's fine, Sister Shen, don't worry. I'm a cockroach that can't be killed. It's just that I miss you, Sister Shen. Sister Shen, will you make a comeback? Shen Youchu was stunned for a moment, her eyes showing a hint of longing. Would she ever return? She turned her head and looked at you, then looked at Wanwan. After a moment, the longing in her eyes slowly faded. Probably not, but if Chu Chu misses me, we can find time to meet up. At that moment, in the Tianmei Entertainment Building in downtown Jiangxing, a young girl about 1.6 meters tall put down the heavy load on her shoulders and excitedly tapped on her phone with both hands. Soon, a sharp female voice jolted her out of her joy. "Zhao Chu Chu, are you slacking off? Hurry up and work. You think you're still the assistant to that popular flower? If you don't want to do it, get lost while you still can." The owner of that voice was a woman with a fox-like face. Her face was tilted up, her slender eyebrows arched, and her eyes were full of disdain. "What are you looking at? Hurry up and carry the equipment to the recording studio. If you delay my recording, can you afford to pay for it?" Zhao Chu Chu shot the woman a glare, but still hoisted the equipment and walked toward the recording studio. "Okay, Sister Shen, I have this Saturday off. Contact me if you're free." Shen Youchu looked at that message, and finally a smile appeared on her face. She scrolled a bit more, and seeing no other messages, she switched to Weibo. Her last post on Weibo was from 2 years ago. It was her announcement of quitting the industry, originally having hundreds of thousands of followers. Now it had dropped to a few thousand. Besides the zombie accounts, there were actually some old fans left, often leaving messages caring about her. She casually browsed the trending topics on Weibo, all about recent gossip, but among them, a few were talking about a song that had recently exploded in popularity, "Having You in My Life." Divine song, mysterious singer, gained over 1 million fans overnight with just one video. Who exactly is Bufan? In-depth analysis. Let's take a look at a recent hidden gem. Shen Youchu was curious. What kind of song had become so popular lately? So she clicked on one of the headlines. The phone screen automatically jumped to a video interface. A familiar guitar melody started playing. The living room suddenly fell silent, with only the song echoing in the ears of the 3. You awkwardly turned your head away. Wanwan's big eyes sparkled, and she pounced into Shen Youchu's arms, staring at the phone screen. Shen Youchu was completely stunned. This familiar voice. Wasn't it the song that came from your room a couple of days ago? So you were recording a video that day. Wanwan was the first to react. She pointed a little finger at the phone screen, looked up at Shen Youchu, and said, "It's Daddy. Daddy's in the phone." That's Daddy." Shen Youchu patted the little one's head and responded. Only now did she understand why you had so much money, replacing all the furniture at home. The likes were in the millions. How could you not have money? She turned to look at your sharply defined profile, a complex, unreadable look in her eyes. Wanwan, having gotten her mother's answer, happily pounced back into your arms. Her little short hands cupped your face, her big eyes full of light. In a soft, babyish voice, "Daddy is so gentle." Wanwan wants to sing too. Her soft little hands pressed against your face, and your gaze gradually softened. You also cupped your daughter's small face with both hands. "Does Wanwan like singing too?" "Yes." Wanwan's eyes curved into crescents, answering you without hesitation. Her smile even brighter. "All right then, Daddy will teach Wanwan to sing. When Wanwan learns it, she can sing it in the phone." "Okay." Wanwan kept nodding her little head. Then happily, she pressed a kiss, hard against your cheek. Rewarded, you were beaming with joy. Under the little one's admiring gaze, you dashed back to the side bedroom and brought out the guitar. Back on the couch, you hugged the guitar and tuned the strings. Then turned your head and saw both Shen Youchu and Wanwan staring at you without blinking. Rarely, your face reddened a little, and then you plucked the strings. "Today, Daddy is going to write a nursery rhyme just for Wanwan. Daddy will sing it once for Wanwan to hear. Next time, Daddy will sing one line, and Wanwan will follow, okay?" Wanwan nodded happily, her little face full of anticipation. "This song is called Courage Explosion. Wanwan, listen closely." With that, you gently strummed the strings, and a lively melody filled the living room. Wanwan's sense of rhythm was surprisingly good. She swayed her head gently to the beat, and you couldn't help swaying along with the little one. Watching this father-daughter pair moving in sync, Shen Youchu's gaze gradually softened, and a smile quietly appeared on her face. She even joined in your rhythm. A family, for the first time, fully immersed in an ocean of joy. At that moment, even the living room felt brighter. Following the song, Wanwan made a little fist and struck a Superman pose. You then put down the guitar and made the same gesture along with the little one. Then you reached out and lightly tapped Wanwan's upturned nose. Wanwan pounced into your arms, her little short hands tightly wrapping around your neck. "Daddy, Wanwan likes this. Daddy, please don't go back to the way you were before." "Okay." Wanwan's soft, sticky voice rang in your ear. Your mouth hung slightly open, and a mist suddenly filled your eyes. You hugged Wanwan tightly, your face buried deep in Wanwan's clothes. "Daddy will never be like that again." Your voice was hoarse but firm. Shen Youchu couldn't see your expression at that moment, but your face was already streaked with tears. Yet you had a smile on your face, because you knew the old days would never return. Never again. You were the first to pull yourself together. You set the guitar aside and sat Wanwan on your lap. "Wanwan, now let's learn the song. I'll sing a line, and you follow me, okay?" "Okay." Wanwan agreed very quickly. What followed was a teaching session between father and daughter. For the entire morning, the living room echoed with their voices. Seeing the two of them absorbed in learning, Shen Youchu quietly started making lunch. But her cooking was clearly not as good as yours, which led to Wanwan clamoring during the meal that she wanted Daddy to cook from now on. That made Shen Youchu shoot a jealous glare at the little one, and she felt indignant inside. "Little ungrateful thing. Just 2 days and you've been bribed." This family atmosphere made you feel at ease, like what a real family should be like. Wanwan learned quickly. It only took her 3 days to sing Courage Explosion, completely from start to finish. At Wanwan's strong insistence, you also filmed a video of Wanwan and posted it on the platform. In the video, Wanwan wore a pink princess dress, a bow on her head, and her small body swayed back and forth to the music. Absolutely adorable. Your face was all smiles while you were filming. Your whole expression screamed, "This is my daughter." You're proud, Sundra look. Shen Youchu, watching from the sidelines, caught a glimpse of your expression without meaning to. She nearly choked, holding back her laughter. It was the first time she'd seen you look like that over these 3 days, because you'd been on your best behavior. The tension between Shen Youchu and you had eased a lot. At least now Shen Youchu would take the initiative to say a couple of words to you. No one expected that the second video on this account would actually be a children's song. The song was still original, and still just as good. At the platform headquarters, Lu Yun spotted the video right away. After watching the whole thing, without a second thought, he gave it maximum promotion. Such an adorable little bun. Such a sweet song. Lu Yun had an anti-smile all over his face, grinning from ear to ear. Then the platform trending list exploded again. The storm around You in My Life hadn't fully settled, and already the Courage Explosion gale had swept in. This time the video's popularity surged even faster. In just one afternoon, the likes hit 5 million. And the comment count was just insane, which meant that by evening, you had to mute your phone again. You sat on the sofa with Wanwan in your arms, endlessly scrolling through the comments. Each one a gem. You couldn't stop scrolling. "If I had a daughter like that, I wouldn't allow any bleach blonde within 100 miles. That was the most liked comment. The next day, Saturday, you just finished your morning run, wiping off sweat as you pushed open the door, and there was Shen Youchu in a new spaghetti strap nightie. Coming out of the bathroom, she'd clearly just taken a shower, drying her hair, her pretty face flushed from the warm air. You two stared at each other, wide-eyed. A line of poetry suddenly popped into your head. Natural, unadorned beauty, like a lotus rising from clear water. It fit Shen Youchu perfectly at that moment. Seeing you gawking at her like an idiot, Shen Youchu instinctively covered her chest. Her face slowly reddened, even her earlobes starting to turn pink. Even though they'd been married for over 2 years, this feeling now was like a brand new couple. Morning. Shen Youchu tried to calm herself. "Greeting you." She couldn't help quickening her steps toward the bedroom. You grunted a reply. Shen Youchu didn't say another word and fled back into the bedroom. You smiled helplessly, shook off the random thoughts in your head, and hummed a tune as you walked into the bathroom. Shower, cook, wake Wanwan up. The daily trifecta. When you pushed open the bedroom door, Wanwan was still fast asleep, her little mouth slightly open, sprawled starfish style on your big bed. After a few days of proper meals and sleep, Wanwan's complexion looked much healthier, still thin, but her spirits were visibly better. You sat on the edge of the bed watching for a moment, then leaned down and gently pinched the little one's nose. Wanwan, time to get up and eat. The little one on the bed pouted, opening her eyes a crack. When she saw you, the corners of her mouth couldn't help curling up. Then she slowly reached out her short little arms and wrapped them around your neck. Daddy. Her voice was milky, with a hint of a whine. You smiled and scooped her up. You walked out of the bedroom and set her on the stool in front of the sink. The little one had been washing her own face and brushing her teeth these past 2 days. You stood beside her, steadying her, putting toothpaste on her brush, handing her a towel, that sort of thing. Wanwan was very smart. You only taught her for 2 days, and she'd already picked up the skill. Shen Youchu also came out of the bedroom just then. Her long hair was tied up high, into a little bun on top of her head. Shen Youchu like this made your eyes light up. You nodded to yourself. So this is what a 20-something's energy should look like. Still too thin. If she were a bit kavya, she'd definitely look better. Shen Youchu was still a little nervous inside. Her cheeks flushed slightly. This was the first time she dressed up like this at home. She didn't know if it looked good. She looked up at you, still taking care of Wanwan. Then she quietly walked over to the table and sat down. His eyes seemed to light up just now. So that means it must still look good, right? Wait, why do I care what he thinks? Shen Youchu angrily puffed out her cheeks, stirring her bowl absently with her chopsticks. She was mad at herself for being so weak. Just then you sat down too, holding the washed Wanwan. Wanwan sweetly called out, Mommy. Then she picked up her own little spoon and scooped up the golden millet porridge in front of her. Can you come out with us today? You were busy enjoying your meal, head down, when you suddenly heard Shen Youchu's question. You looked up at Shen Youchu, a puzzled expression on your face. Shen Youchu nodded, not meeting your eyes, but her earlobes were already bright red. Sure. You agreed readily. On the way, you hailed a taxi. Today you were heading to Yida Plaza in the city center. Shen Youchu and her former assistant Zhao Chuchu were meeting at a milk tea shop there. The reason she brought you and Wanwan along was entirely because Zhao Chuchu wanted to see the little one, and the little one had become your shadow these past 2 days, sticking to you like glue. So basically, you were just riding on the little one's coattails. After 2 years, she could finally see Sister Shen again. Zhao Chuchu was excited. She bought several cups of milk tea in advance and sat staring at the shop entrance. Zhao Chuchu had worked with Shen Youchu for a year and a half. They were like sisters. Shen Youchu had been really good to her. Too bad. After that, Shen Youchu got together with you. She still didn't understand why Sister Shen had to be with that good-for-nothing man. She couldn't figure it out. She'd even tried to talk Shen Youchu out of it back then. It was like her mind was made up. She wouldn't listen to any advice. Zhao Chuchu's mind was wandering when she suddenly spotted that familiar figure, holding a bouncing little bun, walking in through the shop door. Her eyes lit up. She stood up abruptly and waved her left hand. Sister Shen, over here. Shen Youchu heard the voice, looked up and saw Zhao Chuchu's waving hand. A smile naturally spread across her face. Chuchu hasn't changed at all, still so lively and cheerful. She walked up to the table. Both of them had more than just joy in their eyes. They were a little teary. Sisters reunited after a long separation. They couldn't quite hold back their emotions. Zhao Chuchu looked her over carefully. Shen Youchu's eyes grew even redder. She grabbed Shen Youchu's hand. Her little mouth already turned down. Sister Shen, you've lost so much weight. Has that man been treating you badly? Where is he? I'll teach him a lesson for you. Shen Youchu pressed her lips together and sat down with Zhao Chuchu. She also settled Wanwan beside her. Then she finally spoke. Chuchu, don't worry. He's been treating me pretty well now. And you? After I left, has work been going smoothly? I'm doing fine too. Sister Shen, you have no idea how much I've missed you. The two of them asked each other about how things were going. After chatting for a while, Zhao Chuchu finally shifted her gaze to the little one. The little one had been behaving well on the side all along. Zhao Chuchu was too busy catching up with Shen Youchu to really look at him. Now that she took a closer look, her eyes lit up immediately. He looks so much like Sister Shen, like they were cut from the same mold. Especially those big, lively eyes. You can't help but fall for this little one at first sight. Sister Shen, is this Wanwan? She looks just like you. So adorable. Zhao Chuchu said, as she got up from her seat, crouched in front of the little one, and reached out to touch her cheek. Then her brow furrowed slightly. The little one, like Sister Shen, was just as thin. Zhao Chuchu was furious inside. She was sure that good-for-nothing man must have treated Sister Shen and the child poorly. The more she thought, the angrier she got. Right now she wanted to confront that man face to face. So she looked up at Shen Youchu. Sister Shen, didn't you say he'd be coming too? Where is he? Shen Youchu could sense Zhao Chuchu's hostility toward you, but she didn't know what to say. She could only give an awkward smile. Wanwan wanted ice cream, so he went to queue up to buy some for the kid. Zhao Chuchu naturally saw the look on Shen Youchu's face. It only made her angrier. Shen Youchu's personality was always gentle and reserved, but now there was a hint of timidity in that gentleness. She could feel it, afraid of scaring the child. Zhao Chuchu could only snort and go back to her seat, while quietly grinding her teeth, thinking about how to kill you. Zhao Chuchu was about to speak, but suddenly stopped. Her eyes sharpened. She stared at the entrance of the milk tea shop. Shen Youchu was startled, and her expression grew even more awkward. She thought you had arrived, causing Chuchu's hostility, just as she turned to look. A slightly shrill voice rang out from behind her. Zhao Chuchu, you've got time to drink milk tea? Have you finished the work I gave you? Luli, are you done? Today's my day off. Zhao Chuchu's face darkened. She looked like a spitting kitten, staring hard at the speaker. Shen Youchu turned around and finally saw the newcomer was Luli. She used to be a rising star at the same company, also trying to be a serious singer. Isn't this Sister Shen? Why isn't Sister Shen at home, dutifully being a good wife and mother? What are you doing out here looking for Chuchu? Luli smiled with her eyes, but her words were full of mockery. Before Shen Youchu could say anything, Zhao Chuchu beside her got angry first. Luli, mind your own business. It's not work hours, so stop being so sarcastic. Come on, Shenjia, let's go. There's a mad dog barking here, ruining our mood. With that, Zhao Chuchu picked up Wanwan, grabbed Shen Youchu's hand, and was about to leave. But Luli stepped in front of them. She looked at Shen Youchu, her eyebrows twitching slightly. Then she smiled again. Sister Shen, why are you so thin? Things not going well? If you're struggling, just tell your little sister here. I can spare some change for you. After all, I'm such a kind soul. Look, Chuchu is a grunt under me now. Life's not too bad, right? Isn't that right, Chuchu? Zhao Chuchu's face turned ashen. She stared at Luli without a word. Shen Youchu whirled around to look at Zhao Chuchu, her eyes full of disbelief. Doing odd jobs meant pure physical labor. How could the company make Chuchu do that? But this obviously wasn't the time to ask. Shen Youchu turned her head, and the look she gave Luli also carried anger. But just as she was about to speak, Zhao Chuchu spoke first. My contract with the company ends at the end of this month. I'll resign then anyway. I just hope someone doesn't climb too high, only to fall harder. If Sister Shen makes a comeback, someone might have nightmares even in their sleep. Luli was taken aback. She did have some lingering fear of Shen Youchu. After all, Shen Youchu had overshadowed her for a whole year and a half. Back when she was around, who even knew who I was? But Luli quickly laughed. She looked at Shen Youchu with contempt. Now that's the funniest joke I've heard all day. What company would dare sign a washed-up artist? With a kid? Speaking of kids, Shen Youchu, your child is pretty cute. You might want to think about grooming her as the next young star. Luli said, her face full of disdain. She even got carried away and reached out to pinch Wanwan's cheek. Get your dirty hands off her. I dare you to touch her even once. I'll make you cry so hard you won't find a place to hide. You strode over with a fierce look, quickly stepped in front of Shen Youchu, and handed the ice cream to the three of them. Then you faced Luli, blocking Shen Youchu and Wanwan behind you. Luli was startled and involuntarily stepped back 2 paces. Looks like you're pretty intimidating when you're angry. But she steadied herself, and when she got a good look at you, she suddenly burst out laughing. Oh, it's this pretty boy. Useless trash. I was wondering who it was. It's just you. What? In a public place? You gonna hit me? You frowned. Turned to look at Shen Youchu, your eyes questioning, clearly asking who this shrew was. She's a singer from the old company. I didn't expect to run into her here. Your angry expression might not scare others. But Shen Youchu was a bit frightened. When she saw you looking at her, she lowered her head slightly. Seeing Shen Youchu like that, you frowned even more tightly. You sighed inwardly. You didn't ask anymore. You turned your head, looked down at Luli. A singer? Sorry, I've never heard of you. I don't know you. I only know that a good dog doesn't block the way. Please move aside. You said it very seriously. Hearing this, Luli's voice became even sharper. Man, you need to know your place. You think I don't know? You've been sucking up to Tianshan from that boy band every day, treating him to drinks all the time. And now you're pretending to be all tough with me? You thought about those 2 names for a moment, and finally remembered who they were. Members of the boy band your predecessor was in. After quitting the scene, your predecessor wanted to make a comeback, and indeed often treated them to drinks to curry favor. But they didn't give a damn about him. I'm not close to those 2 you mentioned. If you keep making a scene, don't blame me for calling security. Luli shot you a nasty glare, but she obediently moved aside. You pulled Shen Youchu behind you, and signaled Zhao Chuchu to follow. You walked straight outside, but as you brushed past Luli suddenly spoke to Shen Youchu again. Hey, too bad someone will never sing again. Shen Youchu's new song releases at the end of this month. After saying that, Luli laughed happily. How can Shen Youchu compare to me? Luli's nasty voice lingered in everyone's ears. Zhao Chuchu wished she could rush over right now, slap him, knowing full well that Shen Youchu loves to sing. And now she can't sing anymore. What he said was utterly cruel. Your footsteps also paused. You took a deep look at Luli, then continued walking out without expression. Shen Youchu didn't speak. She just pursed her lips slightly. But at that moment, a childish voice suddenly rang out, clear and firm. Mom sings better than you. You're a bad aunt. Everyone was stunned. No one expected that the little one would speak up for her mother like that. You were only stunned for a second, and then you smiled and ruffled the little one's head, thinking to yourself, impressive. Truly, my daughter. You were still a bit angry, but as soon as Wanwan spoke, all your anger vanished into thin air. Ignoring Luli's reaction, the few of you left that troublesome place. The group arrived at a restaurant. Shen Youchu and Zhao Chuchu chatted. Earlier, they had been walking all along. Something she worried about but didn't ask. Now finally seated, with no outsiders around, she took Zhao Chuchu's hand. Finally asked the question she'd always wanted to ask. Chuchu, how could you work as an assistant for Luli? And Sister Yun? What is she doing now? Sister Yun was Shen Youchu's former agent. She was nearly 40 years old, but she had always been good. Hearing Shen Youchu's question, Zhao Chuchu couldn't hide her dejection. After you left, Sister Yun was fired not long after. She looked for a job for a long time, but couldn't find one. Then her mother got sick and was hospitalized. She had to stay in the hospital to take care of her mother, so she only found a job as a maid. Shen Youchu hadn't expected that Sister Yun had fallen to such a state. She felt a bit dazed. She could vaguely see Sister Yun back then, when she worked her decisive and efficient manner. Both fell silent. Shen Youchu pursed her lips. She knew it was all her fault. If it weren't for her own willfulness, Sister Yun wouldn't be like this. She had disobeyed the company's orders so many times for her. When she had a future, the company naturally wouldn't say anything. But then she just up and quit. So you can imagine what Sister Yun had to endure. The atmosphere was heavy. After the few of them ate hastily, Zhao Chuchu talked with Shen Youchu for a while, then hurriedly left. Shen Youchu's mood remained low. Originally, the three of you had agreed to take Wanwan to the amusement park in the afternoon. But now she didn't even feel like having fun. You could naturally sense her mood. You wanted to say something. But in the end, you didn't speak. Actually, you didn't understand either. Why? Shen Youchu had been like she was drugged back then. To marry you. The original owner didn't know. You knew even less. Shen Youchu wanted to go home. She wanted to be alone. But when she saw Wanwan's hopeful eyes, she couldn't bear it. So as not to let Wanwan down. In the end, the three of you still came to the amusement park. The little one was very happy. It was her first time at an amusement park. She grabbed your hand and wanted to rush in. Shen Youchu also forced herself to cheer up. She didn't want in the future. When Wanwan recalled her first amusement park trip, to be sad about it, the family first experienced the carousel, then played a few more rides. The sky gradually darkened without them noticing. The amusement park lit up with colorful lights. The last ride was the Ferris wheel. When you, holding Wanwan and Shen Youchu, opened the door and sat inside, Wanwan had already fallen asleep in your arms. The Ferris wheel slowly rose. The buildings glittering with colorful lights below gradually shrank. But what you didn't know was that Shen Youchu was also at the amusement park for the first time. And it was her first time on a Ferris wheel. Her almond eyes looked curiously out of the cabin. Her eyes sparkled. She looked out the window. You looked at her, perhaps sensing your gaze. Her earlobes slowly turned red. She gave you a coy glare. You had never seen such a look before. You couldn't handle it. The Ferris wheel's own lights illuminated her thin face. You suddenly felt it was a bit dazzling. The Ferris wheel continued to rise slowly. The next moment, all around the castle, almost at the same instant, fireworks shot into the sky. At the moment the fireworks burst, you clearly saw a breathtaking smile appear on Shen Youchu's face. It was a smile from the heart. You were a bit stunned. The Ferris wheel then slowly reached its peak. The fireworks were even clearer. Shen Youchu's pretty face became even more charming. You don't have to be afraid like before. In the sound of fireworks, your voice was soft. Shen Youchu didn't hear clearly. She turned her face to look at you, with a questioning look. You didn't look at her. You continued watching the gorgeous fireworks in the sky. You whispered, "You're too gentle. This way is not good. You'll be bullied. You don't have to be afraid like before. I know. You want to sing. I also know you have many things you want to do. Go ahead with peace of mind. I'll take care of Wanwan." Shen Youchu didn't respond to you. She turned her face, and you saw two streams of tears on her face. She pursed her lips, staring at you without blinking. The intense grievance and complexity in her eyes seemed about to drown you. You suddenly grew nervous. You didn't understand why she suddenly started crying. "Who are you?" Shen Youchu kept staring at you. Her almond eyes were already misty. Her clear voice was not loud, but it sounded so loud in your heart. You suddenly fell silent, the air growing still. It seemed even the sound of fireworks disappeared. After a long while, you smiled gently at her. Then you spoke, your voice suddenly a bit hoarse. "I'm Lu Fan." Shen Youchu continued looking at you. Your smile made her feel her heartbeat suddenly race, like a deer bumping about. Your answer was something she never expected. She looked into your clear, shining eyes, and her tears suddenly fell faster. She hugged her own legs, buried her head, and sobbed softly. Then she spoke. "Yes, you are Lu Fan. You are not him. Who else could you be? Let me tell you a cliché story. Once upon a time, there was a little girl in an orphanage. She was very timid. But in the orphanage, there was always a boy 1 year older who protected her. One day she was bullied by a group of boys. That older brother shielded her behind him, never let her get hurt at all. But he himself was covered in wounds. In her eyes back then, that older brother was her whole world. But after that, the brother disappeared, until later she grew up, and met that older brother again, and she got her wish and married him. After hearing it, you were a bit speechless. Now you finally understood some things." Shen Youchu lifted her head, teary-eyed and hazy. She looked so lonely and pitiful. She finally spoke the secret in her heart. No one understood her stubbornness. Everyone felt she was undervalued. Only she herself firmly believed it was worth it. But the result turned out to be so terrible. She had regretted it countless times too, until the current you appeared. He asked who he was. He said he was Lu Fan. That was enough. You suddenly understood Shen Youchu's feelings. Seeing the tenderness and care in your eyes, Shen Youchu couldn't hold it in anymore. She threw herself directly into your arms, competing with Wanwan for the spot in your embrace. She sobbed softly. Wanwan woke up, her eyes still hazy, watching her mom in confusion. As she stole her spot, the little one was stunned for a moment, then joyfully wrapped one arm around Daddy and the other around Mommy. Smack smack, kissing them both on the cheek. Today was the best day for Wanwan. You looked at the two beauties in your arms and couldn't help chuckling. Life was heading in a good direction. That was enough. But some plans needed to change. The fireworks slowly faded. The Ferris wheel descended gently to the ground. Shen Youchu carried Wanwan walking ahead. You followed behind, watching Shen Youchu stride briskly. You touched your nose. After getting off the Ferris wheel, Shen Youchu had left your arms. Her whole being, as if in an instant, returned to her former coldness toward you. What attitude was that? Shen Youchu was nervous inside. Even her hands holding Wanwan were tense. She felt her earlobes and cheeks burning. She had just stayed in your arms for so long, and even nuzzled around like a little girl. So embarrassing. She was sure you must be secretly laughing at her. When she came out of the Ferris wheel just now, She saw the hidden smile on your face. Thinking of that, Shen Youchu couldn't help walking even faster, like she was speed walking. You had no idea why this woman suddenly had so much energy. You had to jog just to keep up with her pace, until you left the amusement park gates. Seeing that Shen Youchu still didn't mean to stop, you had to call out to stop her. Hey, are you planning to walk home? Let's get a cab here. Only then did Shen Youchu stop. She stood by the roadside but didn't look at you. She was even more convinced you must be laughing at her again. Damn, even more embarrassing. After waiting a long time, you finally flagged down a taxi. This also marked the first time you thought about buying a car. Back at home, you carried Wanwan to her room and settled her in. You quickly walked to the bedroom too. Once you lay in bed, you soon drifted off to sleep. Compared to your sound sleep, Shen Youchu was tossing and turning. She lay in bed. As soon as she closed her eyes, her mind would involuntarily conjure up the scenes from the amusement park today. Annoyed, Shen Youchu pulled the covers over her face, trying to force herself to sleep. But her constantly fluttering eyelashes showed all too clearly how unsettled she was inside at that moment. At 6 in the morning, you woke up as usual. Morning jog, wash up, cook, call Wanwan to get up. The whole routine done. But Shen Youchu still hadn't come out of her room. Looking at the tightly closed master bedroom door, you scratched your head. Guess we really did come back a bit late last night. She was still sleeping, hadn't gotten up yet. You didn't feel like calling her. Just leave her some breakfast. Then you washed the used dishes and put them away. As you came out of the kitchen, Shen Youchu had gotten up too. Her pretty face slightly flushed, she crossed the living room and went to the bathroom to wash up. Do you still want to sing? You asked. Hearing your voice, Shen Youchu was a little startled and didn't react for a while. You leaned against the bathroom doorframe with your phone, quietly waiting for her answer. After a moment, her gentle voice reached your ears. I want to. Just one word. No further reply. In Shen Youchu's heart, her current life was already something she wouldn't have dared to imagine 2 years ago, and singing was a distant dream, something to be buried in her heart. You didn't ask further. You just nodded, then took your phone and went back to the side bedroom. You opened your private messages and scrolled through. Your inbox was already blown up. Since the first video was posted, you'd only skimmed it once and hadn't looked since. Now it was hard to search through, but you still silently scrolled the screen, patiently filtering each one. Finally, your eyes lit up. You randomly clicked on one of the private messages. Looking at the content, your fingers unconsciously tapped on the screen, or maybe some considerations. Originally, your intention in posting videos was just to make money. Once you made enough money and settled Wanwan and Shen Youchu, you'd bow out gracefully. But after what happened yesterday, you changed your mind. The content of this message was simple. Stars Park Entertainment sincerely invites you to join our team. With your musical talent, we can turn you into a top-tier superstar in the shortest time. At the end of the message was Stars Park Entertainment's contact number. Stars Park Entertainment was one of the 3 giants of the Chinese entertainment industry. You didn't hesitate. You dialed the number for Stars Park Entertainment and made the call. The phone rang only a few times before it was picked up. A mature, cool female voice came through the receiver. Hello? Who's this? Hello, my account name is Bufan. I received your company's invitation private message. Is it convenient to talk now? At that moment, far away at the headquarters in Magic City, Li Xia answered the phone. A little stunned, she hadn't expected that this creator named Bufan would actually call her. After all, it had been several days since she sent the invitation private message. She thought he wasn't interested in entering the entertainment circle. Hello? Still there? Hearing silence on the other end, he asked again. Li Xia suddenly snapped out of it. Then, an irrepressible smile broke out on her face. You see, everyone knew the hottest thing online these past few days was undoubtedly this mysterious guy, Mr. Bufan. I am the Deputy Director of the Human Resources and Administration Department at Stars Park Entertainment. Li Xia, may I ask if you'd like to join Stars Park Entertainment? Director Li, sorry. I don't plan to enter the entertainment industry for now, but I'd like to recommend a singer to you. I wonder if your company would be interested. Li Xia couldn't help feeling disappointed. She shook her head with a bitter smile. What she wanted was Bufan, not someone else. Mr. Bufan, here's the thing. I'm only the Deputy Director. If it were you coming, with your reputation, I could make the decision myself. But if it's someone else, you don't need to worry. The singer I'm recommending has top-tier singing skills, and I'll compose songs and write music for him. Mr. Bufan, I understand what you mean. I'll have to consult with higher-ups. Okay, I'll wait for your news. 5 hours later, the other party called back. Mr. Bufan, we discussed it. We can let the person you recommended join the company. But the higher-ups mean, currently, you only have 2 songs, and one of them is a children's song. Don't misunderstand. Both songs are very good, but the higher-ups still want to see your composing ability. I'm not sure if it's convenient. As expected, with just 2 songs, they don't believe in your composing ability. Oh, that's fine. Your answer was simple and clear. Li Xia's heart had been uneasy, but hearing Bufan agree so readily, a sense of relief rose in her heart. Today, she had been running around for this for a long time. She believed in Bufan's talent, but the higher-ups still had doubts. But in the end, the company agreed to give Bufan a chance. Just in time. Recently, Huaying gave several entertainment companies a challenge. Because of this challenge, they've invited many lyricists and composers. Unfortunately, none were satisfactory. In the end, they were all rejected. If Bufan can solve this challenge, the company will never doubt him again. Mr. Bufan, can we meet to discuss the specifics? We still need you to come over here to do on-site lyric and composition writing. Li Xia said very sincerely. She also wanted to meet this mysterious guy, what he really looks like. You thought about it. At home, besides taking care of the kid, there's nothing else to do. So you readily agreed. Okay, what time? Location, Shanghai. If possible, it'd be best if you come tomorrow. After all, The sooner, the better for you. It will better demonstrate your value. Then tomorrow afternoon it is. After hanging up, you booked a flight for 10 a.m. tomorrow. Soon, you fell into a deep sleep. When Shen Youchu, who had been out, came back with Wanwan. She saw you sound asleep. Wanwan walked to the sofa and gently snuggled into your arms. In your dream, you felt like a kitten was rubbing against your face. You were having trouble breathing. You jolted awake. Wanwan's cheerful laughter echoed in your ears. You looked down and realized it was your little darling daughter, holding your nose with her warm little hands. Daddy, time to eat. You smiled knowingly, suddenly felt that this kind of life was pretty good. The aroma of food drifted from the dining room, making you feel a bit hungry. Then Shen Youchu emerged from the kitchen, carrying 2 bowls of rice. She glanced at you and whispered, seeing you hadn't woken up. I went ahead and made dinner. Color, aroma, and taste all perfect. It made you hungry just looking at it. Hearing your compliment, Shen Youchu was a bit shy. She nodded, then returned to the kitchen and brought another bowl of rice to the table. The family ate dinner. You put a piece of crispy pork into Wanwan's bowl. You turned to look at Shen Youchu and said, I need to go out tomorrow. Not sure how many days I'll be gone. Shen Youchu was drinking soup. Suddenly hearing your words, she choked and couldn't stop coughing. You quickly handed her a tissue. With a worried expression, Shen Youchu took the tissue, turned away, wiping her mouth. She heard that you were suddenly leaving. She really was flustered. She didn't know whether to ask where you were going. Just a week ago, she had wanted to run away, but now hearing you were going out, she subconsciously felt reluctant. It was Wanwan who asked, Daddy, where are you going? You ruffled her little head. Daddy is going to find a job for Mommy. Then your eyes turned to Shen Youchu. Sorry, I didn't ask for your opinion and decided for you. Earlier, things weren't settled, so I didn't tell you. Now another company has invited me to discuss. If this works out, you can openly pursue your passion. Stars Park Entertainment should be decent. They'll let you sing. Shen Youchu looked at you instinctively. You were serious. As they looked at each other, tears suddenly welled up in Shen Youchu's almond-shaped eyes. Her eyes reddened slightly. Her beautiful eyes turned gentle as water. That made you a bit overwhelmed. You quickly lowered your head and shoveled food into your mouth. Shen Youchu hadn't expected that one day she could actually continue singing, and that this man had chosen it for her. Thank you. I love singing. I love it so much, Shen Youchu said softly, her voice growing more resolute. She loved singing, and she also wanted to make Chu-Chu and Sister Yun better. No longer be bullied. Since meeting Zhao Chu-Chu, she had been worried about them. No need to thank me. You love it. That's enough. You looked up with a gentle smile. The next morning, you guys hurry back now. At most a day or two, I'd say. I'll be back. Don't worry. You hailed a taxi heading to the airport, turned and said to Shen Youchu. Shen Youchu nodded. There was reluctance in her eyes. Just a short time ago, she had wanted to escape from you. Unexpectedly, in just a few days, she felt reluctant to let you go. Just going out for 2 days. Why does it feel like a parting of life and death? You hardened your heart and didn't look at her anymore. Turned and got into the taxi. The car drove away. The 2 figures in the rearview mirror gradually shrank. You closed your eyes. You couldn't describe the feeling in your heart. 3 hours later, you just got off the plane and felt the fervor of Shanghai. Compared to Jiangqing, there were too many people here. Following the surging crowd, you moved your body with difficulty until you reached exit 5. Only then did you breathe a slight sigh of relief. Standing in front of the exit, you looked at the large crowd holding signs outside, looking for your name. Before coming, you had arranged a time with Li Xia. She would pick you up at the exit. There were too many people holding signs. Many were fans picking up idols. This made you search for a long time, until you finally saw a tall woman in a professional suit, holding a sign that clearly said Bufan. You quickly walked up to her and waved at her. Hello, are you director Li? I'm Bufan. My real name is Lu Fan. Sorry to keep you waiting. Li Xia looked at the person in front of her, a flicker of surprise in her eyes, but she hid it well. She knew you were young, but didn't expect you to be this young, like a fresh college graduate, and with a face perfectly suited to be a star. Li Xia couldn't help feeling a bit regretful. If only she could sign you. How great that would be. Hello, I'm Li Xia. There are too many people here. My car is in the underground parking lot. It's mealtime now. Let's find a place to eat first, then we'll talk in detail, okay? You nod. You walk out side by side with Li Xia. Li Xia was indeed a seasoned professional. As she walked, she found topics to chat with you. She had thought a young guy like you wouldn't be good at conversation, but after interacting, she found you could keep up with her topics and speak eloquently, not at all shy like other young people. This made Li Xia think even more highly of you. Truly, capable people thrive anywhere. Of course, you didn't know that Li Xia had raised her opinion of you again. If you had known, you would have been speechless. After all, you had memories of 2 lifetimes. A person over 50 in total. If you didn't even have that much emotional intelligence, then you could just find a rope. The 2 of you got in the car. You looked at the bustling Shanghai outside the window. Li Xia occasionally introduced local specialties to you. Soon you arrived at a specialty restaurant. While waiting for the food, Li Xia got down to business. I'll call you Mr. Lu, then. May I ask who you're recommending this time? An amateur or a professional singer? Have you heard of Shen Youchu Ministerly? A former singer, but she later retired from the industry. Now she's making a comeback, you could say. When talking business, your expression turned serious. Li Xia frowned. She had heard Shen Youchu's songs. A rising star from 2 years ago. Her singing skills were indeed very good. But the reason she frowned was that back then, Shen Youchu was forced to retire due to her relationship being exposed, and the person she was dating seemed to be a good-for-nothing pretty boy. This was very problematic to handle. Li Xia thought for a moment, tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, then fixed her gaze on you. I know her. May I ask what relationship Mr. Lu has with her? Do you know why she retired back then? You looked into Li Xia's eyes and said calmly, Husband and wife. She is my wife. Indeed. Even the seasoned Li Xia, upon hearing your answer, couldn't help being astonished. Husband and wife? He is that legendary pretty boy. Are you kidding me? Could it be that Shen Youchu divorced that guy and found another one? Seeing Li Xia's expression, you guessed what she was thinking. You couldn't help smiling bitterly. You're right. I am the one who was exposed with her back then. The one who retired together with her. Li Xia suddenly didn't know what to say. She had heard of Shen Youchu, but didn't know who she ended up with. Like before, idol boy groups that relied on their looks like you, she naturally wouldn't pay attention to. Now she even doubted whether those two songs were actually written by you. You didn't give her time to think more. When you saw her conflicted expression, you continued, is it very difficult to have her join your company? If it's really a problem, I'll find another way. Moreover, my request isn't just to have her join your company. I also hope that in your company, she gets top-level resources and freedom. The contract shouldn't be restrictive. In the end, it's about interests. I believe with my help, Stars Park Entertainment will reach new heights. I still hope you'll consider it carefully. You finished in one breath, picked up the water glass and calmly took a sip. Li Xia's expression was serious, clearly troubled. She spoke, at the end of the day, we haven't worked together before. Based only on those two songs you released, it's not worth that much. I acknowledge Shen Youchu's singing skills, but the entertainment industry isn't just about singing. I believe you know that too. Making a comeback for her is not hard, but the top resources you're asking for, and contract freedom, we've basically never signed such terms. Let us discuss this matter properly. This is no small matter. Although Li Xia didn't explicitly refuse, her words implied it was basically impossible. You can discuss it. I've made my stance clear here. Not just the problem you're facing this time. In the future, if you need songs, or even scripts, no matter the genre, if you just ask, I can provide them. I still very much hope we can successfully cooperate. You invited me here this time. Isn't it just to test my abilities? Now that I'm here, why not decide after you've seen? You said calmly, looking confident. Li Xia gave you a long, deep look. She had never seen someone so confident before. So this is the legendary pretty boy. The world is ignorant. In the end, Li Xia left in a hurry after the meal. She had to discuss with the company. Before leaving, she gave you a room key card. Wait for my news, was the last thing she said before leaving. You arrived at the hotel room, did a quick wash, then lay on the bed, thinking, if Stars Park doesn't work out, you would try other companies. If none work, at worst, you'd earn more money. Work harder and start your own company. And take Shen Youchu to develop quietly. You didn't notice at all that your thoughts had unknowingly changed. From just wanting to be a slacker at the start, to now running around for Shen Youchu. In just a short time together, you were increasingly thinking about them, and had unconsciously integrated into this little family. Li Xia's call came at 3 in the afternoon. She had already arrived downstairs, indicating you needed to go to the Stars Park building with her. You didn't say anything more. Went straight downstairs to meet Li Xia. Stars Park Entertainment's company is located in the busiest area of Shanghai. The entire building is owned by Stars Park Entertainment. Now, on the 18th floor of the Stars Park building, Chairman Li Tian, HR Director Zhang Hao, and several other managers of Stars Park Entertainment were present. Zhang Hao's expression was very grim. Chairman, I have no complaints about Deputy Minister Li's professional ability. But this time, I think she is paying too much attention to this Lu guy. He used to be a no-name artist, no talent, no background, no reputation. And now he dares to make such absurd demands. I think we're just wasting time. To Zhang Hao's complaints, Li Tian waved his hand, with a kind smile on his face. We should still give young people a chance, you know. Let's first see his talent this time. If he's no good, I believe my daughter won't have much to say either. Seeing the chairman's affable demeanor, Zhang Hao had to swallow his anger. But inwardly he was complaining. It's just because she's your daughter, isn't it? Go ahead and be partial. Li Tian saw Zhang Hao looking like a scapegoat, and smiled again. As the company's chairman, he naturally wouldn't just go along with whatever his daughter says. In fact, he had also heard those two songs. They could only be described as perfect. But he didn't need to explain anything to Zhang Hao. As for whether those two songs were actually written by the guy himself, a mule or a horse, we'll see when we take him for a spin. Li Xia brought you to the meeting room at this moment. From the moment you entered, you saw many superstars popular in this world. Each of them was a top figure in their respective fields. Truly one of the big three companies. The level of luxury made you feel it was top-notch just by looking at it. As soon as you entered the meeting room, you felt everyone present's eyes on you. Their eyes showed various expressions. You naturally sat down in the guest seat, one against a crowd, expression calm. Li Tian couldn't help feeling a hint of admiration. Such a young guy, facing this kind of lineup, still able to act so composed. Good first impression. All right, since the main person is here, let's start then. Mr. Liu, right? We discussed your requirements in a meeting. Signing Shen Youchu is fine. Resources can also be given at the top level, but the contract can't be flexible. We really can't do that. No one signs like that. You should understand what I mean, right? You nod. Of course you understand. So how long is the contract for? Li Tian chuckled, looking straight at you. 5 years. We'll cultivate her with top-tier resources, and whatever songs she wants to release, whatever events she wants to attend. We won't restrict her. You frowned slightly, not intimidated by his gaze at all. You look right back at him. 5 years is too long. I believe in my ability. Your resources plus my talent. Within a year, she'll be a top star. Maybe even less than a year. So the most I can agree to is 2 years. The remaining year, as long as it brings enough profit to your company, that's fine. During these 2 years, you don't need to worry about Shen Youchu's songs. And I can write songs for your Stars Park for free. But the number is limited. Anyone can talk big. Becoming a top star in 1 year. Are you dreaming? As soon as you finish speaking, you see sitting next to Li Xia, a bald man sneer, looking at you with contempt. he says. You just glance at him. You ignore him and stare at Li Tian. Li Tian squints, tapping the table lightly with his fingers, his smile growing more apparent. It's good for young people to be confident. 2 years isn't impossible, but all this depends on your strength. The reason I invited you here, on one hand, to discuss cooperation. On the other hand, Huang Co-Creation recently launched a nationwide event, requiring every company to participate, but only one song can be selected. I want to win it. Wondering if you have the ability. You nod slightly, thinking to yourself, isn't this the reason I came? Vice Minister Li will brief you on the specific rules. Then I'll wait for your good news. As long as your song is approved, I'll sign the contract immediately. Li Tian smiles lightly, making the final decision. Everything is settled. You relax as well. Stand up and shake hands with Li Tian. Then leave the meeting room with Li Xia. Li Xia is a bit incredulous. She didn't think her father would agree to such outrageous terms. But this event really is important. An event organized by the authorities. The company that gets the winning song will naturally gain official favor. The benefits need no explanation. When Li Xia looks at you, her gaze is somewhat complex. She really hopes you'll make a splash. That would prove her judgment was right. At that time, the gossip in the company will naturally die down. Take a look. This is the specific rules for the event. You only have 3 days to create. Hope you can be as. I also hope we can cooperate successfully. Li Xia takes a file folder from the drawer, hands it to you, and says, you open the file folder. The first thing you see is a big title, Ordinary Heroes. Seeing those big words, your expression immediately turns serious. You continue reading. The office is very quiet. Only the sound of you flipping through the documents. Your expression is the most serious it's been since you reincarnated. Turning over the documents. There are a few photos underneath. The first one shows a group of doctors and nurses in protective suits. The second shows 3 firefighters. Behind them, a fire has been put out. The third shows several soldiers, only their backs. You can't see their faces. The fourth shows a classroom about to collapse. A teacher is holding a child, handing them to someone outside. And behind him, no one is left. He's the last one. After reading all the documents, you organize them one by one. Put them away and take a deep breath. Li Xia, at this moment, breaks the silence in the office. So can you do it? You only have 3 days. In 3 days, the submission period for this selection ends. You nod. Don't worry, leave it to me. Within 3 days, I'll definitely give you. Give them a satisfactory answer. With that, you put the file away. Stand up. That's it then. Get me some manuscript paper. I'll go back to the hotel and study it slowly. I'll see you out. He doesn't dawdle. He knows that 3 days is very little time to create a good song. At 9 p.m., you take a shower, go to the desk, spread the manuscript paper flat on the table, pick up the pen and think in silence. You think for a long time before you decide. This one it is, just ordinary. The next day, you have a simple breakfast. Without notifying Li Xia, you take a cab alone to Stars Park Entertainment. Li Xia is still busy working in her office, suddenly seeing you show up. She's very surprised. You have time to come here? You only have 3 days. Time, bro. Go think about your song. Right, what song? I finished it. You smile, until Li Xia's utter shock. You hand her the manuscript. First take a look. Do you think this one should work? Li Xia looks at you like you're a freak. The cool big sister rarely loses her composure. What kind of joke is this? What good song can you write in one night? He's not just half-assing it, is he? Li Xia frowns as she takes the manuscript. Just yesterday, she thought this young man was steady and talented. Now today, he comes to prove her wrong. She wants to see what he wrote in one night. Li Xia turns her eyes to the manuscript. When she sees the song title, she's still calm. But then, when she slowly finishes reading the lyrics, she's completely stunned. What kind of divine lyrics are these? Every line speaks of ordinariness, yet every line reveals extraordinariness. The whole piece never once says hero, yet every line is about heroes. These lyrics hit the theme perfectly. Then Li Xia can't wait to look at the musical score. A moment later, she suddenly lifts her head and looks at you, her eyes shining. Did you really write this in one night? You touch your nose. Otherwise, I stayed up all night to finish it. So is this song good enough? Li Xia's eyes sparkle even more. She stares at you intently. That's amazing. My choice was right after all. Can you sing it for me? I want to hear how it sounds when sung. You nod. Close your eyes. Take a moment to build up the emotion. Then softly sing. One day, maybe we'll go far away. Maybe we'll meet again. When it ends, Li Xia is still lost in the song, unable to snap out of it. As you lightly cough a couple of times, she finally comes back to reality. Hastily wiped the tears from her face. His eyes grew even more dazzling. So dazzling you couldn't bear to meet his gaze. So you had to ask uncertainly, is it okay? Absolutely okay. Lu Xiaoyong, I never thought you could give us such a big surprise. The office door suddenly opened. Li Tian walked in while clapping. His face clearly showed he was pleasantly surprised. As he spoke, behind him came HR Director Zhang Hao. At that moment, Zhang Hao was visibly stunned. He couldn't believe it. It's only been this long. And you actually made a song? And it's such a perfect song too. Dad, why didn't you knock before coming in? Seeing the visitor, Li Xia's expression turned a little flustered. She secretly wiped the tears from her face again, and called out to Li Tian with displeasure. But Li Tian showed no sign of remorse. Still chuckling, only the look in his eyes when he saw his precious daughter was a little strange. It had been so long since he'd seen his daughter in such a coy, girlish state. If I didn't come, how would I know that Lu Xiaoyong made such a great song? You felt speechless. He'd gone from Mr. Lu to Lu Xiaoyong just like that. You couldn't help muttering inwardly. Typical businessman. Anyone who brings him profit is family. You flatter me, Chairman Li. As long as you're satisfied. Very satisfied. Now that you have the song, Lu Xiaoyo. As long as Huaying selects it. We'll sign a contract with Shen Youchu immediately. Now, let me first sign a cooperation agreement with you, so you don't have to worry. Li Tian nodded with a smile. You finally breathed a sigh of relief, knowing in your heart, this was as good as settled. Your group signed the cooperation agreement on the spot. As long as the song is selected, then the collaboration you mentioned with Fanqing Entertainment will start immediately. After signing, you said goodbye to Li Tian. Chairman Li, since everything's settled, I'll take my leave now. Hope we can work well together in the future. You nodded slightly, holding the cooperation agreement. You turned and walked out of the office. Let me see you out. Seeing that you were about to leave, Li Xia suddenly spoke. You noticed, she had been avoiding your gaze this whole time, as if embarrassed by her earlier fangirl behavior, feeling a little ashamed. For a mature woman like her, that was really. But now that you were leaving, from her expression, you seemed to catch a hint of inexplicable reluctance. Didn't you still have work to do? Xiaolu isn't a child anymore. Why does she need you to see him off? You had just turned around. Before you could speak, Li Tian on the other side suddenly cut in. Seeing this, you could only smile at Li Xia gratefully. Thank you for the kindness, Director Li. I'll just take a taxi back. With that, you turned and walked out of the office, gently closing the door behind you, then strode away. Meanwhile, back in the office, Li Xia was like an angry kitten. Dad, what do you mean? He just brought us a song, and you're already shooing him away? How can you be like this? Zhang Hao, still in the room, saw this scene, and suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. He swallowed hard, and quickly said, well, I still have some work to do. I'll take my leave now. Before Li Tian could respond, Zhang Hao slipped out like a shot, and closed the door tightly behind him. Only after he was outside did he wipe the sweat from his forehead. Li Tian looked at his daughter's expression, without getting angry, just spoke earnestly. Xiaoya, you're not young anymore. It's time to find someone. That Lu kid is pretty good, but don't forget he has a wife. And from what I know, he also has a daughter. Li Xia was silent for a moment, then said coldly, of course I know. I was seeing him off only because you invited him. That's all. The mature lady had returned to her cold demeanor, a presence that made even her father Li Tian a little uneasy. All right, as long as you know. I just remembered. I also have work to do. With that, Li Tian turned and left. But just as he stepped out, he suddenly poked his head back in. I'm serious. My dear daughter, you're 26 already. You really should find someone. Okay, I'm done nagging. I'm getting out of here now. Back at the hotel, before you could even pick a flight, Li Xia's call came in. Mr. Liu, I'm sorry. My dad's tone wasn't very nice. I apologize on his behalf. On the phone, Li Xia was apologizing. Her tone was a little cold, as if she was still mad at someone. You were a bit surprised. You hadn't actually taken it to heart, and Li Tian had been quite tactful. As a big shot in capital, he had already given you plenty of face. As for whether he meant to kick you out after using you, having seen all kinds of people in the capital market, you were already well aware of how things worked. It's fine. I didn't think it was a problem at all. Don't worry about it. Hearing you say that, Li Xia's tone softened a little. I'm glad you don't mind. By the way, are you on your way back to the hotel? I'm already at the hotel. I'm going to pack up, book a ticket, and head back to Jiangchen. There was a brief silence on the other end. Then Li Xia's voice came through again. Actually, Mr. Liu, I'd suggest you wait a couple more days. If your lyrics are selected, you'll probably need to assist over at Huaying. After all, you wrote both the lyrics and the melody. You understand the song best. Hearing Li Xia's words, your plan to go home was dashed, and your heart suddenly felt empty. All right, I understand. I'll stay a few more days then. Let me know when the time comes. After hanging up with Li Xia, you put down your phone with some regret, turned your head to watch the scenery flying by outside the window. You missed the little one at home, thinking about Wanwan. Without even realizing it, a smile crept onto your face. As if by some telepathy, Shen Youchu's call came in just then. You answered the phone. Immediately, Wanwan's voice came through. Is that Daddy? It was the little one. Even though you couldn't see Wanwan, you still had an auntie-like grin on your face. You replied, it's Daddy. Is Wanwan missing Daddy? I miss you. Mommy asks when you're coming back. Back at home, Wanwan was holding the phone with both hands, snuggled in Shen Youchu's arms, saying sweetly. Shen Youchu's pretty face instantly flushed. She helplessly shot the little one a look. It was clearly her who insisted on calling Daddy. So why drag me into it now? I never asked that. Then tell Mommy. Daddy won't be back for a few more days. You smiled secretly. You guessed in your heart that this little one definitely wanted to go home by herself. Yet she dragged Shen Youchu into it. Wanwan heard this, and was clearly unhappy. On the phone, you hummed and hawed, the corners of your mouth lifting slightly. You shifted to a more comfortable position, lying on the bed, and asked, Wanwan, did you eat well today? Wanwan heard this, immediately lifted her head to glance at her mother. Then, as if sneaking around, lowered her head and whispered, yes I did. But Wanwan would rather eat Daddy's cooking. The little one's tone was extremely serious. So serious that Shen Youchu, eavesdropping, was both amused and annoyed. So young and already tattling, huh? Indirectly saying my cooking is bad. Then Shen Youchu heard on the other end of the phone your loud laughter. Instantly, Shen Youchu's face turned even redder. She grabbed the phone. All right, your chat with Daddy ends here today. Hey, that wasn't my question. I know. Everything okay at home? You heard her explanation, and answered with a smile. Shen Youchu only felt even more annoyed. Are you holding back laughter? Fine. You've only been gone a day. What could happen? All right, no more talking. I'm hanging up. I need to make lunch. Hey, you can't do that. I haven't talked enough with the little one yet. Goodbye. Shen Youchu didn't give you the chance, and hung up directly. Her face was now burning hot. If they kept talking, she was afraid she'd want to punch someone. Seeing Wanwan still staring at the phone with regret, Shen Youchu decided that today for lunch, she'd make the little greens Wanwan hated most. That's right, kids shouldn't be picky. You heard the busy tone from the receiver, and despite the regret, a smile still lingered on your face. This was the first time you'd seen Shen Youchu have such a little tantrum. Before, she always gave you a suppressed feeling. How to put it? You'd call her a person lacking an independent soul. But now, this situation was slowly improving. She was becoming herself again. And that was good. The waiting time was long. In a few more days, August would arrive. You'd been in Modu for 2 days now. During this time, you'd talked to Lixia on the phone a few times. The relationship between you two was no longer so distant. At least now, Lixia wouldn't call you sir every time, which had always made you uncomfortable. These 2 days, you still got up early for your morning run. Everything seemed calm. No news yet from Huayin. You could only wait slowly. On the evening of the 3rd day, you received a call from a number that was both strange and familiar. Hey, is this old Lu? It's me, Chen Shun. Upon hearing this, you quickly sifted through the original body's memories. Wasn't this your best buddy from college, madman? Long time no see. Thinking about Chen Shin's character and personality from the original memories, you smiled. Having a true friend didn't seem so bad. Old Lu, what's up with you after getting married? You don't answer calls. You don't reply to messages. You look down on your brother now. Chen Shun's reproach came through the phone, but the underlying concern in his tone made your heart tingle. It was all because after the original body got married, he always tried to curry favor with Chen Shui and Yi Tian, and didn't even have time for his best brother. It was my fault before. You're a big man. Don't hold a grudge. Let me off this once. Next time we meet, I'll treat you to a meal. Make it up to you, okay? In your heart, you silently cursed the original body again. Can't even tell friend from foe. What a disgrace to me, Lu Fan. Haha, you said it. Then we'll chat next time we meet. But, with that, Chen Shin hung up. You'd no sooner hung up than Lixia called. Your song was selected by Huayin. According to Lixia, the people over there took just one look and picked this song from thousands of submissions. Lixia's tone was very excited. By the time she called you, she was already downstairs at the hotel. She said the music label was planning to shoot an MV and needed you, the lyricist and composer, to come and give directions. You went downstairs. When Lixia saw you, she smoothed the stray hairs on her forehead, her eyes brightening slightly. You touched your nose, automatically, ignoring Lixia's gaze. Let's go. It's getting late. If we finish early, we can still catch lunch. Without another word, you slipped into the back seat. The front passenger seat's big enough for you, isn't it? The music label's director in charge of shooting the MV called and kept praising you. So, do you have any ideas about the MV and the lead singer? Don't screw it up when you get there. Lixia was clearly worried. You're young and haven't been through this kind of thing. Don't worry, I've got it under control. Your face showed no sign of nervousness. Lixia glanced at you in the rearview mirror, and seeing that you really weren't tense, she dropped the subject. 2 hours later, the car pulled into a parking lot in front of a building. The two of you walked side by side into the building. Lixia must have arranged to meet someone beforehand, because as soon as you entered, a group of people immediately came up to greet you. Grandpa Lin, why did you come down yourself? If my dad found out, he'd definitely chew me out. Lixia quickly walked forward, took the old man's arm, and acted coquettishly. This move startled you. A mature lady acting cute? Even a god couldn't withstand that. The old man in front beamed, his face full of affection. Last Lin, don't give me that. Would your dad dare to scold you? If he doesn't get a beating from you, he should be grateful. The mature lady blushed, a rare sight. She pouted. All right. Let's talk business. So this is young friend Lu? Truly, heroes come from youth. Fine looking too. Hello, sir. Thank you for the compliment. I'm Lu Fan. You nodded politely to the old man. Good, talented and polite. No wonder you wrote this song. I'm Lin Silly, the director in charge of this MV. If you don't mind, you can call me Grandpa Lin too. Like this lastly. Grandpa Lin, then I'll gladly accept. You kept a light smile on your face. All right, lass. Let's head upstairs then. Lin Silly was very pleased. Even the way he addressed you had changed. He directly took your hand and walked toward the elevator, apparently not planning to introduce the others behind him. You had no choice but to follow. But you still nodded politely to the middle-aged men. The elevator went straight up to the 20th floor. As soon as you stepped out, Lin Silly pulled you into the recording studio. Little Lu, listen. This lastly says you sing very well. Can you sing it for us first? We haven't heard this song since we received it. The lead singer hasn't been decided yet. Okay. You nodded in agreement. Little Lu, a cappella or with piano? This song only needs piano accompaniment. It's fine. When it came to business, Lin Silly became noticeably more serious. He left you alone in the recording studio and took everyone else out. As the staff turned on the microphone, the group of middle-aged people all leaned in eagerly. You walked into the recording booth. You sat down to gather your emotions. Once you got into work mode, you became completely focused. To the people outside, in the recording studio, your expression visibly changed. Lin Silly nodded approvingly at the sight. So this is what a true musician looks like. Inside, you started playing the piano, and the intro to Just Ordinary began. Everyone outside immediately held their breath, listening to the piano, their eyes all fixed on you inside. Here or across the shore, long journeys of parting and reunion, joys and sorrows as people gather and scatter. The song ended. You took a deep breath, calmed yourself down, then stood up and walked out of the recording studio. The group outside was still staring at you in a daze. The next moment, everyone couldn't help applauding you. Lin Silly even excitedly stepped forward and shook your hand, his eyes burning with passion. Xiaoyong, this is the feeling. I don't think we need to replace the lead singer. You should do it. I have a feeling. This song will spark a storm online. A storm focused on ordinary heroes. That's exactly the effect we want. Those who quietly give their all. Those heroes deserve it. Hearing the old man's praise. Even someone as seasoned as you couldn't help blushing. But you still shook your head. And said sincerely to Lin Silly, Grandpa Lin, I won't be the lead singer. I have a better idea. Do you want to hear it? Lin Silly frowned. Is there a better lead singer than the songwriter? Seeing that Lin Silly clearly wasn't happy, you stopped beating around the bush. You quickly explained your idea. Here's the thing. Grandpa Lin, I think this song would be better sung by children. For one thing, children's voices are clearer and more ethereal. For another, having the flowers of our nation sing it will make the unnamed heroes even more touching. Hearing your explanation, Lin Silly's eyes widened in surprise. Damn, this guy's a genius. Why didn't he think of that? Children naturally have an endearing quality. If they sing it, combined with the footage he shot, it'll definitely strike a chord with people. Brilliant. No wonder he's the young man he took a liking to. Now Lin Silly's gaze grew even warmer. Even the middle-aged man behind him seemed suddenly enlightened, all looking at you in disbelief. They selected these materials from thousands, matching them to the song's length, but they just couldn't settle on a lead singer. They never expected you to solve it in one sentence. Xiaoyong, you're a real genius. Interested in working for Huaying? Don't worry. Huaying won't let your talent go to waste. You could tell. Lin Silly had taken a liking to your talent. He wanted to bring you under his wing, feeling it was a waste to leave someone like you out there. No, Grandpa Lin. I'm just a slacker. Being able to help you out this time is already more than enough for me. You waved your hands repeatedly in refusal. Lin Silly was speechless. Are slackers like this these days? But he didn't push it. After all, you were still here, not running off. Fine. I'll find you again if there's really another chance. By the time you walked out of Huaying Tower, it was already 1 p.m. Your head was throbbing. Those guys, once they start talking about work, they're all super proactive. Basically workaholics. In the end, it was only when Li Xia pleaded to go to lunch that you two managed to escape. Lu Fan, don't you owe me a meal? The Huaying deal's going to make you rich. Li Xia was unusually playful, sticking out her tongue and teasing you. This cool big sister is less and less like one. You thought, raising an eyebrow. You're rich yourself? And you still want to leech off a commoner like me? Aren't you ashamed? Cheapskate. Li Xia shot you a look, pouted, and got into the car first. You smiled, and quickly followed. The more familiar you got with this cool big sister, the more you realized how great her personality really was. No trace of that intimidating first impression. A classic case of cold on the outside, warm on the inside. In the end, you couldn't escape buying her that meal. Li Xia happily scored a free feast. After eating, Li Xia drove you to Fanqing Entertainment. This time, you were here to pick up the contract. Your original goal, Shen Youchu's signing contract. You two got on the elevator. For some reason, you suddenly felt. Li Xia didn't seem too excited. She looked listless, even though she'd just scored a free feast. You really didn't understand women. Too complicated. Getting off the elevator, you went straight to Li Tian's office. He had been waiting there for a while. The contract was already prepared and sitting on the desk. He had his usual perpetual smile on his face, looking at you as you pushed the door open. He said, Lu Xiaoyong, pleasure working with you. Here's the contract. Take a look and see if there's anything to add. You nodded and sat down at the desk, reading the contract on the spot. The contract was standard, in triplicate. As soon as Shen Youchu signed it, it would take effect immediately. The terms were exactly as previously discussed. Fanqing Entertainment would give Shen Youchu top-tier resources and maximum freedom. In short, Shen Youchu could do whatever she wanted, and no one could force her. And that was exactly what you wanted to see. The contract period was 2 years, and renewing it was entirely up to Shen Youchu. After reading through the entire contract, you put it away, stood up, and extended your hand to shake Li Tian's. Thank you, Chairman Li. Pleasure working with you. For offering such a contract, your opinion of Li Tian improved quite a bit. At least he wasn't like those heartless capitalists who fill their contracts with traps. No need to thank me. I value your talent, and you value our company's resources. It's mutual benefit. Plus, you once promised to write songs for our company, so I won't draw up a separate contract for that. I trust your character, Lu Xiaoyong. Li Tian also stood up, shaking your hand, and said, I naturally won't refuse. But let me make my stance clear. Don't worry, but let me set the terms first. I only write lead singles, and who I write for is entirely up to me. Don't send just any Tom, Dick, or Harry asking me for songs, having the nerve and the talent to back it up. Li Tian's impression of you only improved, but when he glanced at his daughter, he silently sighed to himself. What a shame, so young. Why get married so early? With your talent, Lu Xiaoyong, unless it's the company's top stream singer, I won't ask you for a song even if we're short. After all, you know, with your reputation, anything you write will be a masterpiece. Ordinary people don't have the qualifications. The two sides reached a pleasant cooperation. Then Li Tian suddenly changed the subject. Now that you have the contract, when are you planning to head back, Lu Xiaoyong? You didn't know what he meant by that, but you answered immediately. I'm planning to go back to the hotel now. Pack up, book a flight, and leave soon. After all, I'm not needed here anymore. Chairman Li, is there anything else to discuss? No. Then I wish you a smooth journey home. Li Tian quickly said with a smile. But in your eyes, that smile. Why did he seem so happy? When he heard you were leaving, you didn't think much of it. You stood up to take your leave. Li Xia saw you all the way to the hotel entrance, but didn't follow you out. Ever since you entered Stars Park Entertainment, she hadn't seemed too interested. I'm not seeing you off to the airport, Lu Fan. Go on your own. I've got things to do. I'm off. You turned and waved. Okay, take care. Then she turned and walked back into the hotel. Li Xia watched her back, feeling inexplicably annoyed. She hit the gas and drove off. Finally, you could go home. Oh, how you missed your little darling. You quickly packed your luggage, canceled the ticket, checked out, and hailed a cab, all in one smooth motion. At 6 p.m., you were carrying bags full of gifts and stepped into the familiar rundown neighborhood. Your steps even lighter. You pushed open the long unseen door. The living room was quiet. Shen Youchu and Wanwan didn't seem to be home. Not seeing the ones you wanted right away left a faint disappointment in your heart. But the next moment, the main bedroom door suddenly opened, and Shen Youchu rubbed her sleepy eyes, stepping out all delicately. The moment she saw you, she jolted awake, unconsciously staring at you with wide eyes. She was wearing a spaghetti strap nightie. One strap slipped down to her arm, her hair messy from sleep, her lips slightly parted, like a sleeping beauty caught off guard. That image filled your eyes. You both froze simultaneously. In the evening glow from the right, you just quietly gazed at each other. Then a bright smile slowly spread across your face. You opened your mouth and said, "I'm home." Shen Youchu's face gradually flushed, cheeks rosy, standing there not knowing what to do, a little flustered inside, yet a trace of sweetness flooded in. She lowered her head and whispered in response, and without forgetting to casually pull the strap that had fallen on her arm back up onto her shoulder. "Oh, this is for you." You suddenly produced a bunch of lavender from behind you. "I saw someone selling it on the street, and it smelled really nice, so I just bought a bunch on a whim." Shen Youchu pressed her lips together, stepped forward, and gently took the lavender from your hand. Her face was already covered in crimson. This was the first bouquet of flowers, lavender, she had ever received from you. The flower language is redemption and hope. She loved it. "Thank you." Shen Youchu gathered her courage, lifted her head, and looked straight into your eyes, her eyelashes fluttering gently. "Have you eaten?" You suddenly smiled. "Not yet. I bet you two haven't either, right? I'll make dinner. You go wake up Wanwan." Shen Youchu had originally wanted to cook herself. You just got back from outside. You must be exhausted after a long day. But seeing the determination in your eyes, and remembering that your cooking really was much better than hers, she finally nodded. "I'll go get Wanwan. She'll be thrilled to know you're back. She's been asking about you the last couple of days." Shen Youchu said, turning around and heading back to the master bedroom. This time, she didn't close the door. Instead, she left it wide open. You glanced inside. Wanwan was lying spread eagle on the bed, sleeping soundly. Shen Youchu gently picked her up, but she didn't stir. Only when Shen Youchu brought the little one in front of you and kissed her cheek, whispering in her ear, "Wanwan, wake up, daddy's home." Did Wanwan finally move? She slowly opened her cute almond-shaped eyes, looked around in a daze, and then suddenly her eyes lit up. She reached out her little chubby arms and waved them at you. "It's daddy. Daddy hug. Wanwan missed you so much." The little one was like a koala, and after you held her, she wrapped her arms around your neck and refused to let go, just hanging on. Even when you went to the kitchen to cook, she wouldn't let go. In the end, Shen Youchu had to put on a stern face and tempt her with a new toy you'd bought, before she finally pried the little one off and set her on the sofa. Wanwan played with the toy, but her big eyes kept glancing toward the kitchen, as if afraid your figure might disappear again. After a bit of bustling, the food was on the table. The family sat happily around the dining table. Shen Youchu looked down. Wanwan was already holding her little chopsticks and slurping away. A single noodle disappeared into her mouth in an instant. At the same time, her eyes had turned into crescent moons. The way she ate made it look like Shen Youchu had starved her for days. Shen Youchu felt both annoyed and helpless. Outcooked. Admit defeat. What else could she say? It also made Shen Youchu speed up her own eating. Why was it that when the two of them were home alone, they didn't seem to have this appetite? The moment you came back, they inexplicably relaxed. Shen Youchu ate, letting her thoughts wander. It was scary to think about. Before, they couldn't wait to stay away from this man. In such a short time, they'd been subtly corrupted by you. The only sound at the table was slurping. It wasn't until Shen Youchu finished eating that she noticed you and Wanwan had long finished, unnoticed. The two of you were, in sync, staring at her. Shen Youchu's pretty face flushed again. She quickly wiped her mouth, stood up to hide her embarrassment, and gathered the bowls and chopsticks from the table. "I'll wash the dishes. You spend more time with Wanwan." She stacked the bowl in front of you, picked them up and headed to the kitchen. Watching Shen Youchu drift into the kitchen like a gust of wind, you shook your head. You really hadn't planned to fight her for it this time. What was she so flustered about? "Daddy, come build blocks with Wanwan." Wanwan hopped off the stool, tugging your hand toward the sofa. "With your help." Wanwan stacked the blocks into the shape of a little house, laughing in her baby voice. You deliberately asked about things at home. The little one told you everything without holding back, especially when it came to Shen Youchu. She completely sold out her mom. "Mommy misses daddy too. I see mommy watching videos of daddy singing all the time." She secretly smiles. You secretly cover your mouth and laugh. You really didn't mean to ask about that. But the key was, Wanwan said it really loudly, completely unaware that Shen Youchu had already stormed out of the kitchen. Right now, Shen Youchu's pretty face was red like a ripe apple, but her eyes were full of chill. She looked down from above at this little traitor, who sold her mom out just to please her dad. Wanwan noticed that daddy had suddenly gone quiet, looked up in confusion, and saw mommy's big red face. She let out an ah, and hid in your arms, muttering over and over, "Can't see mommy. Can't see." Shen Youchu couldn't help but laugh. She reached out and patted the little one's bottom that was sticking out from your arm, but her eyes were fixed on your smirking face. She explained, "Don't listen to Wanwan's nonsense." "I didn't." "Yes, you did, mommy. Liar, liar. That's not a good kid." Wanwan's little face was buried deep in your chest, mumbling in a muffled voice. Shen Youchu looked like she was about to explode. Shen Youchu was about to lose her temper. You immediately raised both hands in surrender, fully revealing the little one. No, no, I believe you. A wise man adapts to circumstances. But poor Wanwan. She was immediately scooped up by Shen Youchu and smothered with affection. The little one's big eyes sparkled. She reached out toward you, sitting properly in the distance. She never expected that you'd turn around and hand her over to mommy. For the prosperity of this family, I'll have to let my little treasure make a sacrifice. The family played together for a while. In the end, Wanwan, looking wronged, bore everything on her own. She played with blocks by herself. You ruffled her little head. Then you stood up. You took a paper file from the suitcase and placed it in front of Shen Youchu. Mission accomplished. Take a look. This is the contract from Stars Park Entertainment. Shen Youchu looked at you, noticing your serious expression. Her eyelashes fluttered slightly, betraying her inner turmoil. In just a few days, you had actually brought back a contract for her. Shen Youchu lowered her head, picked up the file, and opened it. Flipped through the contract inside. Read it all the way to the end. Her hands began to tremble slightly. This was a contract she wouldn't even dare dream of. Top-tier treatment. Complete freedom. Even if she had never quit the music scene and kept singing, she wouldn't have gotten a contract like this. Shen Youchu didn't know how you managed it. In just a few days, what had you been through? How much had you given to get such a unthinkable signing contract? Shen Youchu raised her head, stared at you in a daze. Tears glistened in her eyes. She bit her lips lightly and just looked at you like that. Your face still carried a gentle smile, as if all this was nothing. After a long moment, Shen Youchu spoke softly. Actually, I could not sing, it's fine. Her voice was quiet, but there was no hesitation. It was very firm. You frowned slightly. Confused, she clearly loved singing. Wanted to sing. What did she mean now? You couldn't understand. What was going on in this woman's head? Why? Didn't you always want to sing? Now you have the chance. Why are you backing out? Your tone grew a little heavier. This was the first time since you came here that you spoke to her like that. Having been an eternal single your whole life, you naturally didn't understand. That Shen Youchu's mind was in a mess right now. She suddenly felt that just going on like this was fine too. If she really went to sing, she was afraid things would change. Afraid life would never be like this again. Shen Youchu bit her lips lightly again, stared straight at you. Tears fell one by one. After a moment, she said softly, I'm scared. I'm afraid things will change for the worse later. This was the first time Shen Youchu had directly told you what she was afraid of in her heart. You were taken aback for a second, then your slightly furrowed brow instantly relaxed, and you smiled. A very warm smile. You picked up a tissue, reached out, gently wiped the tear streaks on Shen Youchu's face. Shen Youchu, what kind of person do you take me for? I'm telling you very seriously. You can go ahead without worry. No matter what happens, none of this will change. After all, I'm ready to be a full-time stay-at-home dad. Shen Youchu never expected you to say that, and you even directly wiped her tears away. It had been so long since she had experienced this level of intimacy that Shen Youchu immediately lowered her head in shyness. Her already flushed face turned completely red. She didn't even have time to think about her earlier messy thoughts. You had thought she was still afraid of all that nonsense. Now you understood that Shen Youchu was probably afraid of making a change. After all, someone who stayed home for too long without going out always has that kind of feeling. So you spoke again. I mean it. Just leave Wanwan to me. I'll take good care of her. And you've seen your contract. It gives you a lot of freedom. You can come back whenever you want. Don't worry about home. Just take care of yourself when you're out. As you spoke, Shen Youchu hadn't taken in a single word. In her mind, she was still replaying the scene of you gently brushing her cheek. Wanwan, on the sofa, had already started secretly watching mommy and daddy interact. She clearly saw that even though mommy was looking down, the corners of her mouth were already lifting slightly, and daddy was still chattering away. Little Wanwan didn't know what was going on, only that mommy seemed happy now, and daddy was still worried about mommy. So she jumped onto your lap, looked up, blinked her big eyes, and said out of the blue, Daddy Wanwan wants to sleep with mommy and daddy tonight. The moment those words came out, you froze. Shen Youchu even lifted her head, staring at the little one in shock. Her heart was pounding, nearly bursting out of her chest. Please. Seeing you didn't answer, Wanwan started her begging act, rolling around on your lap. You swallowed, turned to look at Shen Youchu, whose neck was already bright red, and she avoided your gaze. You'll have to ask your mom if she agrees. How were you supposed to answer that? Shen Youchu was so embarrassed she was about to break down. She stood up in a panic, walked toward the bathroom. I'm tired. I'll go wash up first. Getting ready for bed, Shen Youchu fled in a hurry. Only you and Wanwan were left in the living room, staring at each other. You had no idea what to do, but Wanwan jumped off your lap, threw her arms around your neck. Mommy said, as long as daddy's ready, it's fine. Shen Youchu actually said that? You turned to look at the closed bathroom door. You could vaguely hear the sound of washing inside. Well, I guess it's okay. You took a deep breath, inhaling the milky scent from the little one, trying to steal your nerves. Told yourself inwardly, this is entirely for Wanwan, nothing else. After a long while, Shen Youchu came out of the bathroom. Without a word, she went back to the bedroom. As she passed the living room, she didn't even glance toward the sofa. You then picked up Wanwan and stood, went into the bathroom, helped the little one wash up, then quickly washed yourself. Finally carried the little one out. Only then did your heart start racing. From the living room to the master bedroom, a short distance, felt like you walked forever. By the time your foot fully stepped into the bedroom, your mind had gone completely blank. In 2 lifetimes, you'd never been through this. Right now, you really wanted to ask for help. What should you do? Shen Youchu had already burrowed into the covers, seeming to be asleep. She lay on her side, facing inward. You couldn't see her face clearly, but her delicate, rosy earlobes revealed her current state. You gently closed the door. The sound of the door closing made Shen Youchu's body, her whole frame, flinched slightly, but she still didn't get up. Now you've completely given up. At this point, there's no use being nervous. Just lie back and take it easy. Thinking that, you really did feel more relaxed. You put Wanwan down in the middle and sat down on the other side of the bed, pulling Wanwan close. You started telling her a bedtime story. Tonight, Daddy will tell Wanwan the story of Snow White. Your gentle voice echoed through the room. Shen Youchu's eyelashes fluttered slightly. Her pounding heart, along with the story, gradually calmed down. In the end, she fell asleep without realizing it. Just like her, Wanwan also slowly drifted off to your story. The night was deep. Seeing their breathing slowly settle, you finally turned off the light, crawled under the covers, and lay down. The pillow was filled with that familiar faint fragrance. For the first time you realized that a girl's pillow could smell so sweet. You pulled Wanwan closer beside you, and with that scent, you two quickly fell into a deep sleep. The night passed without a word. The next day, your internal clock was still on time. At 6 a.m., you woke up. Instinctively, you hugged the soft body in your arms, and then froze. When did Wanwan get so big? You swallowed. You glanced down under the covers. There was no trace of Wanwan in your arms. It wasn't the little one. It was Shen Youchu. You were completely dumbfounded. How did she end up in your arms? A faint fragrance lingered at the tip of your nose. The soft body in your arms warm and tender. Your resolve shattered in an instant. Without thinking, you leaned down, until you were close to Shen Youchu's pretty face, and stopped there, caught in a fierce mental struggle. Then you saw her long eyelashes blink slightly, scaring you into sitting back up at once. You quietly withdrew your arm from under her neck, bent over, carefully got out of bed, and slipped out of the bedroom. You went to the bathroom to freshen up. You looked completely defeated. This early morning was way too torturous. What you didn't know was, right after you left the bedroom, Shen Youchu on the bed opened her pretty almond-shaped eyes. She let out a small sigh of relief, hiding her burning face under the covers. She looked like she couldn't face anyone. When you sat up, Shen Youchu had already woken up. She didn't know when she had ended up in your arms. She'd even been using your arm as a pillow. So embarrassing. Then she felt your breath on her face, and panic set in. What did he want to do? Was he going to sneak a kiss? What should she do? Shen Youchu was scared to death at that moment, but she didn't dare wake up, so she just kept pretending to sleep. Luckily, you stopped in time, or she really wouldn't have known how to face you. But after you actually pulled away, she felt a vague sense of loss. Shen Youchu didn't know if she was ready, only that her mind was a mess. After a long while, Shen Youchu, still under the covers, finally let out a deep breath. Let things take their course. She stayed tucked in until 8 a.m. when she heard the door open again outside. Only then did she get out of bed, tidy up, and leave the room. You were already in the kitchen, getting ready to cook. Seeing Shen Youchu come out, you greeted her with a slightly awkward expression. Morning. Shen Youchu's expression was also a bit off. She didn't even lift her eyes to look, just gave a soft reply. Then she went into the bathroom to freshen up. You didn't think much of it, and turned back to making breakfast. Unexpectedly, Shen Youchu finished washing up quickly, and came straight to the kitchen. Let me help you cook. Shen Youchu's expression was natural. She skillfully took the basin from your hand, and started washing the rice for you. You were just a little stunned, but quickly recovered, and gladly accepted the favor. You turned sideways and started washing vegetables. The two of you worked in perfect sync, like a couple who had lived together for years. 20 minutes later, golden millet porridge, and 2 small dishes were ready. You took off your apron, washed your hands, and naturally walked into the master bedroom to wake Wanwan, who had rolled to the foot of the bed. After scooping her up and having a happy breakfast together, you looked at Shen Youchu and said, by the way, are you reporting to Stars Park Entertainment in early August? Hearing that, Shen Youchu also sat down on the sofa, her beautiful eyes blinking lightly. Before that, I need to go pick up Chuchu first, and then find Sister Yin. If they know I can make a comeback, they'll definitely be really happy. As Shen Youchu spoke, a genuine smile appeared on her face. Quitting the industry so hastily back then, she felt she owed those two the most. Now, even if not for her own dream, for them, she had to work hard. You nodded, rubbing Wanwan's hair, but in your mind you were thinking about what song to write for Shen Youchu. This was her first battle in her comeback, and it had to be a stunning one. Shen Youchu's voice was excellent. Whether sweet songs or sad ones, she could handle them all. So there were too many choices, and you couldn't decide for a moment. After thinking for a while with no result, you thought of something else. Oh, right, let's buy a car in a few days. Actually buy 2. In another month, Wanwan will start kindergarten. It'll make picking her up and dropping her off easier. Also, those Stars Park Entertainment will provide you with a van for everyday leisure. When you go out, you'll still need a car. Shen Youchu thought for a moment and agreed that buying a car was a good idea. Before, she always stayed home and didn't go out, so having a car didn't matter. But now she'd be going out often, and not having a car was indeed inconvenient. But she was worried you might not have enough money. After all, the earnings from your first 2 videos had been used to buy a lot of furniture, and you'd gone out once already, so she didn't know how much was left. Wanwan was about to start kindergarten, which would be another expense. After thinking it over, Shen Youchu looked up, a hint of worry showing in her brows. Let's buy just one for now. You can use it to run errands and pick up the kid at home. I'll have a company car for work, so I probably won't need one. Once you've earned some money, then we can think about getting another car. Shen Youchu thought. Once she started releasing songs and albums and had an income, she'd consider those issues. Thinking about it, Shen Youchu felt a bit down. She wasn't even sure when she'd get to sing. Although Stars Park Entertainment's contract promised top-tier resources, it also included a clause about song freedom. She didn't know how you negotiated with the company. They gave top resources, so why didn't they arrange songs for her? She was a bit puzzled. After all, she didn't know many lyricists or composers. Thinking about lyricists and composers, Shen Youchu suddenly froze, and then looked at you, who seemed perfectly calm. He seemed to know how to write songs, though she had no idea when he'd learned. But those 2 songs on Douyin, one of them you even taught Wanwan on the spot. You knew all along why Shen Youchu was hesitant about buying a car. You calmly waved your hand. Don't worry, we've got enough money at home. Let the bullet fly a little longer. Money will come in a few days. Sunday, the MV for Just Ordinary goes live at 8 a.m. sharp. It's co-released by Huayin and a few accounts, with multiple departments forwarding together. The lineup is unprecedentedly stacked. Of course, no matter how stacked the lineup, what viewers really want is quality. Only if the quality holds up will people buy into it. They'll care about the story behind the MV. But there's been a saying online, if Bufan releases it, it's bound to be a masterpiece. Now when they saw that the lyrics and music of this MV were all by Bufan, everyone instantly got interested. That mysterious guy never acts unless he's sure. But when he does, it's always astonishing. So viewers clicked on the MV one after another, eager to see the spectacle, until the music and the final shot faded. Bufan's figure never appeared. You remained as mysterious as ever. But everyone was satisfied. Those scenes, every silhouette in this video, were engraved deep in everyone's hearts. And even long after the video was released, no one had liked it. No one had commented. It was as if everyone had vanished. At that moment, in Huayin's meeting room, Lin Silly kept staring at the real-time data online. He didn't understand. Why were over 100 million people watching, yet not a single like? Did everyone dislike the video? Lin Silly felt a little disappointed. He wiped his slightly red eyes, finding it hard to accept. But the next moment, the video's stats suddenly took off. Likes and comments exploded like a flood, snowballing out of control. It was the first time ever that data surged so rapidly. In such a short time, in just a few breaths, the like count shot from 100,000 to 5 million, then 10 million, 20 million. The platform experienced its first ever freeze. Even so, it didn't seem to stop. The netizens from liking and commenting. At first, they were curious about the MV launched by Huayin. Then they felt anticipation seeing it was written and composed by Bufan. But now, after having watched it fully, they were completely moved. Empathy was the most direct feeling in everyone's heart right now. The video also shot straight to the trending list, firmly claiming the #1 spot. In Huayin's meeting room, a sudden cheer erupted. Lin Silly clenched his fists in excitement, speechlessly watching the skyrocketing numbers. So it wasn't that people weren't moved. They just hadn't finished processing the emotion. Another half hour passed. The buzz even spread to Weibo. All the trending topics on Weibo were about this MV. Netizens kept discussing it. Some netizen, probably the first to notice that Huayin had uploaded a pure version, the song Just Ordinary, and set it to free. In that moment, everyone who had watched the MV rushed to Huayin's page, scoring, downloading, favoriting, a triple whammy. Within that day, the entire Chinese entertainment industry was shaken, no matter the company or individual. After watching the video, they silently reposted it. They envied such popularity, but knew they could never replicate it. All they could do was quietly ride the wave, forcing their way through life. And at that moment, Shen Youchu, curled up in your arms sobbing softly, grabbed your sleeve, and wiped her tears and snot all over it. She looked pitiful and wronged, making your heart ache. It's just a video, isn't it? Crying is fine, but why do you look so wronged? Shen Youchu, I finally know what you've been busy with these past few days. Creating a song like this, cooperating with Huayin, helping me get out of that unrealistic contract. What exactly did you go through? He didn't know. What she felt wronged about was that you did so much outside, but didn't tell her when you came home. Did you suffer any losses over this? Did anyone give you a hard time? How much energy did you spend creating a song like this? Meanwhile, at the city center, Tianmei Entertainment Branch, Lu Li's face was so gloomy it could drip water. Her agent, Sister Qin, also looked terrible. The room was thick with tension. Only Zhao Chuchu was secretly laughing in the corner, looking quite gleeful. Lu Li shot a glance at her agent. She increasingly felt this aging woman was useless. Sister Qin, wasn't your song scheduled to go live on Huayin at the end of July? What's going on now? The song got pulled, and I'm supposed to launch in early August instead? The company already started promotion. I just bought trending spots, and they, without a word, not only postponed my song, but also hogged all the trending topics. Sister Qin, you've been handling this the whole time. You owe me an explanation. Sister Qin's face darkened even more. With something like this happening, she was already in a bad mood. Now Lu Li was yelling at her, which only made her angrier. You want an explanation from me? If you're capable, go talk to Huayin. Why are you taking it out on me? Who knew some Bufan would pop out of nowhere? And one song made Huayin push their MV online early? If she didn't still need Lu Li for her livelihood, Sister Qin wouldn't even bother with her. So what do we do now? Lu Li's tone was still harsh. Sister Qin frowned. They were in the same boat, so they couldn't fall out yet. She let out a sly laugh. We do this. Hearing that, Lu Li knew it was the only option. She silently cursed Bufan in her heart, blaming him for stealing the spotlight that should have been hers. When Lu Li turned around and saw Zhao Chuchu covering her mouth and snickering nearby, she got even more furious. Zhao Chuchu, can't you see how chaotic things are here? Get over here and clean up. Her voice was sharp and grating. Zhao Chuchu couldn't help but dig in her ear. Oh, sorry about that. My contract ends today, and I've already submitted my resignation. I'm done serving you. Zhao Chuchu laughed as she said it, sat down in a chair, crossed her legs, and leisurely sipped tea. Lu Li shot up from her seat, pointed at Zhao Chuchu, her face cycling through shades of blue, purple, and white. But she couldn't get a word out. After lunch, the three of you happily took a taxi out. In the afternoon, you arrived at the 4S store on time. Welcome, sir, ma'am. Do you have a preferred model? The salesperson on duty had his eyes light up. With a few years of sales experience, he knew that a family of 3 looking at a car had an 80% chance of making a deal. You nodded. You and Shen Youchu had done some research at home, picked the model, and then came. Do you have the H9? Top trim. Yes, we do. Hearing you had a model in mind, the salesperson's eyes shone even brighter. The H9 top trim, the cheapest version on the road, still costs over 300K. Sir, we happen to have 2 H9 top trims in stock. 2 of them. One is quicksand gold. The other is gentian purple. Which one would you like to see first? The salesperson said, leading the 3 of you into the store. Gentian violet. It looks deeper. This was what you'd already decided at home. Gentian violet looks more classy. You won't lose face when you're out and about. Sir, you have good taste. Gentian violet really suits your wife's temperament, the salesperson said, leading you to the car and introducing it. This is the H9 in gentian violet, top trim. Sir, try sitting inside. You laughed. You won't sit. Youchu Wanwan. Let me hold her. You try it, you see. Shen Youchu's eyes lit up when he saw the car. Clearly, he was quite satisfied with it. Shen Youchu was a little shy, his cheeks slightly flushed, but he still gathered his courage and handed Wanwan to you, and sat inside. He had dreamed before of having a car of his own. Never thought it would come true today. The car was great. Sleek lines yet imposing. Seeing Shen Youchu almost reluctant to let go, you felt even happier. You grandly pulled out your bank card and driver's license, handing them to the salesperson. This one. Full payment. Swipe the card. The salesperson's grin almost reached his ears. Yes, sir. I'll give you the best discount. Let me go prepare the paperwork. You didn't wait long. The salesperson came back with the purchase contract and all the documents. You all sat down at the table in the rest area. For a full payment, sir, we can offer it at $385,000. Insurance and plate registration included, plus a full set of seat covers and a car cover as a gift. You can pick it up tomorrow. You nodded. Without a second word, you entered the PIN, swiped the card and paid. All the paperwork done. You agreed with the salesperson to pick up the car tomorrow morning, then left the 4S store cheerfully. Back home. It was already 5 p.m. Just as you got home, you got a call from Licia. Hey, genius. Congratulations. Now, the internet is flooded with that MV and news about you. You're completely famous now. Same to you, same to you. I'm not that keen on fame, but your company must have gained quite a bit this time, right? You laughed. That's all thanks to you, the genius. Let's get to business. When is Shen Youchu coming to report? On the other end of the line, Licia teased you, then asked with a smile. You looked at the sofa, where Shen Youchu was perking up her ears, secretly eavesdropping on your call. You smiled. In a couple of days. At the latest, the 3rd. There are still some things at home. After we take care of them, I'll come. Good. I'll be waiting here for him. Licia was curious. What kind of woman was this? The one you'd go to such lengths for? What was she really like? The 4S store was very efficient. The next day, at 10 a.m., the salesperson called to notify you that the car was already registered, insurance was done, and you could pick it up anytime. The task of picking up the car was entrusted to Shen Youchu. You didn't go with him. Instead, you stayed home to look after Wanwan. He arrived at the 4S store and successfully picked up the car. After a test drive, he drove into the city. He wanted to find Chu and Sister Yin. Take them both to Stars Park Entertainment. Shen Youchu had made up his mind. He would report to Stars Park Entertainment tomorrow, even though you said he could go later. He didn't want to. He had his own little thoughts too. Besides singing being his dream, he didn't want to be like a vase, just relying on you. At this moment, Shen Youchu didn't know that Zhao Chuchu had already resigned. He drove to a spot not far from Tianmei Entertainment Tower, and only then called Zhao Chuchu. He wanted to surprise her. The call was quickly answered. Shen Youchu had a smile on his face, and even his voice was bright. Chuchu, guess where I am? Zhao Chuchu was in her rental apartment, packing her things. After resigning, she planned to head back to her hometown. She had already decided, and right at that moment, she received Shen Youchu's call. Sister Shen, aren't you at home? Where else could you be? Silly, I'm downstairs at your company. Come down quick. I have something to tell you. Okay, Sister Shen, wait a moment. I'll be right there. Zhao Chuchu suddenly got a little flustered. Why did Sister Shen come to her company building? For a moment, she didn't know how to tell Shen Youchu about her resignation and planned to go back home. Lucky for her, Zhao Chuchu's rental apartment wasn't far from Tianmei Entertainment Tower. Soon, she ran downstairs, panting. She looked left and right, until she heard a voice. Chuchu, I'm here. She turned to look, and saw Shen Youchu getting out of a brand new car, waving at her. Sister Shen, you bought a car? Zhao Chuchu's eyes narrowed into a beautiful curve, and she quickly walked up to Shen Youchu, looking at the brand new car beside Shen Youchu. She was utterly incredulous. That man actually bought Sister Shen a car? Wasn't he mean to her? Shen Youchu smiled and nodded, taking Zhao Chuchu's hand. Yeah, I just bought it. There's something I need to discuss with you today. Are you free? Only then did Zhao Chuchu realize that this time, Shen Youchu seemed different from the last time they met. Her skin was much fairer, her face a little rounder, and her complexion clearly much better. Most importantly, the confidence she once had seemed to have returned. Seeing her former assistant, Shen Youchu's eyes sparkled with hope. She directly grabbed her hand. Chuchu, come back and be my assistant again. Let's get Sister Yin too. I'm going to make a comeback. As soon as the words fell, Zhao Chuchu was frozen in place. She couldn't believe her ears. But the next second, she jumped up in excitement. I knew it. Heaven never seals off all roads. Sister Shen, what a coincidence. I just resigned. We can fight side by side again. But Shen Youchu was stunned. Only then did she realize that Chuchu had already resigned. Instantly, a huge wave of guilt and sadness surged up. I'm sorry. Before I was too willful. It was all because of me that I dragged Chuchu and Sister Yin down. You need to look toward the future. I'm going to make a comeback now. Then she asked, do you know where Sister Yun is? Let's go find her right now. Zhao Chuchu immediately gave the address. She knew Sister Yun must be at the hospital taking care of her mother. Shen Youchu wasted no time. She told Chuchu to get in the car. The two sped off to the hospital. But in the car, Zhao Chuchu looked at the brand new interior and suddenly asked curiously, Sister Shun, does he know about your comeback? Shen Youchu nodded, the corners of her mouth lifting involuntarily. He knows. He helped negotiate the contract for this comeback. And he bought me this car too. One sentence left, Zhao Chuchu's mouth slightly open in shock. He negotiated the contract for you? How is that possible? Shinjie, you're not lying to me, are you? Shen Youchu just shook her head, then dropped an even heavier bomb. It's true. He helped me negotiate the contract with Stars Park Entertainment. And it's the top-tier kind. Zhao Chuchu was completely stunned. She couldn't figure it out no matter how hard she tried. How could that man possibly have landed a top-tier contract? Seeing her silent, Shen Youchu continued, he's really good to me now. Don't treat him that way anymore. Zhao Chuchu finally snapped out of it. Pouting, she teased, Sister Shun, fiercely protecting your man. I'm jealous. The kind that can't be soothed. Shen Youchu's pretty face flushed. But she didn't argue. Soon they arrived at the hospital. Standing outside Ward 302 in the inpatient building, Shen Youchu's heart was filled with anxiety. But the moment she opened the door and saw Sister Yun, tears nearly spilled from her eyes. Sister Yun, who once had jet black hair, now had white strands. Her resilient face was etched with weariness. This look was exactly how she herself had looked before. When Sister Yun saw Shen Youchu, she was completely frozen, staring blankly at her. The two of them locked eyes, speechless for a moment. It was Zhao Chuchu who ran in first to break the silence. Sister Yun, Sister Shun, and I came to see you. Sister Yun finally snapped out of it. Fidgeting nervously, she said, you're here. Why didn't you let me know beforehand? Look at me like this. She forced a smile and said, Mom's health is still okay. One more surgery, and she'll recover. But there was a bitterness hidden in that smile. She was at the end of her rope. Still owed over 100,000 outside. The money for the next surgery. How was she going to pay for it? Shen Youchu stepped into the ward, head down, biting her lip, like a child who had done something wrong. But Sister Yun approached her, took her hand, and a relieved smile appeared on her face. You came to see me. I'm really happy. Seeing you like this now, I'm even happier. It means you're doing all right. Back then, I tried to stop you, because I wanted what was best for you. Don't take it to heart. At that moment, Shen Youchu couldn't hold it in anymore. Sister Yun, I'm sorry. She suddenly threw herself into Sister Yun's arms, tears streaming down like raindrops. Sister Yun gently patted her back and softly comforted her. No need to apologize. What mother would blame her own child? I truly treat you like my own daughter. Hearing this, Shen Youchu cried even harder. Sister Yun just held her like that, patting her until she was tired of crying. She lifted her swollen eyes and saw Sister Yun's gentle smile. Shen Youchu pursed her lips. Sister Yun, I'm going to make a comeback. Will you still be my manager? Okay. Hearing this, Sister Yun was taken aback. Her brow instantly furrowed. What about your child? Are you sure that guy can take care of her? In Sister Yun's eyes, Lu Fan was hardly a fatherly type. But Shen Youchu nodded firmly. Lu Fan is Wanwan's dad. He'll take good care of Wanwan. I trust him. Sister Yun rubbed her temples, suppressing her doubts. Even if he can take care of the child, making a comeback isn't easy. Do you have a company to sign with? And what resources will the company give you? Before she finished, Shen Youchu immediately pulled a contract out of her bag and handed it over. Sister Yun, look, this is the contract with Stars Park Entertainment. Seeing the words Stars Park Entertainment, Sister Yun froze. That was one of the top 3 companies in the country. Half doubting, she took the contract and began to flip through it carefully. But the more she read, the more shocked she became. By the end, her hands were already trembling slightly. What kind of god-tier contract is this? Did Shen Youchu kidnap the boss of Stars Park Entertainment? Top-tier resources. No restrictions on freedom. A 2-year short term. This is practically a dictator's clause. Sister Yun looked up sharply, her voice trembling. Is this real? Of course it's real. There's even Star Spark stamp on it. Shen Youchu quickly explained, afraid she wouldn't believe it. But Sister Yun was completely stunned, just staring blankly at her. In all her years as a manager, she had never seen terms like these in a contract. It's too outrageous. Has Star Spark gone crazy? Sister Yun, I have to report for duty tomorrow. Seeing she still didn't believe it, Shen Youchu had to emphasize again. This time, Sister Yun finally believed. But the shock on her face didn't fade at all. Youchu, tell me honestly, how did you manage to sign this contract? Shen Youchu finally breathed a sigh of relief. Her cheeks flushed slightly. Lu Fan went to the Magic City to get it for me. He wrote a song for Stars Park Entertainment. One sentence that made Sister Yun question her life. Lu Fan wrote a song and traded it for a contract this insane? That's absolutely preposterous. A fantasy beyond belief. Youchu, don't blame me for not trusting him. But can he even write songs? Even if he can, what kind of song could be worth a contract like this? Don't let him fool you. He really did write a song. Seeing Sister Yun's disbelief, Shen Youchu immediately took out her phone, opened the platform to an account called Bufan. Sister Yun took the phone half doubtfully. Zhao Chuchu on the side also leaned in. The next second, oh my god, over 100 million likes. Zhao Chuchu yelled out dramatically, then quickly covered her mouth. This was a hospital ward. Sister Yun was also dumbfounded. What video could have over 100 million likes? Then she saw the account name, Bufan, followed by Huaying, co-creation Bufan. Huaying. Sister Yun was instantly bewildered. She looked up, and an absurd thought popped into her head. Bufan is Lu Fan. Ah, Bufan, that guy who's the hottest and most mysterious on the whole internet right now. Seeing the two of them so shocked, Shen Youchu's face turned even redder. That's right. This time, Sister Yun finally came to her senses. With a complicated look, she handed the phone back to Shen Youchu. Shen Youchu had a bright future ahead. Of course she was happy, but the next second, she let out a sigh. Youchu, with your conditions, you can definitely find a better manager. As for me, forget it. Why, Sister Yun? Are you abandoning me? Shen Youchu cried out. Sister Yun looked toward the hospital room, her face full of helplessness. You've seen it too. Your mother needs care. I really can't get away. You can hire a nurse. But Sister Yun's expression turned troubled. She had no money to hire a nurse. Staying with Shen Youchu would only hold her back. Youchu, don't try to persuade me anymore. This is a great opportunity. You have to cherish it. Don't be so willful anymore. Having said that, Sister Yun turned her head away resolutely, no longer looking at her. Shen Youchu bit her lip. He didn't understand why Sister Yun just wouldn't go with her. Came with hope, left disappointed. Shen Youchu stayed silent the whole way. After dropping Zhao Chuchu off, he drove home alone. But when the door opened, and you saw her, you couldn't help but freeze. She cried? Did things go smoothly? You asked bluntly. But as soon as the words left your mouth, Shen Youchu's lips instantly puckered. She plopped down onto the sofa. And the moment she saw you, it was like she'd found her only anchor. Tears started welling up again. Sister Yun won't come with me. You frowned. Why? In your memories, wasn't that stern woman the one who doted on Shen Youchu the most? Then Shen Youchu told you everything that happened at the hospital, pouring it all out with a pitiful look. You listened quietly, until she finished, then nodded thoughtfully. I see. You stood up suddenly. You're such an idiot. Stay home and look after Wanwan. I'm going out. Where are you going? Shen Youchu looked displeased. Whether it was because you called her an idiot, or because she didn't want you to leave, you turned back with a slight smirk. I'm going to bring back someone important to you. With that, you walked out the door. First, you found a housekeeping agency, then drove straight to the hospital. But you didn't go directly to Sister Yun. Instead, you went to the attending physician first. From the doctor, after learning all about Sister Yun's mother's condition, you headed up to the inpatient ward, outside room 302. You composed yourself, put on a cold expression, and knocked gently on the door. A second later, the door opened. Sister Yun stood before you, her eyes red-rimmed. She froze for a moment when she saw you, but your voice was calm, and you spoke with authority. Sister Yun, not going to let me in. Sister Yun furrowed her brow, but she stepped aside to let you in. The moment you stepped into the room, an old woman with graying hair and a gaunt frame looked over. Xiao Yun, is this a friend of yours? Before Sister Yun could answer, you quickly walked to the bedside, took the old woman's hand in yours, and said, Auntie, my wife is a friend of Sister Yun's. She came before, but saw you were sleeping, so she didn't disturb you. The old woman heard this, and immediately broke into a warm smile. So you're Xiao Yun's friend. How thoughtful of you. You jumped in right away. Auntie, we're the lucky ones to have Sister Yun as a friend. My wife talks about how great Sister Yun is every day at home. My ears are getting calluses. You shifted gears, starting to ramble. It's just a shame that this time work. My wife wanted to go with Sister Yun, but she's worried about your health, so she doesn't want to go. You have no idea. My wife came back, crying her heart out. Sister Yun's face suddenly changed behind you. In her eyes, you were clearly a persuader Shen Youchu had sent. What work? Xiao Yun, what's going on? Sister Yun's mother didn't know her daughter's specific job. Hearing this, her gray eyebrows knitted together. Mom, don't listen to his nonsense. There's no work. Sister Yun shot you a glare, and quickly explained. But the old woman wasn't stupid. She grabbed your hand instead. Young man, tell me, what exactly is this job? You deliberately looked at Sister Yun with a hesitant expression, then spoke slowly. Auntie, this job requires traveling. We wanted to hire a nurse for you, but Sister Yun can't bear to leave you. Insists on taking care of you herself. Xiao Yun, you child. The old woman heard this, and immediately turned to her daughter. If work requires travel, then go, child. Sister Yun panicked, hating you even more in her heart. She knew he wanted to stay, the real reason being she couldn't leave. Where would she get the money to hire a nurse? She didn't even have the money for the next surgery. Just then, you said calmly, Sister Yun, let's talk outside. With that, you smiled at the old woman, and turned to leave the room. Sister Yun gritted her teeth, and followed you out. In the hallway, Sister Yun glared up at you. What the hell do you think you're doing? But you looked down on her, as if stating a fact. You can think I'm a bad guy. I just don't want Shen Youchu to be sad. If you don't go with her, she'll keep worrying about you, and when she gives her all, getting back even half would be a stretch. You paused, then dropped a bombshell. Oh, and aunties, next surgery fees? I've already paid them. I've also arranged for a nurse. Here's the number. Choose someone yourself. You're giving me charity? Sister Yun let out an angry laugh, but you acted like a thug, shrugging. You're overthinking it. It's a loan. It'll be deducted from the salary Shen Youchu pays you. You looked her straight in the eye, word by word. You and Chuchu are going with Shen Youchu to the company. That's none of my business. Whatever salary she gives you, I don't care. But this is my money, and you have to pay me back. You spread your hands, putting on a look of utter shamelessness. Anyway, the surgery fees and nurse are already paid, and they won't refund it. What you do from here on out is your problem. With that, you didn't give Yun any time to react, turned around, and left. Lu Fan, don't tell Shen Youchu. Just as you reached the door, Sister Yun's voice came from behind. You didn't turn back, only waved a hand, and quickly walked away. In the hallway, Sister Yun watched the direction you disappeared, her expression complicated. After a long while, she returned to the room. Xiao Yun, that young man went home. Seeing her come in alone, the mother patted the edge of the bed, gesturing for her to sit down. Don't blame him. He's a decent person. Your mother has seen many people. I can tell from her eyes what kind of person she is. The old woman took her daughter's hand and spoke earnestly. I know you're filial, but there are many paths in life. Choose wrong, and you'll regret it later. My health isn't that bad, is it? One more surgery, and I'll be healed. Even the doctor says the risk isn't high. Go. If you end up regretting later because of me, then I'd really be upset. Sister Yun lowered her head and was silent for a long time. Finally, she nodded gently. Meanwhile, on your end, the moment you got home, Shen Youchu came over, her little face full of curiosity. But you deliberately ignored her, happily picking up Wanwan. Wanwan, what do you want for dinner? Shen Youchu's expression froze instantly. She looked at you in disbelief as you walked right past her. Daddy makes everything I like. Shen Youchu's expression froze instantly. The little one was really appreciative, completely didn't notice mom's face had fallen. Little face all good. Then daddy will go cook now. You kissed the little one, turned, and headed to the kitchen. Bufan, I'm mad. Shen Youchu pouted, face full of grievance. That expression seemed to accuse you. This guy actually acted like he didn't see her. Didn't he know how anxious she was waiting at home? You turned around, all innocent. What's the matter? Shen Youchu got even angrier. When you left, you sweetly called her dummy. Now you come back playing dumb. She angrily plopped down on the sofa, arms crossed. She turned her head to look at you. You smiled and decided to stop teasing her. Remember to bring your 2 loyal bodyguards when you go out tomorrow. With that temper of yours, if you don't take them, won't you get bullied to death? Shen Youchu's eyes instantly sparkled. That quick change of expression made you marvel. Sister Yun agreed? What do you think? Okay, I'm going to cook now. Don't bother me. Shen Youchu never did ask how you managed it. Because if she asked, you'd just play dumb. But that didn't stop the way she looked at you. Her eyes growing brighter and brighter. She probably thought, ever since you changed, there seemed to be nothing you couldn't do. Early the next morning, Shen Youchu got up. You also, rarely, didn't go out for a run. The two of you silently made breakfast together in the kitchen. Wanwan was still asleep. Shen Youchu was afraid that if she saw her wake up, she wouldn't have the heart to leave. Breakfast was ready. She ate quietly. You sat beside her, nagging with instructions. When you get there, remember to call often. Otherwise Wanwan will miss you. If anything comes up out there, remember to tell me. Don't keep it bottled up like an idiot. Shen Youchu sipped her porridge mouthful by mouthful, listening to your words. Suddenly felt a little lost. Kind of didn't want to leave anymore. She ate that meal extremely slowly, until the bowl was scraped clean. Just then, her phone rang. You reminded her, and she snapped out of it. She picked up the phone. Hello? Sister Shen? I'm ready. Sister Yun is with me. When will you be here? I'll be there soon. Just wait a little longer. Okay, then I'll see you downstairs at my place. Be there or be square. The call ended. Shen Youchu looked up at you. The complicated look in those almond eyes made your heart tremble. You had to admit, Shen Youchu was really beautiful. You quickly turned your head to look at the luggage in the living room. Time to go. Don't make them wait too long. I'll go take a look at Wanwan and then leave. Shen Youchu withdrew her gaze. Her voice was very soft. You nodded. You walked into the bedroom together. The little one was sleeping soundly, sprawled out, completely unaware that her mom was about to go far away. Shen Youchu bent down and kissed her little face again and again, then buried her face in the crook of her neck and nuzzled. Only then did she reluctantly stand up. She walked out of the bedroom, looking back every few steps. You silently followed her, helped her load the luggage into the car, watched her sit in the driver's seat. Only then did you close the door, walked around to the side. I'm leaving. Shen Youchu turned her head to look at you. Remember to come home often. Otherwise the little one will raise hell. Got it. The car started. Suddenly, Shen Youchu turned her head again. Her expression was utterly serious. Bufan, I like you. As soon as the words left her mouth, before you could respond at all, the car roared away, drove all the way to the city center. Zhao Chuchu was already waiting anxiously. Sister Yun beside her shook her head. This girl is still so impatient. Sister Shun is here. Seeing Shen Youchu's car, Zhao Chuchu quickly waved. Chuchu, Sister Yun, have you been waiting long? Shen Youchu took Zhao Chuchu's hand and looked apologetically at Sister Yun. Not long at all. Mainly this girl is too impatient. Sister Yun had a smile on her face. She never imagined that the three of them would be reunited like this. And all of this was actually because of that man who looked like a pretty boy. Sister Yun, thank you for coming. Without you and Chuchu, I wouldn't know what to do. All right. You're a mom now, still acting like a kid. Sister Yun patted her hand, her expression brisk. You should be thanking your man instead. Enough, let's go get the luggage. Those words instantly made Shen Youchu's face turn bright red. She still had no idea how you managed to convince Sister Yun. The three of them didn't have much luggage. The car easily fit it all. Once in the car, Zhao Chuchu waved her hand and shouted excitedly, let's go. The bright road ahead. Here we come. The car sped all the way toward the Magic City. At the same time, at Stars Park Entertainment Tower in the Magic City, Li Xia had arrived at the office early, but she felt restless all day. Finally managed to endure until noon. She calculated the time and immediately went downstairs. She arrived at the building entrance, wanting to see what kind of person that guy doted on so much. What kind of wife he had. She didn't wait long. A car with Jiangsheng plates pulled into the parking lot. Li Xia squinted slightly. 3 people got out of the car. One was chatty, full of youthful energy. The other was older, with a face full of adoration. Seeing these 2 friends, she knew Shen Youchu's personality couldn't be bad. Then she turned her gaze to the woman in the middle. Oval face, almond eyes, with a gentle smile on her lips. The sight alone made one's heart ache. No wonder that guy Bufan was so taken. Li Xia composed herself, quickly stepped forward. Hello, you must be Shen Youchu, right? I'm Li Xia, Deputy Director of Human Resources at Stars Park Entertainment. Welcome aboard. Hello, I'm Shen Youchu. Shen Youchu's voice was soft and sweet. She was also sizing up this mature lady. What great presence. Nice voice, and surprisingly clean and pure in demeanor. But Li Xia was thinking to herself, Such a wonderful woman. How did Lu Fan manage to sweep her off her feet back then? She unusually averted her gaze first, then looked at Zhao Chuchu and Sister Yun. And these two are Zhao Chuchu, my assistant, and Sister Yun, my agent. Shen Youchu answered earnestly, but she felt that this mature lady was being very polite to her. Yet her reaction was a bit odd. Shen Youchu tilted her head in confusion, then suddenly seemed to think of something, and her eyes dimmed a little. Bringing your own team, huh? Li Xia nodded to the two of them, then turned her face back. Then let me give you a tour first. After all, you'll both be working here for the next 2 years. After the tour, I'll take you to the apartments. The group followed Li Xia into the building. Along the way, Zhao Chuchu was completely stunned. This place was way more luxurious than Tianmei Entertainment in Jiangxing. You could spot trending celebrities everywhere. This wasn't something the Tianmei branch could compare to. You see, back in Jiangxing, even a second-tier singer like Lu Li could throw her weight around. Li Xia took them up to the 11th floor in the elevator. She enthusiastically introduced that this whole floor was recording studios, all equipped with top-tier professional gear. Next, we'll go to the 12th floor. That's where the exclusive lounges for artists are. Creative work and meeting notifications all happen there. Along the way, people kept greeting Li Xia. Their faces all had a strange, fawning look. Shen Youchu grew even more confused. When these people saw him, why was there jealousy in their eyes? Shen Youchu didn't understand. Wasn't Li Xia just a deputy head of HR? Why did everyone look at him so strangely? Even weirder, he spotted a bald man wearing a badge that said head of HR, who actively stopped to say hi to Li Xia. He even greeted Shen Youchu himself. A little flattered, Shen Youchu responded, thinking to himself, this head Zhang Hao had such a good temper. Back at Tianmei, which of those leaders didn't look down their noses at you? Just then, Li Xia stopped at the end of the hallway. She pointed at the room in front of her. This will be your private lounge from now on. Shen Youchu looked up. The door was shut tight, with a keypad lock. The nameplate on the door clearly had his name on it. As Li Xia entered the code, she explained the default code was 6SIXS. You can change it later. Come on in and take a look. The door opened. They walked into the room. Zhao Chuchu let out a wow. The lounge was huge. The decor was way too lavish. Even Shen Youchu was stunned. He'd never seen such a luxurious lounge before. Zhao Chuchu felt like she was about to faint from happiness. Remembering the doghouse at Tianmei, it was like no comparison, no harm. If there weren't strangers around, she would have lunged onto the couch and rolled around. Li Xia smiled at their delighted expressions. Not everyone gets this treatment. Top-tier resources, right? So the lounge naturally has to be top-tier too. Hearing that, Zhao Chuchu suddenly felt that guy Lu Fan wasn't so bad after all. By the time they came out, Zhao Chuchu was still lost in her joy. Then the door next to them suddenly opened. A graceful, elegant woman stepped out in high heels, followed by a little assistant. The woman saw them, a flicker of surprise crossing her face. Then she greeted Li Xia. Sisterly, you're personally showing people around the rooms? Lena, you're heading out? There's a meet and greet this afternoon. Sisterly, you're busy. I'll get going. After Lena spoke, she only glanced at Shen Youchu, then walked away elegantly in her heels. Let's go too. Li Xia turned around, a smile back on her face. The floors above are all meeting rooms. I won't take you up there. Let's head straight to the apartments. Drop off your luggage, then go eat. My treat. Shen Youchu felt her enthusiasm was a bit much. He had a good impression of the company today, but everything felt a little odd. Getting on the elevator, Shen Youchu suddenly asked softly, Minister Li, are you very familiar with Lu Fan? Li Xia's smile froze. So that's how it is, huh? Shen Youchu's eyes narrowed slightly, a hard-to-describe feeling welling up inside. Well, I was the one who received him when he came, and I've been handling the cooperation ever since, so we're a bit familiar. Li Xia quickly returned to normal. Shen Youchu just gave a quiet and said nothing more. The group went downstairs. Li Xia led the way in her gray Mercedes. Shen Youchu drove slowly behind. As soon as Zhao Chuchu got in the car, she started gushing about how great everything was, without a care. It wasn't until Yun Jie shot her a look that she quieted down. Sister Shen, what's wrong? Zhao Chuchu leaned over the front seat, asking curiously. I'm fine. Chuchu, keep talking. You call that fine? Zhao Chuchu was confused. She turned to Sister Yun for help, but Sister Yun just smiled at Shen Youchu and said nothing. She could tell at a glance that someone had fallen into a vat of vinegar. Right now at home, you've got a real headache on your hands. Your wife's been gone half a day, and your daughter Wanwan is already crying for her mom. You reason with her, plead with her, and she only cries harder. She's even shouting, Daddy's a bad guy, hiding mommy away. You're baring your teeth and singing Little Tiger. But Wanwan's little pearls of tears keep falling. Her feet kick hard, refusing to stop until she sees her mom. You scratch your head. What the hell do you do now? It's not like you can call Shen Youchu back right now, can you? She'd laugh her ass off at you. Just then, the phone on the table suddenly rings. You glance at it. The next second, your eyes light up. Salvation has arrived. It's a WeChat message from Shen Youchu. Just 2 words. You there? You quickly reply. Of course I am. Unexpectedly, she responds. I had lunch with Minister Li today. What the hell? You don't have time to think. You quickly tap the video call button. Shen Youchu's cool, pretty face appears on the screen. You instantly put on a fawning smile and point the phone at Wanwan. Mommy, Wanwan misses you. But Shen Youchu's face freezes instantly. Lu Fan, is this how you take care of Wanwan? You pretend not to hear. Wanwan sees her mom and wipes her tears pitifully. Mommy, did daddy hide you away? Don't you want Wanwan anymore? Youchu immediately softens her voice, coaxing. Wanwan, be good. Mommy just went out for work. I'll be home soon. And the little one actually slowly stops crying. Your heart takes a direct hit of 10,000 tons. You make funny faces. You sing. And none of it works as well as one word from her. After calming your daughter down, you turn the phone toward yourself, your eyes shifting uneasily, but Shen Youchu immediately fires off a question. Can you really take care of a child properly? You get ticked off. Who are you looking down on? Today was just an accident. If I went out, you wouldn't be able to calm Wanwan down either. But Shen Youchu just gives you a long look, her eyes flickering. Then she casually asks, you're pretty close with Minister Li? Not bad. You reply casually, completely unaware that you're teetering on the edge of death, testing your limits like crazy. Not bad, huh? Shen Youchu repeats the word softly. You inexplicably feel a chill creeping up on you. You pull your clothes tighter, but the next second, she rolls her eyes at you and hangs up the video. Only then do you realize belatedly, she's angry. For no reason. You're lying there, taking a bullet you didn't ask for. For the next 2 days, Shen Youchu calls home once a day, but every time, she only talks to her daughter. She won't give you a single good look. Like you owe her 8 million, but you have no idea that right now, Shen Youchu's career is in a dead end. The company hasn't given him any gigs. His agent, that Sister Yuan, has contacted all the people who, and nothing else. But as soon as they heard it was him making a comeback, they all politely refused. A has-been singer who'd been out of the scene for 2 years, who would write songs for him. They'd been abandoned by the entire industry. On the other side, Shen Youchu was still fretting over composing. He'd been trying all day, but inspiration just wouldn't come. He couldn't help thinking, if you were here, you'd definitely write something better, right? Thinking of that, he felt a little discouraged, like he wasn't as good as you in any way. Just then, her assistant Zhao Chuchu suddenly spoke up. Sister Shen, why don't you ask Lu Fan? Shen Youchu hesitated. The whole point of leaving was to stop relying on you. He thought for a long time, before finally speaking. Let's wait another 2 days. If it still doesn't work, I'll call him. But what he didn't know was, right at that moment, in the Stars Park Entertainment meeting room, a meeting that would decide his fate was underway. On the desk of Chairman Li Tian lay an invitation document. New Song Showdown is the country's most famous music competition. We have 2 slots. Let's discuss who should go. A refined man with gold-rimmed glasses, Operations Director Yin Ping, spoke first. I think Chen Xian can go. Sweet appearance, good popularity. Most people nodded in agreement. Li Tian made the call on the spot. Then Chen Xian gets 1 slot. What about the other one? As soon as the words fell, HR Director Zhang Hao suddenly stood up. Chairman, I think Shen Youchu could also go. Shen Youchu. Li Tian only then remembered. Wasn't she the one you recommended? But before he could say anything, that Yin Ping jumped out to object again. Director Zhang, Shen Youchu won't do. Even amateurs are better than her. She has no popularity, no works to speak of. She quit showbiz because she got married, and the audience has a pretty bad impression of her. But Zhang Hao argued back. Exactly because of that, we should choose her even more. I've heard her old songs. She's a great singer, and she's beautiful too. Why can't we pick her? Yin Ping furrowed her brow, a look of disdain on her face. Director Zhang, you're in charge of HR. I'm in charge of operations. I know this better than you. What a singer needs most is popularity. We're not a charity company. Why should we give her a stage? But Zhang Hao suddenly flashed a smug smile and dropped a bombshell. Director Yin, you talked to me about popularity. Then do you know who recommended Shen Youchu? Let me ask you, Director Yin, how popular is Bufan? What if he writes songs for Shen Youchu? At the name Bufan, Yin Ping instantly went quiet. He didn't dare say Bufan wasn't popular. That was the guy whose MV had over 100 million likes. A top star with 50 million fans. Yin Ping glared darkly at Zhang Hao and asked through gritted teeth, are you sure Bufan will write songs for Shen Youchu? Just then, Chairman Li Tian finally spoke up, putting an end to the debate. All right, stop arguing. It'll be Chen Xian and Shen Youchu. Inform them. The meeting broke up. Zhang Hao walked off cheerfully. For the first time, he'd gotten one over on his rival. He couldn't have been happier. At the same time, the whole entertainment industry was stirred up by the launch of New Song Showdown. Tensions running high. Meanwhile, Lu Li from Tianmei Entertainment also got the news. His manager Sister Qin burst in excitedly shouting, Lu, great news. The company's putting you on New Song Showdown. And they even hired a famous lyricist to write a song for you. Lu Li froze instantly, smearing the nail polish in her hand. She spun around, eyes wide with disbelief. The New Song Showdown that can push me into the A-list. After getting a confirmation, she jumped straight out of her chair. I'm going to be famous. When she heard the name of the songwriter assigned to her, she got even more carried away. The godfather of music, Wumian? Isn't that Wumian? Me and Wumian, a powerhouse combo. Sister Qin, watching her arrogant display, could only sigh helplessly, while Lu Li was gloating. Your wife Shen Youchu also got a call from the company. The message was exactly the same. In 3 days, participate in New Song Showdown. She hung up, completely stunned. Her assistant Zhao Chuchu was practically going crazy with excitement, grabbing her shoulders and shaking her. Sister Shen, really? New Song Showdown. But after the excitement, a huge problem presented itself. They had no song. Manager Yun's face was full of gravity. It's a good thing to have the New Song Showdown as a stage, but we absolutely need a great song. They immediately split the work. Yun frantically contacted every songwriter she knew, while Shen Youchu could only bury herself in writing, hoping to create a miracle. You, at this moment, knew nothing of all this. You were still at home teaching your daughter Wanwan a nursery rhyme. You wore a big bad wolf headband, making her giggle nonstop. At 7 p.m., after putting Wanwan to sleep, you finally had some quiet time. You kept thinking, what song should you prepare for Shen Youchu? But there were too many hit songs in your head, and you couldn't figure out where to start. Annoyed, you opened your phone. As soon as you started scrolling, it was all about your songs. Fans had even turned Wanwan's expressions into memes. You looked at your phone and couldn't help smiling bitterly. Wife, oh wife, how's it going on your end? When are you going to reach out to me on your own? As you scrolled through videos, you noticed that besides your songs, the hottest thing online was New Song Showdown. Apparently, the competition happens once a year, and whoever goes on it gets famous. The format was simple and brutal, head-to-head. Lose and you're out. You had zero interest in it. Even found it a bit annoying. You scrolled a few times, and then shut down your phone to sleep. But early the next morning, a phone call woke you up directly. It was surprisingly Zhao Chuchu, Shen Youchu's assistant. Her voice on the other end was very low, like she was up to something sneaky. You need to do something about Sister Shen. She's gone crazy. You frowned, instantly wide awake. What happened? Sister Shen is going to be on New Song Showdown, but we don't have a song. She's been up all night trying to write one, and hasn't slept at all. You got a headache immediately. Only then did you remember. The contract clearly stated that you would write songs for her. Here you were, taking your time thinking. While over there, the house was on fire. Got it. I'll call her. You hung up, and immediately dialed Shen Youchu. She picked up, her voice exhausted. Hello? Is Wanwan missing me? Your heart ached. You deliberately said, Wanwan doesn't miss you. Can't you just call me yourself? I'm your husband, you know. This was the first time you called yourself husband in front of her. On the other end of the line, there was dead silence. You sighed, breaking the silence. Why didn't you tell me you were joining New Song Showdown? Something that could be sorted out so easily. Why put yourself through all that? Trouble? In your view, it was just a simple matter of saying the word. But as soon as you said that, the other end suddenly heard stifled sobbing. She cried, and you were completely stunned. What did I say? This whole feelings thing is just too complicated, just as you were at a loss. On the other end of the line, a tearful roar suddenly erupted. Her voice was full of grievance. It made your heart clench. You froze. It was the first time you heard her call you by your full name like that. Do you think I'm completely useless? That I only rely on you? You instantly realized. So that's what she was thinking. You had been careless. You quickly forced a smile and interrupted her. Sorry, I wasn't blaming you. Just worried about your health. But as soon as you said that, Shen Youchu on the other end actually laughed. Her laugh was aggrieved, yet carried a hint of stubbornness. Then, your voice became incredibly firm. Shen Youchu, you and Wanwan are the best gifts heaven has given me. You are my wife. Unique and irreplaceable. No one can ever replace you. These words were like a bomb, exploding in her heart. Shen Youchu's entire face instantly turned red. She softly hummed in acknowledgement. Her mood had clearly improved. Zhao Chuchu, who was peeking from the side, nearly had her eyes pop out. You struck while the iron was hot. From now on, no more overthinking. Bro, I'll send it to you tonight. Shen Youchu listened to your boastful words and let out a snort of laughter. Then I'll just wait and see what kind of song you, Lu Xiaoyong, can actually write. She completely gave up and stopped worrying. Like a tightly strung string suddenly loosened. Drowsiness immediately washed over her. After hanging up, you finally breathed a sigh of relief. Calming a wife is harder than calming a kid. Then you took out paper and pen, but found yourself in a new dilemma. There were too many legendary songs in your head. Which one to choose? Just as you irritably opened the window, a young couple downstairs was saying goodbye. The boy was dragging a suitcase. The girl with tearful eyes. Love rises with the wind. When the wind stops, the feeling lingers. A flash of inspiration struck your mind, and you suddenly had an answer. You quickly walked to the desk, picked up the pen and wrote 3 characters. Chi Feng Lu, the wind rises. Notes flowed from the tip of the pen. You were completely immersed in it. Until your daughter Wanwan called out, Daddy, I'm hungry, pulling you back to reality. A smile instantly appeared on your face. Little treasure is hungry. Daddy will cook right away. Your daughter's words were like a royal decree. You didn't dare waste a single moment. You turned and went straight into the kitchen. 2 hours later, the well-fed father and daughter lay down directly on the sofa. Just then, a video call from Shen Youchu came in. She had dark circles under her eyes, her face full of exhaustion. Seeing you two so lazy and relaxed, she immediately put on a pitiful expression, her almond eyes glistening with accusation, as if saying, I'm out here working hard, while you guys enjoy yourselves at home. How could you resist that? You immediately raised your hands in surrender. I haven't been idle. The song is already written. Wanwan also learned, and raised her little hand, speaking in a baby voice. Wanwan hasn't been idle either. I watched 2 fewer episodes of cartoons, and learned 5 extra numbers. Shen Youchu instantly broke character. She admitted she couldn't compete with this little minx. All right, our Wanwan has worked the hardest. Come let mommy give you a kiss. The little one immediately leaned in, and gave a mwah sound. You saw your opportunity, and shamelessly moved closer. Haha, don't I get a reward? The little one was cheering you on from the side. Shen Youchu's face instantly turned crimson. In the end, unable to withstand your enthusiasm, she gave a symbolic kiss. You were overjoyed. You rushed into the bedroom and brought out the sheet music. See? I didn't lie to you. The song is really done. Shen Youchu gave you a flirtatious eye roll, but inside, her heart was in turmoil. It's only been a few hours, and a song is already out. This man is practically a genius. The family of 3 chatted a bit more. Then you took a full photo of the sheet music and sent it to her. You put down the phone, ready to take the kid out. Shen Youchu's video call came again. As soon as you answered, she stared at you with burning eyes. What's up? Your voice stammered. She mimicked your tone and retorted. Can I call you for no reason? Wow, not only beautiful, but also holds a grudge. You laughed it off. But then she suddenly said, what exactly are you hiding from me? You scratched your head, looking innocent. Shen Youchu's pretty face flushed. Her voice rose a few notches. I mean, these songs of yours. These. You could only scratch your nose and try to weasel your way out. What if I said I suddenly had an epiphany? Would you believe me? Shen Youchu gave you a deep look, and didn't press further. She looked down at the lyrics, and after a while, spoke softly. Thank you. Then she looked up and smiled, her eyes incredibly determined. I won't let this song go to waste. The video call ended. Shen Youchu knocked on Zhao Chuchu's door. Zhao Chuchu looked pleasantly surprised. Sister Shen, we have a song. Was it given by Lu Feng? Oh boy, this girl just blurted it out. So it was she who had leaked her predicament. Then Sister Yin was also called back by a phone call. When she heard there was a song, she was incredibly excited. These past few days, we've been hitting walls everywhere. Now we finally don't have to grovel. The three of them rushed to Stars Park Entertainment. They headed straight to the recording studio on the 11th floor. Shen Youchu decided to lock herself in there. Time flew by inside. Zhao Chuchu took care of the background music and copyright. Only then did Shen Youchu come out of the recording studio. But just as they were about to go eat, the door opposite also opened. A girl walked out. When she saw Shen Youchu, she paused for a moment, then nodded in a friendly manner. Shen Youchu smiled back. However, the man behind her looked down his nose, wearing gold-rimmed glasses. With an arrogant expression, Shen Youchu didn't know him, so she turned and left. But the man snorted coldly. No sense of propriety. Seeing a leader and doesn't even greet. The girl named Chun Xian quickly explained. Uncle, she just got here. How would she know you? So this man turned out to be company executive Yin Ping. And Chun Xian was the singer who would be participating in the new song showcase alongside Shen Youchu. What was even more unexpected was that Chun Xian was thinking, he got Bufan's song. It shouldn't be bad, right? He's actually your fan too? Over the next few days, Shen Youchu left early and returned late every day, practicing desperately. Sister Yin posted her comeback announcement online. However, her mere few thousand fans were mostly bots. The announcement was posted, but it sank like a stone into the sea, causing no ripples. Only a few old fans and sharp-eyed small marketing accounts noticed. They saw the words, new song showcase, and thought, here comes the traffic. Thus, news of Shen Youchu's comeback started appearing all over the internet. But most people didn't care about this fated starlet. Until August 7th, the new song showcase at the Magic City Stadium officially began. However, the director of this showcase, Rin Chao, was very worried, because Bufan's song had been dominating the trending searches. So, their new song festival traffic couldn't compare to before. But the annual new song festival couldn't be postponed just because of one person. He had no choice but to grit his teeth and start this year's festival. Too bad he couldn't get in touch with Bufan. If he could get Bufan to come as a judge, the traffic would explode. But he never imagined. The big shot he couldn't even invite was right now sneaking around like a thief, holding a kid and quietly sitting in the audience. Yes, you kept it from your wife Shen Youchu, and secretly brought your daughter Wanwan to the Magic City, just to cheer her on live. The little monster in your arms was bouncing with excitement, because she was about to see her mom. You looked at the sea of fate sticks waving in the audience, but not a single one was raised for your wife. You quietly opened the live stream. The comments flooded the screen, and no one was supporting Shen Youchu to win. There were 4 hot favorites. One of them was that Lu Li who dared to lay a hand on your daughter. At the same time, backstage, currents were churning. Lu Li's face was ashen, staring hard at Shen Youchu. Why are you here? Bestie Zhao Chuchu directly rolled her eyes and shot back on the spot, making him lose face completely. Lu Li looked at today's radiant Shen Youchu and recalled the fear of being suppressed by her for years. That feeling was like the return of a queen, cowed before even the fight began. Just then, a word from her manager snapped her out of it. Just a Shen Youchu. She has nothing now. Lu Li instantly regained her composure. Right? What does Shen Youchu have to compete with me now? Besides, I have the godfather of music's song. Thinking that, she cast a disdainful glance at Shen Youchu. Then the stage lights outside blazed on. The host took the stage, and 4 veteran music mentors took their seats. The competition officially began. The rules were simple and brutal. 16 contestants, paired by random audience shouts to stop. This way, no one could rig it. As the big screen scrolled rapidly, the matchup list was instantly generated. You looked at the list and smiled. The next second, the host's voice rang through the hall. Let's welcome the first match contestants. Shen Youchu versus Lu Li. As the words fell, the spotlight hit. Your wife Shen Youchu and her archenemy Lu Li slowly walked onto the stage. A fateful showdown, on the verge of eruption. But you noticed Shen Youchu's hands were trembling slightly. Sure enough, Shen Youchu was getting nervous too, and Lu Li's face was even darker. She hadn't expected the first match to go like this, actually going head-to-head with Shen Youchu. The audience instantly erupted, all whispering about who that stunning beauty was. You saw Shen Youchu's nervousness at a glance, so you suddenly lifted your daughter Wanwan high. In that moment, Wanwan turned into a living fate sign. Her little face curved into a crescent smile, shouting with all her might, Mommy, go! Shen Youchu on stage suddenly saw that familiar figure, and instantly covered her mouth. It was him and her daughter. The nervousness in her heart vanished at once. Her eyes blazed with unprecedented brilliance. She also curved her eyes, forming the same crescent smile as her daughter. Her tenderness instantly melted every heart in the audience. Then the host announced Shen Youchu would sing first. The stage lights dimmed, leaving only one beam on her. The prelude began. The venue fell silent. Just then, the song title appeared on the big screen, Chi Feng Lu, The Wind Rises. And in the lyricist/composer column, 2 characters were clearly written, Bufan. The entire audience gasped. This unknown singer had actually managed to get the mysterious Bufan to write a song. Backstage, Lu Li was dumbfounded, her hands trembling uncontrollably. The next second, Shen Youchu's ethereal voice rang out. I once couldn't escape the vastness of the world, also reveled in love, and drowned in it. Dream talk, no distinction between truth and lies. No more struggling, no fear of ridicule. You could hear a pin drop. Everyone was completely absorbed, as if glimpsing their own lost youth. Shen Youchu was fully immersed too. Her gaze crossed the sea of people, looking down at the audience, where two most important people were. I finally gave youth back to him, along with the rest that slipped through my fingertips. What the heart desires just goes with the wind. In the name of love, would you still be willing? A heavenly song. Everyone, whether in the venue or watching the live stream, was completely moved. Countless familiar yet strange faces flashed through their minds, finally settling on the most unforgettable person from their youth. So this is what the wind rises means. What it stirred was the wind of youth buried deep in their hearts. Just then, a thud came from backstage. Luli slumped to the floor, pale as death, her lips trembling. She didn't even have the courage to go on stage. Shen Youchu, with her perfect vocals and this unbeatable song, had torn her pride to shreds. Even manager Qin Mei forced a bitter smile. Inferior skill, after all, is inferior skill. Even the judges at the panel showed expressions of envy. The music faded. The venue was dead silent. Shen Youchu looked down at the audience, a little unsure what to do. You slowly opened your eyes, saw her nervous look, and smiled. Just then, Wanwan reached out her little hand and clapped hard for her mom. The next second, applause roared like a tidal wave. Thunderous clapping filled the hall. Audience members, eyes brimming with tears, gave Shen Youchu on stage their warmest support. At the same time, the live stream comments exploded instantly. Indeed, Bufan's work is always top quality. I'm crying. This isn't just wind rising. It's a tornado. In that moment, no one remembered their earlier contempt for Shen Youchu. They thought she was just filler, but she dropped a bombshell from the start. Then Shen Youchu bowed deeply, lingeringly glanced at you and her daughter, and retreated backstage. But the competition went on. Next up was Luli. She had gotten up at some point, watching Shen Youchu pass by her, feeling only deep helplessness inside. She didn't know how she managed to get on stage. Until the music started, she jolted awake, but it was already too late. Boos erupted from the audience, which made her even more flustered. Her singing went completely off-key. When the song ended, the sparse applause made her want to cover her face and run. Backstage director Ren Chow didn't care at all. As long as the ratings exploded, that was enough. The final vote was no surprise. 5 o'clock, a crushing victory. Just then, a message came from Shen Youchu, asking to meet you at the backstage exit. Seeing this, you immediately held Wanwan and left early. And backstage, as soon as Shen Youchu appeared, Zhao Chuchu gave her a big hug. Okay, stop crying. Things will get better from now on. Shen Youchu held her arm, her eyes filled with determination. Let's go. Lu Fan is waiting for you at the door. He wants to see you right now. And hold Wanwan in his arms. Outside the exit, night had already fallen. As soon as Shen Youchu came out, she could see you holding Wanwan from afar, standing straight under the streetlight. At that moment, a feeling called happiness suddenly surged in her heart. Simple, yet incredibly warm. Mommy, Wanwan broke free from your arms and pattered over to Shen Youchu. Shen Youchu immediately crouched down and tightly hugged her daughter. You walked up, smiling at her. So, is this surprise good enough? Shen Youchu's cheeks flushed, but she looked straight at you, her almond eyes curving. It was a surprise, but none of you knew that this tender scene had been caught by a pair of glassy eyes. Okay, she was holding her phone, watching your retreating figures. A venomous glint in her eyes. A brilliant idea to ruin Shen Youchu instantly took shape in her mind. If she couldn't have him, then Shen Youchu wouldn't have him either. Meanwhile, the internet had already exploded. Everyone was curious where Bufan had found Shen Youchu, a treasure of a singer like that. But when they clicked on Shen Youchu's Weibo, they only saw a comeback statement. So she used to be a popular starlet 2 years ago, who quit the scene because of a leaked relationship. As soon as this hot topic broke, unscrupulous media smelled blood and began hyping it crazily. For a time, the internet split into 2 camps. Some thought that since she'd retired, she shouldn't come back. Others felt that as long as the song was good, her private life was nobody's business. Both sides argued fiercely, until one final blow appeared. Just ask yourself, is the song good or not? Instantly, all critics went silent. All they could muster was, if someone else sang it, it'd still sound good. Just then, Stars Park Entertainment finally stepped in. An announcement directly detonated the web. Not only did they congratulate Shen Youchu on advancing, they dropped a bombshell. Next round, Shen Youchu would still perform a song by Bufan. A new song. Afterward, a full album composed by Bufan would be released. What? More than one. The whole internet was in shock. The topic of Shen Youchu and Bufan shot straight to #1 on the hot search. However, an even more vicious post was quietly climbing up. Early the next morning, it appeared at number 10 on the hot search. The headline was shocking. Shen Youchu cheated on her husband with mysterious singer Bufan. The post confidently claimed that to make a comeback, she had used her looks to seduce Bufan. Countless marketing accounts reposted it like crazy. The comment section was overwhelmingly one-sided. So she's trading on her body. Bufan isn't any better. Birds of a feather. Although some fans believed in Bufan's character, their voices were quickly drowned out. In just 1 hour, this post and Shen Youchu's Weibo were pushed to #1 and #2 on the hot search. And at that moment, you had just finished your morning run, completely unaware of all this. On the other side, Shen Youchu had dark circles under her eyes and walked out of her room listlessly. She hadn't slept last night. Her mind was full of the scene of you holding her hand at the hotel. Sister Yuan and Zhao Chuchu saw her like this, but thought she'd been up all night because of the hot search. Zhao Chuchu was frantic, rushing up to her. Sister Shun, what did Bufan say? Isn't he going to come out and clarify? This kind of thing, it's best if Bufan clarifies personally. If Shen Youchu issues a statement, it'll only backfire. But Shen Youchu's mind was a mess. She stared blankly at Zhao Chuchu. What clarification? What about Bufan? Zhao Chuchu was speechless for a moment. She realized Shen Youchu had no idea what was going on. She stomped her foot. Sister Shen, you're still thinking about him? He's fine, but you're the one in trouble. Go check your Weibo now. Shen Youchu finally realized something was wrong. She took out her phone and opened Weibo. Instantly, a flood of private messages and comments poured in. When she opened those malicious private messages, her hand trembled involuntarily. She took a deep breath and continued scrolling down. 9 out of 10 messages were insults. Leaving the private messages, she finally saw that post and the countless reposts by marketing accounts. After a moment, Shen Youchu put down her phone and continued eating breakfast. Her expression was terrifyingly calm, as if nothing had happened. But seeing her like this, Zhao Chuchu grew even more worried. Sister Shen, aren't you going to do something? But Shen Youchu patted her hand to comfort her. Chuchu, the innocent are clear themselves. But public opinion never cares if you live or die. Shen Youchu's eyelashes fluttered slightly, though inside she was a storm. But she knew, since you had released songs anonymously, you didn't want to reveal your identity, so she couldn't expose you. At that moment, the whole internet was waiting for an explanation. They waited for ages, until Shen Youchu's Weibo finally updated. Everyone eagerly clicked on it, and then froze. No lengthy PR statement. Only 4 simple words. The innocent are clear. Now the online comments turned even more aggressive. Meanwhile, at Tianmei Entertainment Tower, Luli was laughing her head off. Even though she'd been chewed out by the company, seeing Shen Youchu successfully dragged down by her filled her with joy. The unanimous comments online were all paid for by her, bot accounts and marketing posts. But as long as she could screw Shen Youchu over, she thought it was worth it. Xin Jie beside her, however, looked grim. She felt Lu Li had gone mad. Lu Li, this is slander. If Bufan investigates it, we're done completely. Lu Li sneered dismissively. How am I slandering? If they had nothing going on, why would Bufan write songs for Shen Youchu? See, she didn't even explain. Just the innocent are clear. Such fake moral high ground. Xin Jie looked at the frenzied Lu Li and was already planning to drop her. And you were leisurely taking a shower at the hotel. While outside, your phone rang like crazy. You had to cut it short, wrapped a towel around yourself, and stepped out. Seeing the caller ID, you were a bit surprised. Hello, Minister Li? What's the occasion for you to call a slacker like me? Li Shi's annoyed voice came through the phone. Slacker? You have the nerve to call yourself a slacker? You've practically taken over the hot search. You scratched your head. Seemed about right. Anyway, what's the real matter? Li Shia ground her teeth. Her tone even worse. What else? That wife of yours. Shen Youchu's being trashed like that. And you're still taking it easy. Shen Youchu's being trashed? You instantly became serious. Your tone more earnest than ever. What happened to Shen Youchu? In that moment, Li Shia felt a pang of jealousy on the other end. Whenever it came to Shen Youchu, this man became dead serious. She snorted. Hot search. Go see for yourself. Then she hung up. You frowned, not understanding what bug had gotten into that woman. But you didn't have time to think about it now. You quickly opened Weibo, and the first thing you saw were the top posts on the hot search. The moment you saw the title, your face darkened. After reading all the posts, and then reading the comments under Shen Youchu's Weibo, your face was as black as a pot bottom. You were so angry you laughed. Did they really think they could mess with my woman? And that silly woman. Something this big, and she didn't tell me. Bearing it all alone. You just wanted to confront that idiot face to face. Did she even see me as her husband? But before that, you had things to do. Since someone wanted to play, then let's have some fun. Lu Li never expected. The slap in the face came so fast, so swift. He hadn't been happy for long, before instantly falling into panic. He never imagined that mysterious Bufan was actually the pretty boy in his eyes. At 10 a.m., the whole internet was still buzzing about Shen Youchu's scandal. Who knew Bufan's short video suddenly went viral as the other protagonist of the incident. The mysterious big shot with tens of millions of followers. Once he posted a video, he didn't need platform promotion. Fans themselves pushed it to trending. Bufan actually showed his face to prove himself. No one expected he would step forward without hesitation at this critical moment. But when everyone clicked the video, they were instantly stunned. This wasn't a self-proof video at all. It was clearly a lovey-dovey statement, plus a manifesto of condemnation. In the video, you looked serious. Hi everyone, I'm Bufan. I just woke up and saw some really nasty comments online. A lot of people questioned why I wrote songs for Shen Youchu, even spreading rumors about her having an affair. You faced the camera. Your voice suddenly rose. I just want to ask loudly here. What's wrong with me writing songs for my fucking wife? What's the matter? My wife doesn't want to deal with you. I'm not going to spoil you. The innocent will clear themselves my ass. That doesn't exist. You sneered. Your eyes sharp. I originally wanted to get along with you as an ordinary person, but all I got was alienation. Sorry, I'm not pretending anymore. I'm showing my cards. My name is Lu Fan. Back then, Shen Youchu and I both left the industry because of our relationship. Later we got married, and it's been that way ever since. As for why I'm called Lu Fan, now you know. Oh, and I also want to say to the person who posted, and those marketing accounts, sorry, I've already collected evidence. Not a single one of you will get away. Oh, and those paid trolls, every single one of you. You can all wait for the lawyer's letter. As soon as the video came out, the entire internet was instantly shocked beyond words. After all that arguing, it turns out they were fucking married all along. No one expected. The mysterious Bufan was actually Lu Fan. Absolutely ridiculous. This video spread wildly at that moment. Your fans went even crazier, forwarding the video to Weibo. Ha ha ha. I'm standing right here. Let's see who dares to spread rumors now. They were always a fairy tale couple. Where are the haters from this morning? Open your dog eyes and look. Just as everyone was still discussing the video, Stars Park Entertainment's Weibo immediately followed up, throwing out a legal department notice, commissioned by Mr. Liu, regarding false statements and rumors online. Will continue to monitor. Have now sent to the poster and the marketing account companies. Lawyers' letters. Related accounts will all be banned. As soon as this announcement came out, Weibo instantly erupted. Netizens suddenly discovered the posts that were on trending topics had all been cleared. The poster even directly deleted their account. Not long after, Weibo official stepped in, after verification and investigation. Currently, 1,500 accounts that posted false statements have been banned. The internet is not a lawless place. With the Weibo official announcement, your posted video was directly pushed to trending topic number 1, and Shen Youchu's Weibo instantly took second place. In a short time, the two hot terms, wife-worshipping maniac and the innocent will clear themselves, emerged one after another. Countless netizens crazily spammed your quote. My wife doesn't want to deal with you. I'm not going to spoil you. But at this moment, in a Shanghai apartment, Shen Youchu was completely unaware of all this. She was holding her daughter Wanwan, leisurely watching cartoons. Just then, Zhao Chuchu rushed in like a gust of wind. Her face beamed with excitement, shoving her phone right into Shen Youchu's face. Sister Shen, hurry and look. He posted a video. Shen Youchu looked up in confusion. Zhao Chuchu stomped her foot, frustrated. Sister Shen, you're so gentle. What will you do in the future? You really should learn from Lu Fan. Look at him. He just stands his ground. So satisfying. Shen Youchu took the phone and clicked the video. That familiar and domineering voice instantly came through the earpiece. When she finished watching the whole video, her mouth slightly open, face full of surprise. Zhao Chuchu was still chattering on the side. Sister Shen, do you know what netizens are calling him now? Wife-worshipping maniac. Haha, so funny. Hearing these 4 words, Shen Youchu's cheeks quietly flushed. A trace of sweetness rose in her heart. Who wouldn't want to be pampered? Thinking this, she directly left her daughter and quickly walked back to her room. In the living room, only Zhao Chuchu and Wanwan were left, staring at each other. However, Shen Youchu, back in her room, hesitated at the dial screen. What would she say when she called? Saying his words were too embarrassing. That would be admitting she was shy. Or say he did well. Then would he think she was petty? She threw herself onto the bed in frustration, burying her face in the blanket, kicking her legs like a little girl. Finally, she gathered her courage and directly made a voice call. The next second, the call was instantly picked up. Your nice voice came through. Hey. Shen Youchu's face buried in the blanket, flushed from holding her breath. She asked in a muffled voice, Hey, what are you doing now? Who knew the response wasn't an answer, but your laughter? What are you doing? Practicing suffocating yourself with a blanket? Shen Youchu let out a gasp, suddenly lifting her flushed little face. Panic all over her face. How does he know what I'm doing? Until she saw the phone screen, then suddenly realized she had accidentally pressed video call. The words kill me were instantly written all over her face. Shen Youchu's mouth slightly open, frozen on the spot, staring blankly at you on the other end of the video. And you touched your nose, thinking, someone like her, unexpectedly cute. The next second, Shen Youchu let out a whimper and buried her face in the blanket like an ostrich again, not wanting to get up ever again. So embarrassing. A muffled voice came from the blanket. Don't you laugh. You finally tactfully stopped laughing. Okay, not laughing. I was just about to head to the apartment. Are you coming to pick me up? Then wait for me there. Only then did Shen Youchu look up, a pair of watery almond eyes staring at the screen, her pretty face still flushed. He didn't ask why you posted that video. Some things didn't need asking anymore. He just didn't ask. But you spoke up anyway. Your tone suddenly turned serious. Still, there are some things I have to say. Shen Youchu, look at how badly you've been trashed. Why didn't you tell me? What exactly do you take me for? Shen Youchu fell silent. You asked him what he took you for. He even seemed a bit lost. But the next second, he got his answer. It was that he liked you. Liked the you after you changed. Liked the way you carefully took care of them, mother and daughter. But his past experiences made him afraid to open up easily. Yet what you got was a long silence. Then your disappointed voice sounded again. It's okay if you don't say anything. I'm downstairs. Come pick me up. The video suddenly ended. Only then did Shen Youchu snap back to reality. Thinking about the tone you just used, his heart suddenly ached like needles stabbing it. Had he let you down? He scrambled out of bed, only wanting to see you as fast as possible. His feet rushed out the door like lightning. You got in the car, but your emotions were calm. You just stared quietly out the window. However, Shen Youchu didn't start the engine. Instead, he turned around, staring intently at your profile. He took a few deep breaths, finally opened his mouth. I'm sorry. Only then did you turn your head, seeing her slightly reddened eyes. You gave a bitter laugh inside. When did you ever have it? So what's there to talk about losing? So you softly said, no need to apologize. Actually, I'm not the Lu you think I am. Fan, you don't need to feel guilty. But Shen Youchu stared at you hard. Then as Lu Fan you were stunned for a moment. You remembered at the amusement park. He had asked you the same question. You scratched your head. Could only answer, I am Lu Fan. Then you are the Lu Fan I'm thinking of. His firm answer left you completely speechless. You clenched your trembling fists hard. Finally voiced the fear in your heart. But I'm scared. I'm afraid that one day, you won't need me anymore. Lu Fan. Shen Youchu suddenly interrupted you. His eyes filled with concern. He firmly grasped your trembling hand, gently leaned against you. Word by word, he declared, you are Wanwan's father, and my husband. No matter what happens, we will never leave you. The most important thing is, you are by our side. Her soft body nestled into your arms. Sweet, gentle words. You instantly got the answer you wanted. Holding her, you suddenly laughed. From now on, nothing could shake your resolve. A moment later, Shen Youchu shyly slipped out of your embrace. But you just grinned like an idiot. He gave you a captivating glance. And burst out laughing too. What a fool. So easy to please. The car slowly drove away. Both their minds had turned upside down. Meanwhile, inside the Tianmei entertainment apartment. Impossible. Lu Fan. How could it be Lu Fan? That pretty boy. Lu Li went crazy, sweeping all the cosmetics off the table. Amid the harsh shattering sound, he still wasn't satisfied. Stepping forward, he stomped hard on them. And along with the cosmetics being destroyed, there was also a lawyer's letter from Stars Park Entertainment. He had been exposed. The original poster saw things going wrong and immediately ratted him out as the mastermind. Now the company had ordered him to take a break. He knew he was finished. Nearby, Sister Qin watched with schadenfreude. Sure enough, Lu Fan is still Lu Fan. He hit it way too deep. She couldn't help sighing. Who would have thought that the pretty boy everyone looked down on 2 years ago now actually showed his fangs? Shen Youchu's judgment is really something. I don't accept it. Sister Qin, give me your phone. Lu Li gasped for breath. His eyes were bloodshot. Sister Qin just gave him a cold glance. Said irritably, what do you have to be unhappy about? Are you better at singing than her? You're not as good looking. Even when it comes to finding a man, you can't compare. What's there to be unhappy about? Sister Qin's words stabbed into Lu Li's heart like knives. Lu Li whipped around, staring at her with a death glare. But Sister Qin wasn't afraid at all. Did I say something wrong? Once you're locked up, your contract will naturally end. The company already abandoned you. Why? Lu Li clenched his teeth. The company needs a cash cow. You don't have any value left. Sister Qin looked at him and even spoke from the heart. When you get out, find a decent guy and get married. Stop messing around. Huh. So I should thank you. How nice of you. Lu Li laughed. They had finally torn off all pretenses. Then he suddenly flashed a creepy smile. Sister Qin, let me borrow your phone. Finish what I started. Sister Qin frowned. What else are you trying to do? Burn the house down. Lu Li's smile turned creepy. Why does Shen Youchu have to beat me at every turn? She's an orphan. Why does she get to, since I now know? That Lu Fan is Lu Fan. I still have one trump card left. I can't touch Shen Youchu, but I'll make Lu Fan's reputation ruined. No one gets off easy. Sister Qin watched Lu Li, who seemed half mad, and knew he had lost his mind. She wanted to say that Shen Youchu had never competed with him, and was 10,000 times better in character. But she couldn't say that. At this moment, any provocation would make Lu Li completely lose control. So Sister Qin handed over the phone. Here, take the phone. But this has nothing to do with me. I know you're scared. Haha. Lu Li took the phone. Under Sister Qin's gaze, he dialed a number. Chen Shui? This is Lu Li. Meanwhile, the atmosphere in the apartment restaurant felt a bit off. Wanwan was eating happily. Yun Jia was grinning like an Annie the whole time. But Zhao Chuchu kept her head down, shoveling rice. Occasionally sneaking glances at you and Shen Youchu. Shen Youchu's pretty face was red all the way to her neck. She wished she could bury her face in her bowl. And you were grinning like an idiot, peeling a crawfish by hand, feeding it to her with chopsticks. Shen Youchu felt like she was being cooked alive. This guy had been acting weird ever since he got out of the car, but you thought it was only natural. She admitted you were her husband. What's wrong with feeding her? Can you not do this? I'll do it myself. Shen Youchu finally couldn't help looking up. She shot you a shy glare. The coyness in her eyes stunned you. So this is what it feels like to be looked at by a girl like that. Being in love is wonderful. Finally, you stopped feeding your wife. Turned to start feeding Wanwan. After the meal, you got back to normal. Sitting on the couch, you started thinking about the song for the next competition. You won the round of 16 to 8 easily. But the round of 8 to 4 might not be the same. The remaining contestants' singing skills were no worse than Shen Youchu's. It all comes down to original songs and on-the-spot performance. Writing a good song in 3 days isn't easy for anyone. Even you start to worry. What song should you pick to guarantee victory? Meanwhile, Shen Youchu wasn't idle either. She sat right beside you, polishing the song she'd been working on. But that song was always missing a key melody. Shen Youchu frowned deeply. That melody was like a cat you just couldn't catch. It had her so frustrated she'd messed her hair into a bird's nest. Until late into the night, she still hadn't grabbed hold of that spark of inspiration. But early the next morning, just as Shen Youchu woke up, a huge story about you exploded onto the trending list. At first she didn't think much of it. After all, your name had been trending nonstop lately. But when she saw the post's title, her eyes narrowed instantly. Her heart began to race with panic. At the same time, countless netizens scrolling through the feed also saw the trending post. They were used to seeing your name every day. So without a second thought, they clicked in. But this time, when they saw what the post actually said, everyone froze in shock. Some even rubbed their eyes, unable to believe what they were seeing. No, the domestic abuser is Lu Fan. That headline was absolutely mind-blowing. Netizens were stunned at first, then burst out laughing. You gotta be kidding me. Yesterday, he was the ultimate wife-doting husband. Today, he's a domestic abuser? They couldn't wait to open the video attached to the post, eager to see who was talking nonsense. But when the video appeared, 2 men with serious faces came on screen. They were your former boy band members, Chen Shui and Yi Tian. Then, Chen Shui spoke. Hello everyone. I'm Chen Shui, Lu Fan's former friend. Why did I say former? Because I'm ashamed to be associated with someone like him. I know you all won't believe it, but he really is a domestic abuser. I have a phone recording to prove it. Back then he begged me to help him get back into the scene, and I happened to record the conversation. Never thought it would become evidence to expose his phony act. I, Chen Shui, dare to show my face. And I'm not afraid to confront him. Hearing this, netizens fell silent. Accusations delivered with such certainty, and a real name report, that made them waver for a moment. Then, Yi Tian also picked up his phone and shook it. I can confirm everything Chen Shui said is true. Now let everyone hear the recording from back then. With that, he pressed play. Netizens immediately perked up their ears. Your voice came through the phone. Brother Chun, do you think I can go back to the company? Chen Shui's flat voice answered. You already married a top young star. Why worry about that? The next second, your voice came again, with a hint of flippancy. Women are like clothes, you know. Career matters more. So you want to get back into the industry? Can Shen Youchu give you that? In the recording, you laughed, then said something that made the whole internet explode. To be honest, in this house, what I say goes. If she dares to say no, a beating will sort her out. Women, you can't spoil them. The recording ended there. But the fury across the internet erupted completely. Disgusting. Is this even a man? Just bullies his own woman. Not only female netizens transformed into warriors spewing hatred. Even the guys were burning with righteous anger. Then in the video, Chen Shui, looking furious, continued to twist the knife. Everyone heard that, right? This is the so-called wife-doting husband you all talk about. I, Chen Shui, will never stand with a domestic abuser like him. The video cut off abruptly, but the comment section was already a war zone. I must have been blind to like this guy. Hearing that recording, I threw up. How filthy is Lu Fan behind the scenes? My heart is completely shattered. Countless people demanded that you come out and explain. But at that moment, you were staring quietly at your phone, listening to that recording. That familiar wave of nausea surged again. You rushed into the bathroom and started vomiting. As if, in an instant, you were back to that time. The old, stifled Lu Fan. Those things were true. They had really happened. You couldn't deny it. Shen Youchu had suffered even more. Your phone rang like crazy, but you didn't even glance at it. For the first time, you chose to run away, burying yourself deep under the covers, as if that would make it hurt less. What hurt wasn't the insults. It was those memories, flooding back into your heart. The pain Shen Youchu and Wanwan had endured appeared vividly before your eyes. That's when you realized you had never really forgiven yourself, even though you tried to make up for it every moment. It couldn't change what had happened. Meanwhile, in the apartment, Shen Youchu was frantically dialing your number over and over. After seeing the post, she was extremely worried. No one understood the current you better than she did. She had watched your transformation, watched you atone day by day. She understood. She had already let go of the past, but she knew that you now would never be able to forgive yourself. Beside her, Sister Yuan and Zhao Chuchu looked deeply pained, both angry and at a loss. The phone still wouldn't connect. You had vanished into thin air. Shen Youchu's heart twisted. Wanwan, in her arms, looked up. Mommy, are you calling Daddy? Why don't you go find Daddy? Wanwan's words jolted Shen Youchu awake. She couldn't sit still any longer. She jumped up frantically, stumbled, and rushed out. She was coming to find you. Soon. Shen Youchu, panting, ran to your door. She bit her lip and knocked softly. No answer. She didn't hesitate. Knock after knock. She was determined to get you out today, under the covers. You were finally roused by that persistent knocking. You dragged your heavy body and opened the door. The first thing you saw was Shen Youchu's red-rimmed eyes. In just one day, seeing her again, you couldn't even bring yourself to look into her eyes. You stood frozen at the door, at a loss. She must have seen that post too. Was she thinking about all the things from before again? You silently closed the door, like a prisoner about to be executed. What was she thinking? Your voice was hoarse, your heart full of dread. Now that everyone knew, what would she do? Divorce? But just then, Shen Youchu saw the look in your eyes. She was instantly furious. She yanked you onto the bed, grabbed your arm, and bit down hard. A sharp pain shot through you, snapping you back to reality. You instinctively wanted to pull your hand back, but you forced yourself to endure it. Let her vent. Maybe she'd feel better. Finally, Shen Youchu let go. She looked up and saw your gentle eyes. Her tears couldn't hold back anymore. Are you stupid? She choked out, then pulled up your sleeve. On your arm was a deep, blood-flecked row of teeth marks. Shocking to see. There, now we're even. Her voice thick with tears. She threw herself into your arms. You've been abused too. We're even. You're not allowed to be sad anymore. In that moment, you were completely stunned. The fiery body in your arms felt so unreal. You couldn't believe it and touched his head. Your mood instantly shot from hell to heaven. You grinned. Shen Youchu said you're even. Since you reincarnated, you've been walking on eggshells, always feeling indebted. Now someone finally told you, we're even. Tears streamed down uncontrollably. You weren't just redeeming them. You were redeeming yourself. The two of you hugged like fools, sobbing. After a long while, Shen Youchu mumbled against your chest. Don't ever do that again. Wanwan and I will worry about you. You nodded firmly, your voice hoarse. I won't. I just say stuff. Shen Youchu looked up, her face flushed, eyes rimmed red, gazing at you with watery eyes. Suddenly, she seemed to remember something. Her eyes blazed with barely contained excitement. Oh, I think I remember that melody now. What melody? You couldn't help reaching out and tousling her little head. It's like you're rubbing a dog's head. It's the song I've been working on. Inspiration just struck. The moment she said that, she broke free from your embrace. Striking while the iron was hot, you scratched your head, a little disappointed, pulled the sheet music from your bag, and handed it to her. I was planning to write a song tonight, but you go ahead. Shen Youchu blushed, nodded, and sat cross-legged on the bed, quickly getting to work. She hummed a tune, her pen flying. In no time, a complete melody appeared on the page. She looked up, delighted, staring straight at you, finally finished it. Want to take a look? You shook your head gently. I'd rather hear you sing it. Shen Youchu's face turned even redder. She whispered, there aren't any lyrics yet. Humming is fine too. You smiled and urged her. Finally, she shyly nodded. No accompaniment. Only her soft humming filled the air. But the moment the melody hit your ears, you froze on the spot. Your eyes were full of shock. You'd heard this melody before. In your original world. You couldn't believe it. You kept listening intently. Until the humming ended. Wait. You suddenly interrupted her, grabbed a pen and paper, and scribbled something down hastily. Shen Youchu looked confused. But when she leaned over and saw what you were writing, her eyes suddenly blazed with light. On the paper, in bold writing, courage. It was lyrics. You'd only heard her hum it once. And you'd written the lyrics. Shen Youchu leaned in to look, and was instantly overjoyed. These lyrics were exactly what she'd dreamed of. Even better than she'd imagined. She blushed, her gaze shifting from the lyrics to your focused profile. At that moment, possessed by some impulse, she couldn't help pecking you on the cheek. Your hand jerked, and the ink smudged instantly. You felt like you'd been struck by lightning. The warm, soft sensation on your right cheek was as clear as a brand. You looked down at the lyrics on the page, but your heart was already exploding with joy. This was the courage Shen Youchu needed. Shen Youchu panicked the moment she finished. She hung her head, wishing she could crawl into a hole. Luckily, you didn't react, or she'd have fled in embarrassment. Of course you knew she had a thin skin, so you forced down your racing heart and continued writing the lyrics. Finally, you handed her the lyrics, pretending nothing had happened. How about this time you sing the whole thing for me? When the song ended, you smiled and nodded. Beautiful. Next competition is in the bag. It's your lyrics that are good. Without my wife's melody, I wouldn't have come up with a song like this. The mutual praise began, but as soon as the word wife slipped out, Shen Youchu completely cracked. She buried her face in your chest like an ostrich, her heart both shy and sweet. But before you could fully enjoy the view, a harsh ringtone shattered the romantic atmosphere in the room. You picked up your phone. The screen showed the contact name, Director Lee. You raised an eyebrow. So Li Xia had seen the post too. The moment the call connected, you spoke calmly. Hello? What's up? Li Xia on the other end was clearly startled. She asked cautiously, there are some nasty comments online. Aren't you going to clarify? You glanced instinctively at Shen Youchu. She was pretending to study the sheet music intently, but her wandering eyes gave her away. You winked playfully at her. Her face instantly turned crimson, and she hastily looked away. Then, you calmly dropped a bombshell into the phone. No need to clarify. It's all true. Dead silence fell on the other end of the line. After a long pause, Li Xia's incredulous voice came through. Why? I don't believe the you I know. But you cut her off. Director Lee, how well do you really know me? What's online is true. If you do something wrong, you have to accept the punishment. As for the rumors, let them talk. Your gaze never left Shen Youchu, overflowing with tenderness. As long as the people I care about understand me, that's enough. Silence again on the phone. Li Xia's voice carried clear disappointment. Okay, I understand. I'll hang up now. The moment you put down the phone, Shen Youchu's voice came drifting over. You were too cold. That's not good. You were full of question marks. Cold. You? But then Shen Youchu added, her eyes slightly dim. That mature lady probably likes you. What? Li Xia likes me. You scratched your head, immediately feeling a headache coming on. I only see her as a casual friend. But how do you know? Shen Youchu jerked her head up, staring at you intently, her tone utterly firm. Feelings. I trust my feelings. You scratched your head, looking completely sincere. Your feelings are wrong. I'm a man with a wife and child. Developing feelings for someone else would be rude. Love should be serious and faithful. Seeing your earnest gaze, Shen Youchu nodded lightly, but a sense of urgency rose in her heart. You might not like someone else, but that doesn't mean they don't like you. That mature lady was far more outstanding than her. You looked at her, puzzled, replaying the conversation in your head. Suddenly, it clicked. A smile crept into your eyes. You nudged her arm. Are you jealous? Shen Youchu instantly panicked, her face burning red. And no, her voice was loud, but her reaction was even louder. Case closed. She was jealous. The smile on your lips grew wider. You watched her performance quietly, but the more Shen Youchu tried to hide it, the more flustered she got, alternating between shyness and irritation. Finally, she couldn't bear your gaze anymore. She threw the sheet music onto the bed in a defeated manner. Yeah, I'm jealous. Who asked for such a beautiful woman to like you? Your smile grew wider. The next second, you suddenly leaned in close to her. Your voice was full of temptation. How about I give you a stamp? That way you won't be jealous, right? Your face was extremely close. Your breath was hitting her face. Shen Youchu's heart pounded like a drum, beating faster and faster, as if it would leap out of her throat. Then, under your gaze, she slowly closed her eyes. Her little lips pouted slightly. You felt a surge of joy. You closed your eyes and slowly leaned in. Then, Shen Youchu was about to take part in the new song contest top 8 to top 4 round. Right now, she was practicing at Stars Park Entertainment. You returned to the apartment. Only the nanny, Sister Yuan, was at home with your daughter Wanwan. Sister Yuan had mixed feelings about you. She was grateful for your recent changes and help, but also remembered the harm you had caused Shen Youchu in the past. However, seeing how you now cared for your wife and daughter, she felt relieved, and she told you Shen Youchu was at the company. Hearing this, you decided to take Wanwan to visit her on set, to surprise your wife. At that time, the online abuse against you continued. Netizens had even formed a condemnation group, hoping Shen Youchu would take this chance to divorce you. However, Shen Youchu's Weibo suddenly updated with a pinned post. This life, meeting a good person. What great fortune. A gentleman corrects his mistakes. Everyone nurtures that. My heart is the same. These two sentences instantly made netizens explode. They all speculated whether Shen Youchu was being controlled. You took Wanwan to Stars Park Entertainment. You happened to meet Shen Xian, who was also a contestant. Shen Xian was a fan of Shen Youchu. After meeting you in person, she found you amiable and approachable. She even asked for your autograph. Then you went to the recording studio. Through the glass, you watched Shen Youchu singing earnestly. Your eyes were full of tenderness. When the song ended, Shen Youchu saw you and your daughter and was overjoyed. Shyly and sweetly, she called out, "Husband." The second round of the new song contest arrived as scheduled. The buzz was unprecedented. You brought Wanwan, wearing a mask, and kept a low profile as you arrived at the venue. Shen Youchu's opponent was Xiao Feibai from Songwriter Entertainment. Before the match began, the audience loudly questioned Shen Youchu, whether the Weibo post was really from her, or if she was being coerced. Shen Youchu's gaze was firm. She looked at you in the audience, and loudly declared, I like Lu Fan. He's wonderful. Some loves are destined. Then the big screen showed the song title, Courage. Lyrics, Lu Fan. Music, Shen Youchu. The intro began. Shen Youchu sang with deep emotion. The lyrics struck a chord. This blatant confession made the audience and netizens exclaim in shock. So this wasn't a criticism session, but a public display of affection. As the song ended live, public opinion took a huge turn. Everyone sent blessings to this couple who were rushing towards each other. In the end, Shen Youchu advanced to the top 4 with a high vote count. After the match, Stars Park Entertainment took the opportunity to speak out, clarifying that you had not committed domestic violence, and that the two of you were rushing towards each other. That night, you held Shen Youchu's hand and strolled the streets. You two wandered the snack street and watched a movie like a couple in love. In the cinema, you couldn't help but steal a kiss from Shen Youchu, making her shy. Although there were still some small misunderstandings and friction between you, your feelings were heating up quickly. After a short reunion, you took Wanwan back to Jiangqing. Shen Youchu stayed in Modo to prepare for the competition. Back in Jiangqing, you were busy looking for a kindergarten for Wanwan. Although you missed the enrollment period, thanks to the popularity of Bufan Little Princess, you still managed to get her enrolled at Donghua kindergarten. At the same time, a conspiracy was brewing in Modo. Ying Ping, a former executive at Stars Park Entertainment, sought revenge. He colluded with the new song contest mentors Wang Bin and Ran Xiaoxiao, trying to rig the next match to make Shen Youchu lose to Chen Qian. He also brought in the so-called godfather of music, Wu Mian, to write a song for Chen Qian. The third round of new song contest, top 4 to top 2, Shen Youchu versus Chen Qian. Host Chen Shuer deliberately stirred up trouble, asking Shen Youchu whether the new song was still written by you. Shen Youchu responded calmly. In the match, Shen Youchu performed Sea of Flowers. The beautiful intro instantly immersed the audience in its mood. Shen Youchu's singing was full of emotion. It felt like a personal concert. The whole audience erupted in applause. In comparison, Chen Qian's sweet song was also good, but it paled beside Sea of Flowers. However, something unexpected happened during the voting. Although Gao Yu voted for Shen Youchu, Shui Yu gave Chen Qian a friendship vote. But Wang Bin and Ran Xiaoxiao both voted for Chen Qian, causing Chen Qian to take the lead. The crowd was in an uproar. Cries of rigging arose. But at the critical moment, Shui Yu stepped forward. Excuse me, host, let me interrupt. There's a problem with the votes this time. Here, I owe an apology to Shen Youchu and to the audience. I'm sorry. Earlier, I received information from the operations director of Stars Park Entertainment, Ying Ping. He told me that Chen Qian and Shen Youchu are both from Stars Park, and if the gap between them was too big, he asked me to give a sympathy vote to Chen Qian, so that she wouldn't lose too badly. But now it's Chen Qian who advanced instead. I feel responsible. Today, because of me, Shen Youchu was eliminated. I resigned from my position as a new song contest mentor. Chen Qian directly announced her withdrawal, saying that Shen Youchu's Sea of Flowers was far superior to her own. The truth came out. The show's director, Ren Xiao, stepped in urgently. He announced a revote and removed the involved mentors. In the end, Shen Youchu successfully advanced. Afterward, Ying Ping was fired by Stars Park Entertainment. The involved mentors also lost their reputations. Wu Mian, because his song Lost to Yours, harbored a grudge. He publicly challenged Yuan Weibo, issuing a declaration of war to settle the score in the finals. Wu Mian's provocation set the internet ablaze. The media hyped up the new versus old showdown. You didn't back down. You responded. If you want to fight, then fight. Songwriter Entertainment took the chance to invite Wu Mian to write a song for the finalist Miao Ayun. The keyword for the first final round was tragedy and horror. For Wu Mian, who excelled in this style, it was a godsend. But for you, it was a brand new challenge. Shen Youchu was worried about it, but you appeared confident. To find inspiration, Shen Youchu even watched horror movies with you, only to end up scared out of her wits. Instead, it brought you closer together. The next day, you produced a new song. On the night of the finals, under the spotlight of millions, Miao Ayun took the stage first, performing Mournful Change, written by Wu Mian. The first half of the song depicted the suffering of cancer patients. The second half was an oppressive instrumental piece. Although somewhat bleak, its artistic value was extremely high. Wu Mian was full of confidence. Then Shen Youchu took the stage, wearing a bright red wedding dress and a phoenix crown, but her makeup was tragic and mournful. Her eyes were vacant. The song titled Jian Huan Huan appeared on screen. The music began. Eru and Pipo wove a sorrowful melody. When Shen Youchu opened her mouth, her opera-style singing stunned the audience. The lyrics described a ghost marriage. Not a single word mentioned sorrow. Yet every line carried deep meaning. As the song progressed, the swana trumpet suddenly blared, pushing the atmosphere to its climax. That bone-deep sorrow and fear made the entire audience's skin crawl. Shen Youchu's performance, without blinking once, was hailed by netizens as the most beautiful ghost bride. Kong defeated Ibi and Shen Youchu with an overwhelming advantage, won overwhelmingly with 4 o'clock from the judges and 88 from the audience. Wanwan was completely defeated, kept his promise, gave up the title of Godfather of Music, and apologized. After the match, you waited for Shen Youchu outside the venue. Shen Youchu told you. Zhao Chuchu has already left. She didn't bring the apartment keys. You both tacitly came to the hotel. The hotel room atmosphere was ambiguous and tense. You came out of the shower and found Shen Youchu crying. She opened up her heart, felt she wasn't worthy of you. The closer she got, the more afraid of losing you. You gently cupped her face, told her that you used to be insecure too. She was the one who made your heart flutter. This is all the best arrangement of fate. Fate's arrangement is the greatest. Your words made Shen Youchu smile through tears. You hugged each other tightly. Finally, at this moment, you fully understood each other's feelings. Two hearts pressed together without reservation. The road ahead, you will walk hand in hand, whether through storms or glory. You will face it together.